Chapter 551. Huffman looked at the retreating figure of Levi and sighed to himself. Young people these days truly possess minds that are impossible to understand. Levi returned to his room. He set to work on the ice heart potion. The components included ice crystal grass and snowtail feather. If the military had not provided the ingredients, he would have wasted significant time searching for them elsewhere. He studied the formula alongside his daily cultivation. 10 days later, he began the refinement process. The difficulty mirrored the process of Naga's blessing. To the current Levi, it was not difficult, merely time-consuming. He prepared 5 sets of ingredients. He succeeded in refining 3 ice heart potions. His success rate was very high. He hesitated, then brought the potions to the room belonging to Huffman. Huffman peered over his spectacles. "Were you successful?" Levi nodded. He stopped the charade. He was a pharmacist genius. He had laid his cards on the table. Aside from pharmacy, he held skills in arrays, alchemy, weapon-making, and knightly arts. Exposing this trump card would only benefit his development in Riptide City. Huffman stared at the vials. "Bring the potions over. Let me take a look." Levi handed over the 3 ice heart potions. His nerves frayed. Huffman finished his inspection. A rare smile touched his lips. He looked at Levi with approval. "All right, it seems you have come to your senses. Secrecy is truly unnecessary. Our tower master, the Green Forest Sage, developed an original first circle potion formula when he was 40 years old. He became a scholar of the Panplane Wizard Council. A high-level wizard organization accepted him. 400 years have passed. The Tower Master is now a 5th circle pharmacist and a level 4 scholar. His original potion formulas have passed certification. There are 12 of them. Compared to the Green Forest Sage, both you and I are ordinary." Huffman gestured toward the city outside the window. "You need not mention the 2 city lords of Riptide City. Lady Kristen is a water element child, and Wizard Air is a wind element child. This is Riptide City. It is not the outer sea region. You will see geniuses every day. Everyone is used to it. Most people will not harbor jealousy or plot against you because of this." Huffman continued his lecture, implying that Levi should not play tricks. His talent was unremarkable in Riptide City. Levi nodded, feeling the weight of the instruction. He returned to his room, deflated. He let out a long sigh. "Damn it, the tides will turn. Sooner or later, I will develop into a big shot in Riptide City. To make a name for oneself in Riptide City, one must make a name for oneself in the endless sea." He shook off the fantasy and returned to reality. He opened his military merit bracelet. 40 merit points. 10 bottles of health potions earned 1 point per bottle. It was better than nothing. These 3 bottles of Ice Heart Potion earned 10 points per bottle. That was the difference. According to the recruit manual, every level 1 monster killed in the military extermination event was worth 50 merit points. That seemed to be 5 times more than Levi's earnings, but that was physical labor. Levi only needed to sit in the office and practice medicine. It was little, but it was stable and safe. Only by mastering a skill can you survive in another world. After learning the 3 skills of wizardry, you will not be afraid even if you travel the world. Because the Ice Heart Potion was a new formula, Levi obtained significant proficiency when refining it. It was like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Next, I have to refine 30 Ice Heart Potions every month and obtain 300 merit points. That is 3,600 merit points a year. It is not difficult to earn merit points. 1 pill a day was easy for Levi. The remaining time would not delay his cultivation. If he lacked merit points, he would simply refine more. Levi put his hands behind his back and left the Tower of Pharmacists. He headed to the Tower of Merit. He could not wait to see the treasures inside. The upper Riptide was much better than the middle Riptide. The deeper he went, the richer the elemental power felt. A wizard in a black robe approached him. "Buddy, are you renting a house? You can get a small courtyard in the upper Riptide for 1,000 Aether Stones a year." 1,000 Aether Stones. You might as well have snatched the money. Levi refused him directly. Although this was the upper Riptide, 1,000 Aether Stones a year was expensive. Most low-level first circle wizards could not earn that much in 10 years. His money was hard-earned. He had no requirements for his living space. He only wanted to save money and buy a house for his transcendent creatures, so they could live in a spacious home. This way, they could always stay with him. 200,000 Aether Stones. I have already completed 1/6 of the goal. Perseverance is victory. He entered the Tower of Merit. People came and went. It was lively. A phantom image of a thick book floated in front of Levi. Chapter 552. Pages of the thick book unfurled. Dazzling items hovered in the air before Levi. The exchange options within the Tower of Merit fell into 5 categories: wizard tools, potions, arrays, knowledge, materials. Levi lacked neither potions nor arrays. He crafted those himself, so he avoided wasting merit on them. He possessed the skill to fashion wizard tools as well. However, his urgent need for a replacement for the mini Meow Meow house drove him to inspect the wizard tool section. A surprise awaited him there. A listing materialized. 3rd Circle Wizard Tool. Greenfield Immortal House. 100,000 merit points. This structure served as the former bug house of a dark wizard from the School of Insects. It contained a subdimensional space measuring 10 acres in circumference and 10 meters in height. Grasslands, a small forest, and a miniature lake existed inside. The house possessed everything, despite its compact size. It resembled a small grotto heaven. Levi studied the details. It appeared cramped, yet sufficient. He could not wait to save for the actual mini Meow Meow house, as it might sell before he earned enough. He refused to fixate on a single option. The Greenfield Immortal House offered the benefit of costing 0 Aether Stones. Levi would need years to save 200,000 Aether Stones, even if he survived on nothing. 100,000 merit points felt achievable. With extra effort and overtime, he could save that amount within 10 years. Perhaps it would take less time. Once he advanced to a second circle pharmacist, he could refine more valuable second circle potions. He could also undertake demon hunting missions outside the city to boost his merit, though the danger and inefficiency repelled him. He preferred to avoid such risks. Levi marked the Greenfield Immortal House as his first priority. He hoped no other buyer would snatch it. Levi moved to the knowledge category. He scanned the general knowledge listings: spell books, meditation arts, potion formulas, wizard tool blueprints, alchemy blueprints, array blueprints. Then he paused. Breathing techniques. Levi blinked in surprise. He spotted the category tucked into the final column. Interesting. A place for wizards offering breathing techniques for exchange. Who would want these? They required a bloodline to cultivate, and only reached the level of a first circle wizard at their peak. Surely they could not all be non-bloodline breathing techniques. Curiosity led him to open the breathing technique column. He stared, stunned. Every entry consisted of non-bloodline breathing techniques. The mud turtle breathing technique. The wondrous frog breathing technique. The fire snake breathing technique. The wild boar breathing technique. The fog tiger breathing technique. He scrolled through the entire list. Nearly 100 techniques appeared. Every single one qualified as a non-bloodline breathing technique. They all lacked depth. Not a single excellent technique appeared. The names sounded unassuming. The symbols behind them indicated average quality. Even breaking the limits to reach the realm of the primordial ancestor would likely only match the power of middle or high-level transcendent creatures in the wizard world. Experience in the human world taught him that non-bloodline breathing techniques remained shallow in quality. They were also rare. He had spent years in the human world and managed to collect very few. He suspected that the scarcity stemmed from wizards consciously collecting them to bring into the wizard world. Wizards here had no use for them, yet people lacking wizard talent utilized them for cultivation. Perhaps the officials held onto the bloodline breathing techniques and withheld them from public exchange. That logic held weight. The long history of the wizard world included thousands of knights who had entered. Countless breathing techniques likely flowed into the government through various channels. Wizards disliked them, but they would not destroy them. They surely archived them. This presented an opportunity. These non-bloodline breathing techniques served as raw materials for his future breakthroughs. A few perception-type breathing techniques in particular stood out. They would suffice to push his heavenly owl breathing technique to level 9. His transcendent perception would improve further once he achieved that. Levi checked the prices. They were quite cheap. The exchange price averaged 5 merit points. These techniques seemed intended for mortals in Riptide City who lacked wizard talent. They would not sell for such a low price otherwise. Wizards could also spend the points to learn one and experience the feeling of being a knight. Levi spent 5 merit points to exchange for the wondrous frog breathing technique. This perception-type technique could reach a maximum of level 6, similar to the man-faced spider breathing technique. A memory slate materialized from thin air and landed in his palm. The inheritance diagram for the breathing technique was engraved on the slate. It was not the original, but the wizard-level craftsmanship ensured its accuracy. Levi examined the slate with his spirit. It matched his expectations. His current realm allowed him to verify the diagram was genuine and fully cultivable. Chapter 553. Life is full of surprises, Levi lamented. He scanned the material list to see if anything caught his eye. Mithril and luminant gold appeared as exchangeable options for these precious alchemy materials, though the cost demanded a higher number of merit points. 10 caddies of mithril required about 20 merit points, while luminant gold set him back 100 merit points. Levi considered melting down his tyrant weapon to incorporate mithril and luminant gold. With those additions, Tyrant would grow significantly stronger. He then stumbled upon a blueprint for second circle alchemical creatures hidden within the knowledge classification. The Gravedigger blueprint demanded 20,000 merit points. Levi read the description. The Gravedigger acted as an upgraded model of the Corpse Digger, modified and formed on the foundation of the older technology. Its strength rivaled that of a second circle wizard. Built entirely from rare alchemy materials like mithril, the construct could hold its own against a senior second circle wizard. If forged from pure luminant gold, it could even clash with a third circle wizard for a brief moment. Levi's eyes brightened as he processed the potential. Fighting a third circle wizard for a time, he mused. The description appeared simple, yet the implications remained incredibly powerful. A massive gulf separated a second circle wizard from a third circle wizard. Even a standard senior second circle wizard would struggle to withstand a third circle wizard for even a single moment. Yet, tomb diggers constructed of pure luminant gold possessed the capability to hold the line. Of course, the forging cost for such grave diggers remained staggeringly high. Levi calculated that the price of drawings and diverse materials reached about 100,000 merit points. For an ordinary first circle wizard, killing a level 1 monster yielded only 50 merit points. One would need to hunt 2,000 level 1 demonic creatures to accumulate such a total. The process might require decades or even hundreds of years. In terms of earning efficiency, pharmacists remained far superior. The Gravedigger blueprint became the second item on his shopping list. After scanning the rest of the goods, Levi added the remaining items to his list and totaled the cost. It required 200,000 merit points. He nodded to himself. He would accumulate the points slowly, starting with the breathing technique, then moving to the Wizard of Oz, the Gravedigger blueprint, and proceeding from there. The merit shop offered secret medicine for cultivating the night breathing technique, but the selection remained incomplete and the stock quite small. The high price also made it insufficient for supporting Levi's daily cultivation. He would have to continue relying on Leviathan and his other creatures for that need. Disappointment washed over him as he realized even the merit shop lacked the eye of the devil. He could not determine if the item remained out of stock, or if it simply proved too popular, disappearing from the shelves the moment it arrived. The following days brought a regular and fulfilling rhythm. Levi monitored the development of the war while focusing his energy on pharmacy and cultivation. His position in the Riptide City pharmacy ensured his safety. Most of the wizards who arrived with him had transitioned into combat roles. Many had already suffered injuries or sacrificed their lives during demon hunting missions. The stark contrast between technical work and physical labor could not be clearer. Levi felt a profound sense of relief regarding his choice of the pharmacist profession. Otherwise, his fate would likely mirror that of the fallen. While his strength far exceeded that of ordinary low-level wizards, it remained insufficient for the perils of this dangerous 6th war zone. If a level 3 demon suddenly appeared during a hunt, he would be in grave danger. He accepted his reality. He would continue to save money by practicing pharmacy, step by step. Unless special circumstances arose, he would avoid leaving the city to hunt demons. To secure the Greenfield Immortal House as quickly as possible, he poured his effort into brewing the Ice Heart potion every day. The demand for the potion at the front line remained relatively high. Once most wizards consumed the potion and developed a resistance to the demonic aura, that demand would inevitably decrease. Huffman expressed great satisfaction with Levi's pharmaceutical work, as the young man completed his assigned missions multiple times a day. This allowed Huffman to outpace the other 4 supervisors in the monthly performance assessments for the Ice Heart potion. Fierce competition existed among the 5 supervisors of the Tower of Pharmacists. Periodically, the military rewarded the department supervisors with generous merit points. Huffman reaped the benefits of Levi's diligence. Despite maintaining a low profile, Levi gradually gained fame within the Tower of Pharmacists. Colleagues considered him the most promising seedling for advancing to the 2nd circle in recent years. It could not be helped. The circle within the Tower of Pharmacists remained quite small. Levi wanted to hide his strength, yet the current conditions refused to allow it. He had come to a realization. He needed to display his talent. By doing so, he would prove more useful to Huffman and the military. In a state of war, visibility often equated to safety. Furthermore, achieving the 2nd circle would grant him a status second only to the 5 supervisors, much like Grimm, and provide him with a voice in the tower. Levi busied himself with pharmaceutical preparations one day when a knock echoed against his door. He opened it to find a slightly plump, youthful-looking wizard standing there with a smile. The young man stood next door. "I just moved here," the wizard said, offering a friendly grin. "My name is Tommen, a senior 1st circle pharmacist." "Hello," Levi replied, wondering about the visitor. "Can I help you with something?" "It is nothing," Tommen assured him. "I am just coming over to say hello. I am a friend of Grimm." "Ah, so you are a friend of Grimm," Levi said, offering a polite smile. "It is nice to meet you." "All right, I will leave you to your work," Tommen said. "I will not disturb you anymore. I just wanted to familiarize myself with the neighbors." With that, Tommen turned and retreated to his own room. Chapter 554. Levi chatted with Grimm, learning that Tommen was the strange wizard who had refined the Blood Elf's wail into the Black Elf's curse. Initially, Huffman had refused to let this individual join his department. However, the Green Forest Sage intervened, ordering the military to send Tommen back. The sage insisted that Tommen possessed genuine talent. The Black Elf's curse required the same base ingredients as the Blood Elf's wail, but the refinement method involved a completely different process. The complexity of the curse far exceeded that of the wail. Tommen had accidentally refined the curse, which signaled latent potential. The Green Forest Sage instructed Tommen to focus on refining the Black Elf's curse, noting that if utilized correctly, the substance could serve a purpose on the battlefield. Levi suppressed a laugh, unsure whether to be amused or perplexed by the turn of events. Holy Brilliance calendar year 1041, in the month of Northern Wind. Levi had been in Riptide City for half a year. His merit points reached 6,000. This earning speed no longer trailed behind the 2nd circle wizard Grimm. It far exceeded that of other 1st circle pharmacists. He, Grimm, and Tommen became increasingly familiar with one another. They became the 3 swordsmen under Supervisor Huffman. They often appeared together. In this unfamiliar, sprawling city, making friends proved helpful. Within the Tower of Pharmacists, small groups inevitably formed. Levi's circle was just one of them. During the past 6 months, Levi purchased every breathing technique available in the merit shop. He broke through the limit of the Heavenly Owl breathing technique, cultivating his liver to the maximum of level 9. Unlike the breathing techniques of the other 5 dimensions, Transcendent Perception did not transform into a gaseous special effect. It became something new. The Heavenly Owl breathing technique reached level 9, the maximum level. Its special effects included Intuition at level 1, Spider Sensing, Favored by the Night, and Heavenly Wind Heart. His intuition meant that his vision, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and other conventional senses transcended their limits. In a communication state, he achieved a meticulous judgment of everything around him. He could see through matters and anticipate an enemy's first move, observing before acting. As the perception advanced, Levi entered a higher state of intuition. He felt as though he had activated a large-scale, high-precision vision. He could predict attacks with the precision of a legendary god of the sky, or a master marksman. He wondered if the transcendent path would converge in the distant future. In the endless multidimensional plane, thousands of transcendent paths existed. Perhaps, in essence, all these paths led to the same destination, though obstacles required clearing, much like his own journey as a knight. Levi considered these things for a moment. He retracted his focus, afraid to utilize large-scale perception in Riptide City. Too many powerful individuals resided here, and the Magi possessed strange methods. He did not wish to offend powerful people without reason. Level 9 perception represented only a small part of his cultivation results. He remained humble, digesting these results while waiting to reap the rewards. His spell power hit 1,000 points, reaching the limit of a first circle wizard. He successfully constructed the second circle spell model required for his advancement. Levi chose an Earth School of Thought spell named King Kong Rock Body. He had exchanged 3,000 merit points for this advanced version of the first ring spell Rock Body. The King Kong Rock Body served as a passive defensive spell. If cultivated to the limit, it offered defensive strength nearing a B rank, comparable to his current golden snake scales. Everything was ready, except for the Eye of the Devil. Levi spent his free time having others inquire about the Eye of the Devil in Lower Riptide. The combat wizards there frequently cleared monsters outside the Hundred-Eyed Demon territory and understood the situation. Holy Brilliance calendar year 1042, in the month of beginning. The 7th year of the Great Expedition dawned. No news arrived from the expeditionary army. Similarly, no word came from his companions in the Grey Tower. On the endless sea, the flames of war continued to burn. Levi had spent nearly a year in Riptide City. Recently, the lack of secret medicine troubled him. After this period of cultivation, his supply was almost exhausted. He lacked the qualifications to apply for leave to return home. Without the medicine, cultivating his breathing technique became difficult. News arrived that the area east of Riptide City lay in the outer region of the Hundred-Eyed Demon territory. A level 2 eye demon appeared and defeated a team of demon-hunting wizards. The team suffered heavy casualties, with only half escaping. Levi decided to investigate. He was 52 years old and needed to advance to become a second circle wizard. Theoretically, wizards could break through at any age, but in practice, under identical conditions, later advancement lowered the success rate. He could not delay. The sooner he reached the second circle, the better he could establish himself in Riptide City. He completed his work for the coming week in advance and walked to Huffman's residence. "You intend to participate in a demon-hunting mission outside the city?" Huffman asked, puzzlement etched on his face. "Are you lacking potion ingredients to break through?" "Yes, Lord," Levi admitted. The truth could not remain hidden from this shrewd pharmacist. "What do you need?" Huffman asked after a moment of thought. "I will see if I have it here. If I do, you may use merit points or Aether Stones to exchange for it." Levi was a rare pharmacist seedling who had produced many results. Naturally, Huffman did not want him to participate in dangerous missions. Pharmacists lacked combat prowess, and participating in demon hunting often proved suicidal. "Eye of the Devil," Levi replied. If Huffman possessed it, Levi would avoid significant trouble. Huffman coughed awkwardly. "Well, I do not have one." Huffman's own breakthrough formula differed from the Eye Devil's gaze, so he had not prepared the ingredients. The ingredients in his own formula remained incomplete, preventing him from refining a complete potion. Levi would likely refuse to use a potion of inferior quality. Huffman gestured for him to leave. "Very well, go. Be careful. At your age, there is no need for such haste to reach the second circle. If it proves impossible, take your time. Your life is more important." Huffman's sharp voice softened with unexpected warmth, reminding Levi vaguely of the Grey Tower. "Thank you, Lord," Levi said. Levi thanked him and traveled to the lower Riptide. There, he contacted the team that had encountered the Eye Demon. After paying a fee, he understood the situation and the coordinates. He boarded a wizard airship and flew toward the war zone, where the monster had been spotted. Meanwhile, in Upper Riptide, a grey-robed wizard waited quietly. "The money tree under Huffman has finally left the city," the wizard murmured. "You should take action. A mere pharmacist dares to participate in the demon hunting operation. It is only natural for him to die outside." Chapter 555. Levi leaned against the porthole window of the wizard airship. Outside, the blue sky and white clouds streaked past. He rubbed his arm, his hair standing on end. An inexplicable sense of danger prickled at his skin. Was the mission to hunt the Eye Demon truly that perilous, or did someone intend him harm? Levi sifted through the memories of his year in Riptide City. He had spent his days secluded within his home. His social circle consisted solely of Huffman, Grimm, and Tommen. If any of them harbored hostility, his spider sensing would have triggered long ago. Beyond them, he had never dealt with anyone else. He had maintained a low profile and treated everyone with kindness. He never took the initiative to cause trouble. This danger likely stemmed from the Eye Demon hunt. The 6th warzone was rife with peril, and the demons were ruthless. This outcome fell within his expectations. However, he could not wait any longer. If he missed this opportunity, another might never arise. He was no longer young. The time had come for him to transcend to the second circle. Inside the cabin, combat wizards clad in uniform army robes shifted, their faces taut with nervousness. A second circle wizard stood before them, reciting a list of warnings. Unlike his companions, Levi had opted for a solo mission, rather than a group venture. Most wizards lacked the confidence for such a move. Low-level wizards cast spells slowly, and second circle wizards often fell to packs of level 1 monsters. Group battles allowed for a rhythm of control, defense, and attack. Yet, the Idemon required a solo effort. Splitting the spoils of such rare creatures usually led to disputes, or worse, a knife in the back. Ever since he had been betrayed by the earthly dragon beast during their first joint venture in the human world, he preferred working alone. If he could not defeat a target alone, he would wait until he possessed the strength to do so. He refused to form a team with others. Within the military camp, organizations followed a strict hierarchy. Small teams consisted of 10 people, large teams numbered 100, and a legion comprised 1,000. Team leaders were always second circle wizards, while the main forces consisted of third circle wizards. Army commanders, like Gerdu, were fourth circle wizards. Fifth circle wizards operated at the commander-in-chief level, a rarity in Riptide City. Such figures stood second only to the city lord. The second circle wizard leading the group noticed Levi sitting alone on the bench. "You are not a combat wizard, are you?" Levi nodded. "I am from the Tower of Pharmacists. I accepted a demon hunting mission on my own." The second circle wizard blinked, his expression filled with surprise. "Is the Tower of Pharmacists at its limit? Do you have to come out and take on this work yourselves? A pharmacist dares to accept demon hunting missions. Pharmacists are fierce these days." The wizards nearby chuckled. Levi offered a polite smile but remained silent. "My name is Sherman, the leader of this demon hunting team," the wizard said. "When we move later, you can join our team. We can take care of you. Pharmacists are the treasures of Riptide City. You cannot die out there." Levi bowed his head in appreciation. "Thank you so much, Sir Sherman, but I will not trouble you. I am just looking for some monsters to test my spells on the battlefield. I will not venture too deep." Sherman nodded, conceding the point. "Up to you." He had acted out of goodwill, but Levi insisted on his own path. That indicated either a hothead or a wizard with absolute confidence. Sherman watched Levi and suspected it was the latter. This gesture of goodwill would benefit his relationship with a pharmacist later. The effort proved successful. Levi harbored a favorable impression of this stranger. Not long after the airship departed, another smaller vessel followed in the same direction. On board, an ordinary-looking wizard in a grey robe sat in a corner. He went by the name Wizard Mortar, though his master, and those who knew him intimately referred to him simply as Old Mo. Old Mo was far from an ordinary man. He was not a native of the wizard world, but a transplant from the human world. Over 100 years ago, he had been the son of a declining noble. He relied on an ancestral breathing technique to become a Grand Knight, eventually joining the Bird of Death voice. At the time, he ranked among the 5 Shadows of Death. During an assassination mission, Old Mo accidentally encountered the inheritance of a wizard. Much like Levi, he had wasted a few years in the human world before discovering his double affinity talent and entering the wizard world. Now, a century had passed. Old Mo stood as a second circle wizard, yet the habits of an assassin from his past life remained etched into his soul. Chapter 556. Old Mo became an assassin in Riptide City, working for a powerful figure to eliminate obstacles. He did not do it for money, but for passion. He craved the despair in the eyes of his enemies before they died. Their terrifying howls offered him a strange pleasure. Killing a first circle wizard brought him no sense of accomplishment. The void of achievement hung over Old Mo. To excel as an assassin, Old Mo cultivated shadow-type spells. He mastered stealth, tracking, and murder. Many second circle wizards fell to his blades. Once, he even defeated a senior second circle wizard. If any enemy viewed Old Mo as an ordinary second circle wizard, they would find their own grave. Wizards focused too much on research. Protected by the laws of the Panplane Wizard Council, some wizards lived their entire lives without casting a spell in actual combat. Their combat ability remained brittle, and their tactical consciousness stayed absent. This was Old Mo's evaluation of the wizards he killed. He stood apart. He had endured countless assassinations in the human world. Knights possessed only one method, and every action they took served the purpose of combat and killing. Every great knight commanded respect. Unfortunately, a knight reaching the legendary status remained the end of the road. Old Mo had pushed his ancestral breathing technique to the limit, yet he had not touched the threshold of the legendary knight. This world was finally becoming interesting. Old Mo peered out of the window at the flames of war that consumed the endless sea. A flower of death bloomed in the distance. This was the worst of times for others, but for Old Mo, it was the best of times. A wizard tower, 1,000 feet tall, stood on an isolated island. This served as a frontline stronghold. A powerful fourth circle array protected the structure, capable of resisting level 4 monsters. The wizard airship landed beside the tower. Levi stepped out with the other passengers. The Idemon was 400 miles east of this stronghold. He hoped to find his target. Demons possessed territorial awareness. A level 2 demon was an elite member of the demon army. Levi only needed the eye of a level 1 Idemon to refine the Devil's gaze. However, a level 2 specimen offered better results, increasing the success rate of the potion. Within the wizard tower, everyone prepared for the monster hunt. Levi rushed toward the location where the Idemon had appeared. It sat far from the core region. As he entered the area, A strange energy joined the ethereal energy. The air carried a thin, yet undeniable demonic aura. Those demon lords acted as massive radiation sources, spreading their essence in every direction. Even after death, a demon lord's aura could transform the surrounding soil for decades, turning every creature that stumbled into the area into a demonic beast. That was the terror of the abyssal civilization. Huffman had warned him that demonic aura disrupted spellcasting and corrupted wizards into monsters. Levi thought of the black fog he had encountered in the Shadow Realm. That substance felt similar. A demon might be sealed in the core of that Shadow Realm, but its level was low, leaving the aura uncontaminated. The hundred-eyed demon king, however, possessed a terrifying aura. If someone with a low realm encountered too much of it at once, the corruption would be instantaneous. The border area held only a thin layer of aura, and Levi carried the Ice Heart Potion. The aura posed no threat. Levi fully activated his intuition state. His 5 senses scanned everything within a radius of dozens of kilometers. The precision of his investigation far exceeded previous attempts. Combined with the black snake's message, his perception became divine. The spider sensing remained active. Danger lingered nearby. A pitch-black shadow descended from the sky above the sea. It was a black-headed sea eagle, a first circle eagle-type transcendent creature. Its eyes emitted a strange red light, and its body wrapped in a terrifying demonic aura. Like a small glider, its sharp claws dove toward Levi. It had succumbed to the demonic aura, otherwise its blood could have served to cultivate the Maya breathing technique. Levi anticipated the eagle's attack. He cast the big fireball technique he had prepared. Flames tore through the sea. The black-headed sea eagle plunged into the fireball. It wailed as the flames consumed it. Levi blasted it with another huge fireball. The eagle burned into ash. To these transcendent creatures below the second circle, the big fireball technique provided a total solution. If it did not, he would cast it again. Levi watched the ashes fall and rushed forward. The sensation on his arm grew more intense, yet he maintained a calm expression. Chapter 557. Not long after, Levi located the level 2 eye demon. The mental connection ensured the monster, hidden at the bottom of the sea, could not escape his notice. Deep in the dark seabed, a huge meatball, roughly 5 meters in diameter, hovered. Floating tentacles surrounded it. Incomplete corpses dangled from these tentacles, and the eye demon absorbed nourishment from them through those appendages. Levi counted 5 eyeballs on the meatball. They spun restlessly, a clear sign that the eye demon remained on guard. 5 eyeballs meant he could refine 5 portions. This was wonderful. The strength of a level 2 eye demon approached that of a senior second circle wizard. Even Levi had to give his all. Unease prickled at his skin. His spider sensing flared. The sense of danger did not stem from the eye demon, but rather from some hidden third party. Levi closed his eyes. Entering a state of intuition, he scoured every trace of the sea area. Nothing surfaced. He might be acting paranoid. Levi wasted no more time. He inserted the Aether Stone, sending the corpse digger forward to test the eye demon's strength. This was Levi's first encounter with a level 2 demon. Demons differed from ordinary demonic creatures. Demonic creatures generally referred to beings from other planes corroded by demonic aura, similar to a secondary blood clan. Demons, however, were native existences born from the abyss. Legends claimed all demons, whether high and mighty lords or low-level cannon fodder, evolved from an inconspicuous abyss worm found on the abyss itself. In theory, every demon possessed the potential to evolve to a higher level, provided they engaged in endless killing, devouring other creatures and their own kind. This eye demon was a true demon. Even at level 2, Levi had to exercise caution. Before long, the corpse digger successfully attracted the attention of the eye demon. The eye demon possessed keen perception. While the corpse digger remained at a distance, the creature sensed the intrusion. It waved its tentacles, surging quickly toward the surface of the sea. Red light flickered within the vertical, strange eyes. An invisible mental attack coalesced and slammed into the corpse digger. The corpse digger was merely an alchemical construct, devoid of a mind. The mental attack proved ineffective. The corpse digger's axe sank into the eye demon's body. The furious creature's eyes shone with a brilliant red light, and crimson rays erupted. These red lights tore through the deep sea, piercing several large holes through the corpse digger's body. Engine oil began to leak. It was incredibly powerful. Levi hurriedly commanded the corpse digger to retreat. This eye demon exceeded his expectations. The corpse digger's defense was penetrated instantly. His golden snake scales would likely struggle to provide complete protection. However, he could now barely cast the second ring spell, King Kong Rock Body. Together, these defenses should suffice. The eye demon's keen perception quickly located Levi. It rushed forward, tentacles lengthening. It waved them, while strange rays began to accumulate within its eyeballs. Golden snake scales spread across his body, layer by layer. Blood wings spun, transforming into a thruster that propelled him quickly through the depths. The blood imprisonment all appeared in Levi's hand. Bullets pierced into the body of the eye demon, one by one. The strange red light the eye demon had ignited instantly dimmed. It actually worked. The eye demon flared with rage. Its eyes served as its primary weapon. With the blood imprisonment all pierced into its flesh, it could not utilize all 5 eyes. The ray attack Levi feared most had been neutralized. Levi closed the distance. He unleashed a golden cross slash. A golden sword beam tore through the water toward the eye demon. The creature writhed in pain. The force of the golden revolving slash crushed its flesh. A sudden, terrifying mental attack struck him once more. Levi staggered, dazed, as the tentacles ensnared him. In an instant, countless appendages wrapped around him like a gargantuan dumpling. The mental strength of this demon surpassed Levi's own. Caught off guard, the blow landed true. The creature had succeeded. Its tentacles thrashed, attempting to pierce through Levi's scales. The monster realized the scales were hard as diamond. After several attempts, the tentacles failed to break through. At the same time, the moonlight greatsword in Skin's hand flickered with a blood-red light in the deep sea. The crimson sword energy tore through the water and swept forward. The terrifying sword energy severed half of the demon's body. In its agony, the creature released Levi. Demonic aura surged from the two severed halves. Levi unleashed a grey destruction cross slash. The annihilating sword beam disintegrated the remaining half of the demon, turning it into dust. Since no eyeballs remained on this half, Levi used the grey flame cross slash without reservation. He would not have shown such restraint had he not feared damaging the eyeballs. He could have lured the demon to the surface and washed the area with the big fireball technique and the flames of Red Lotus. Hellfire dealt additional damage to abyss demons, after all. Ultimately, under the combined assault of the corpse digger, Skin, and Levi, the demon perished. Levi's heart skipped a beat. Just as he reached to claim the eyeball, the creepy sense of danger from his spider sensing flared again. Crack. Chapter 558. Levi's golden snake scales gave way. Golden runes flashed across his chest. A black sword blade stabbed into his King Kong rock body and sank deep into the armor. The tip of the sword had already pierced into Levi's lava heart. Sharp pain erupted in his chest. His powerful physique forced the wound in his heart to knit together almost instantly. Levi's expression remained cold as he stared at the blade protruding from his torso. This weapon was a blade of nothingness, condensed from black shadows. It possessed no physical mass, having fused seamlessly with the dark depths of the sea. How is that possible? The voice echoed in the water. In the dark expanse of the deep sea, a black shadow face twisted in shock. The shadow shared the nature of the blade itself. It had merged with the deep sea, lacking any corporeal form. It was old Mo. He had stalked Levi stealthily all the way to this location. Seeing that Levi possessed strength, he had held back, waiting for the right moment. The more powerful Levi appeared, the more excited old Mo became. He realized the young man had been hiding his true capabilities. Of course, old Mo was no fool. He was an assassin, not a brawler. He watched Levi engage the demon, waiting to reap the rewards. He waited for Levi to strike the killing blow and distract himself with the spoils of war. Then, he activated his second ring spell, Shadow Blade. This was a second ring spell with attack power reaching rank A. It was sufficient to penetrate the defenses of most second circle wizards. Old Mo, a former Grand Knight, knew this pharmacist named Levi was no simple target. He was not an ordinary first circle wizard. He might even be a legendary knight. His physique had to be stronger than ordinary mortals. That was why he utilized his ultimate skill from the very start. However, old Mo never expected his ultimate maneuver to fail against Levi's defense. As a senior assassin, old Mo had long mastered the habit of fleeing thousands of miles away after a failed strike. He had no desire to continue the fight. He planned to leave first and make other arrangements later. He immediately invoked his second ring spell, Shadow Form. He transformed into a shadow. In the murky environment, a second circle wizard's perception would find him impossible to track. Levi crushed the shadow blade embedded in his chest with one large hand. The fragments dissolved into shadows and vanished without a trace. Skin observed Levi's reddened body and murderous eyes. He tactfully retrieved the corpse of the demon and retreated. He understood that Levi was beyond angry. The last person who angered Levi had been the tragic Yax. This hidden enemy was about to face grave consequences. His lava heart thumped, and hot blood surged through his veins. Levi's entire body turned red and transparent, as if he had transformed into a lava man burning with crimson flames. Like a volcanic eruption, powerful fluctuations surged from his body. The seawater around Levi suddenly heated up and began to boil. The flames circling Levi expanded, spreading in all directions. The red lotus seed circulated at full speed before exploding outward. Levi held a massive fireball in his palm. Under the enhancement of hellfire, the orb detonated in the water before him. The flames illuminated the deep sea, making it as bright as day. Levi's pale golden eyes scanned the darkness. He engaged his intuition, detecting a black shadow flashing in the dim light hundreds of meters ahead. The figure was escaping. Levi sneered and gripped the blood feather bow. He placed a blood imprisonment all on the bowstring. He drew the bow until it resembled a full moon, and the arrow shot forth like a meteor. It cut through the water with a sharp whistle. The blood imprisonment all pierced the black shadow. A groan of pain echoed from the void. Although Old Mo's shadow form hid his figure well, it provided no protection against the impact. When struck, he was forced back into his original form. A staggering figure suddenly materialized on the sea before him. Old Mo did not look back. He employed every escape technique at his disposal, desperate to vanish. "You still want to run after offending me," a voice called out calmly. Another arrow struck home, piercing Old Mo's chest. With the blood feather bow, no one below the third circle could defend against the assault. Old Mo excelled at stealth and assassination, not defense. Levi determined the time for games was over, and decided not to kill him yet. He drew closer and cast Vampire Touch. Vines of energy bound Old Mo's legs, dragging him toward Levi. The heavily injured Old Mo weakly struck Levi's chest with a spell, but Levi ignored it. He grabbed old Emo by the neck and descended to the surface of the sea. After finding an uninhabited island, Levi threw old Emo onto the ground. "You want to assassinate me with this level of strength?" Levi asked in his human form, his expression devoid of emotion. "Tell me, who sent you?" At that moment, Levi's spider sensing finally fell silent. It turned out that the source of the threat he had felt all along was not the demon, but this wizard. Old Mo's hands had been shattered by Levi. Blood flowed profusely, and the assassin writhed in agony, wishing for death. Levi had even embedded the remaining blood imprisonment alls into Old Mo's body. The assassin stared at Levi, refusing to speak. "Just kill me. I will not say a word," Old Emo said with a strange smile. "Are you that tough?" Levi asked, shattering Old Mo's legs again. A scream tore through the island. Old Emo remained silent. After a long period of torture, Levi realized the man would never break. He cut off Old Mo's head. "Forget it if you do not want to say it," he muttered. After killing the assassin, Levi searched the body and finally found a storage bag. He opened it, only to be shocked to discover that it contained nothing but a few casting materials. Chapter 559. Professional Assassin. Levi muttered the words, killing intent swelling within him. Obviously, to prevent his identity from being exposed, the killer had brought nothing beyond essential casting materials before making his move. Someone hired an assassin to kill a harmless pharmacist? Levi scoffed at the absurdity of the thought. If the enemies from Area 9 or Whale Song Island wanted him dead, they would not resort to hiring assassins. Whale Song Island had likely given up on him long ago, considering them dark wizards. The enemy had to be among the righteous wizards in Riptide City. Who could it be? Have I offended anyone? Levi racked his brain, but no answer emerged. I work hard every day to craft potions and earn money legally. Why would someone want to harm me? Could I have ruined someone's source of income? No, there is no competition between me and the other pharmacists. The military distributes all merit points. He remained an insignificant figure in Riptide City, seeking only a steady life. Levi took a deep breath to calm his nerves. He extracted the demon's eyeball and incinerated the corpse to ashes with the big fireball technique. Beyond the eyeball, the creature offered nothing of value. It radiated a demonic aura, so he left it behind. His military merit bracelet buzzed with a notification. He opened it, noting an unexpected gain of 500 merit points. Killing an demon grants 500 merit points. That is 10 times more than a level 1 demon. Not bad. He returned to the stronghold, casting wary glances at the people around him. The world suddenly felt like a place where everyone wished to do him harm. That assassin belonged to the Shadow faction, a small branch of the Dark Energy faction. Not many people in Riptide City cultivate Shadow faction spells. To hire a second circle assassin, the mastermind must hold significant status. I will find out who is targeting me. He let out a long sigh. Do not bully honest people. Levi returned to the Tower of Pharmacists after his days away. Huffman looked at him, letting out a visible sigh of relief upon seeing his safe return. In the following days, Levi prepared to refine the Devil's Gaze. He had already gathered the other materials. He continued refining the Ice Heart potion. 1 month later, his pharmaceutical skills reached level 9. Levi had successfully become a second circle pharmacist. He visited Huffman's residence to share news of his advancement. He passed the second circle pharmacist assessment with ease. Huffman relieved him of refining the Ice Heart potion. Instead, he tasked Levi with refining the second circle red-blue mana potion for the front lines. Due to the scarcity of second circle pharmacists, these potions remained in high demand. Levi utilized the opportunity to cultivate his proficiency in the craft. His merit points increased rapidly. Grimm and Tommen congratulated him upon hearing the news. The stronger Levi became, the safer their own positions within the Tower of Pharmacists remained. Levi temporarily pushed the assassination attempt to the back of his mind. He kept the incident from Huffman. The priority remained refining the Devil's Gaze to become a second circle wizard. Advancing would not make him a big shot, but it would lift him from the bottom ranks, making it easier to investigate his enemy. Time passed swiftly. Cultivation within the tower proceeded smoothly. Levi consciously interacted with his colleagues, hoping his spider sensing would alert him to any hostility. He found nothing. None of the pharmacists working alongside him harbored ill intent. He narrowed his target list to the 5 supervisors. Outside of Huffman, who managed his work directly, he had no contact with the other 4. He could not verify his suspicions. He suspected one or more of the other directors, but he lacked evidence. In the month of Flowing Fire, in the year 1042, his merit points crossed the 10,000 mark. He intensified his pharmaceutical proficiency training to refine the Devil's Gaze. Huffman noticed the hard work and effort, paying closer attention to him. A worker who sought overtime was a good worker. Huffman's own performance metrics improved steadily. Levi's additional achievements enabled Huffman to purchase an expensive house in the Upper Riptide. Huffman soon moved there, visiting the tower only to check on mission assignments. Levi mastered the second circle potion techniques and began refining the Devil's Gaze in solitude. He possessed far more skill than Ms. Marlene had in the past, allowing him to handle the refinement personally. The potion was simply too precious to risk collaboration, even with friends like Grimm. Wealth invited temptation. The recent assassination attempt made him even more guarded. Leviathan and his other creatures were loyal and simple. Humans were far too complicated. 7 days later, Levi had consumed all 5 demon eyeballs. Refining the potion alone made controlling the supplementary ingredients difficult. The success rate remained low, but he succeeded twice. 2 attempts were sufficient. In the container, the potion shimmered with a strange light, resembling 2 eyeballs. I will take one and sell the other when the opportunity arises. A single portion of the Devil's Gaze potion was worth at least 30,000 Aether Stones in Riptide City, rivaling the value of a third circle wizard tool. He considered a wizard tool merely a luxury, while this breakthrough potion served as a necessity. He took a deep breath, consumed the Devil's Gaze potion, and began his meditation. He intended to break through to the second circle in one session. His fire element affinity combined with the potion guaranteed his success. His chance of failure stood near 0. 1 day passed. Endless streams of spiritual force flowed from the void into his mind. Within his sea of consciousness, his spiritual force surged, growing more resplendent. Red light flickered and spread. The quantity of invisible spiritual force far exceeded his previous reserves. The quality felt more condensed than it had at the first circle. The illusory spiritual force gave him the impression that one more step would allow it to form a physical presence. He knew that advancing to the third circle required a special condition. The illusory spiritual force had to transform into a gas form within the mind. This was spiritual force vaporization. The fourth circle required liquefaction, while the fifth circle demanded solidification, forming a crystal. Beyond the advanced level, the crystal fused with the soul to form a primordial soul. The path of a wizard demanded constant tempering of the spiritual force. When the flow of power ceased, his spiritual growth stalled. He had reached the second circle realm. He examined his body. The King Kong rock body emitted a faint golden luster, with runes flickering across the surface. Advancing made using the second ring spell much easier. First ring spells also became more controllable, with casting rhythm and speed far exceeding his previous limits. He touched the Klein crystal. Spiritual force, 51. Spell power, 1001. I am a second circle wizard. In Riptide City, I have finally left the bottom ranks. Chapter 560. Following his advancement to the second circle, each point of spiritual force accounted for an upper limit of 30 spell power. In other words, Levi's current 51 points of spiritual force should theoretically allow for a maximum of 1,530 points of spell power. He offered a bitter smile to the empty room. His talent for spell power remained decidedly average. Fortunately, that limitation did not trouble him much. As a pharmacist, he could simply rely on pills to bridge the gap. He had already obtained the formula for the second circle Green King potion from Huffman. This elixir increased the upper limit of spell power by 10 points per bottle. Although the price remained relatively expensive, Levi would occasionally falsify his success rate reports. He secretly kept one bottle as a hard work fee. After all, pharmacists accepted a certain loss rate when refining complex potions. For example, upon registering at the warehouse, he could requisition 10 portions of ingredients. Providing 7 finished potions was typically enough to satisfy the requirements. Yet, since he consistently refined 8 of them successfully, he claimed the extra bottle for his own cultivation. This practice served as an unspoken rule within the Tower of Pharmacists. The military knew about it, but turned a blind eye. If the pharmacists received only a meager amount of merit, while sacrificing their own cultivation time to concoct potions, they would lack enthusiasm for the work. However, he could not overstep his bounds. He kept his activities sporadic. If his success rate dropped too low, the military might investigate, and his position as a second circle pharmacist would be in jeopardy. Consequently, he did not force his spell power to grow unnaturally. He was content to spend time slowly bridging the gap. At present, the only second ring spell he had mastered was the King Kong rock body. He did not need immense spell power, provided he had enough for his current needs. At the same time, upon reaching the second circle, Levi spent 500 merit points in the shop to acquire the second circle content for the Earth meditation art. This basic technique did not cost much. Meditation art served as fundamental knowledge, and most were public domain. However, as eras passed, later generations adjusted and improved these arts. The fees were actually paid to the sorcerers who had perfected them. When Soren established the Panplane Wizard Council, one of his goals was to popularize basic knowledge like meditation, to help more talented people become wizards. Consequently, meditation techniques often made their way into the human world. Techniques like the sun, earth, and deep-sea arts had been passed down from ancient times. They stood the test of time, and could guide a wizard all the way to the legendary realm. Although these basic techniques lacked the special effects of something like the Black Sun meditation art, they were safe, stable, and accessible. They might not offer incredible power, but they would never lead a practitioner astray. Therefore, Levi pursued the path of persevering with these basic meditation arts until the end. Spells carried a much higher value, as they reflected the originality of every wizard. The council protected the intellectual property rights of original spells with vigor. Knowledge of pharmacy, weapon making, and arrays was even more rare and valuable. A few days later, Levi's Earth meditation art broke through to level 6. Upon reaching this threshold, he noticed subtle changes in his status. His Sun meditation art had reached level 6 with 12 out of 40,000 progress. His Earth meditation art had reached level 6 with 2 out of 40,000 progress. The Furnace meditation art sat at level 5 with 13,256 out of 30,000. The Night Crow meditation art remained at level 5 with 367 out of 30,000. The Deep Sea meditation art stood at level 4 with 13,478 out of 20,000. And the Gale meditation art resided at level 3 with 7,890 out of 10,000. After crossing the level 6 threshold, a fusion option appeared behind his earth and sun meditation arts. Levi felt his heart flutter. He had guessed previously that meditation arts could be fused, but he assumed that success required gathering all 4 elemental affinities. He had not expected the option to appear at level 6. This was a pleasant surprise. Levi did not hesitate. Skill fusion offered only benefits, with no discernible disadvantages. He immediately commenced the process. Merging the arts required a vast amount of spiritual force. Half a day later, Levi sat with a pale, exhausted face. His mental energy had been drained dry. The fusion had succeeded. He drank a mana potion, meditated, and allowed himself a period of rest. He checked his status. The underground fire meditation art had reached level 6, with 7 out of 40,000 progress. A new special effect labeled Underground Fire Dominator had appeared. He examined the description of the special effect. The Underground Fire Dominator allowed him to cultivate spells related to fire elements simultaneously, as well as special elemental spells mutated from the combination of earth and fire. In addition, the power of spells related to both earth and fire saw a slight increase. This special effect remained fixed and could not be upgraded. The Underground Fire Dominator sounds quite powerful, Levi muttered to himself. The original sun and earth meditation arts had vanished from his list. He cast the King Kong rock body. Golden runes flickered across his skin as the defensive spell took hold. He retrieved the blood imprisonment all and stabbed his own arm. The runes flickered erratically. The King Kong rock formation tenaciously resisted the assault, but under the force of Levi's strike, the defense finally gave way to the blood imprisonment all with a sharp slash. Chapter 561. Levi's arm was torn open, and blood flowed profusely. But soon, blood ember flew everywhere, and countless flesh buds grew out. In the blink of an eye, the hideous wound healed as if it had never existed. He had not used the golden snake scales from beginning to end. The defensive strength of the King Kong rock body had increased. It had advanced on the foundation of the rock body. It was only at level 6 now, and the limit of this spell should be level 7. The defensive strength of a level 6 King Kong rock body was originally only at grade C. After being augmented by the Underground Fire Dominator, the defense of the King Kong rock body had clearly reached grade B, similar to his current golden snake scales. When he cultivated King Kong rock body to the maximum of level 7, the defensive strength of this passive spell should reach the level of grade A. It would far surpass other passive defensive spells, and remain comparable to some top active defensive spells. Passive defensive spells generally offered lower protection than active ones. Levi realized his defense had become abnormal. Unless a second circle wizard wielded trump cards like the blood imprisonment all, few could break through his defense. Anyone hoping to pierce his hide required a spell with extreme penetrating power. Such spells concentrated force onto a single point, making them difficult to land against his powerful constitution. For example, the assassin's shadow blade possessed extreme penetrating power. It could actually break Levi's golden snake scales and King Kong rock body. However, the cost was that the power was too concentrated. It worked against weak wizards, but it could not cause fatal damage to a blood bowl like Levi. Even if the shadow blade pierced his heart, Levi could survive with the undying bird breathing techniques blood ember and resurrection special effects. Then, he could quickly heal the injuries. His self-healing level was no weaker than that of an ordinary primary blood clan. Unless his vital organs, such as the head and heart, exploded in an instant and turned to ash, he could self-heal. Levi looked at the remaining meditation arts. According to the current pattern, he might be able to fuse the Deep Sea Meditation Art and the Gale Meditation Art after he reached level 6. Sea Gale Meditation Art, it felt a little strange. If he combined the Sea Gale Meditation Art with the Earth Fire Meditation Art, it would be the Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water Meditation Art. Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water represented the beginnings of all elements. They were the source of all things and the power of ether. Once he mastered all 4, he would not have to care about the school or the spell type. He could learn whichever spell he wanted. Everything he learned would be amazing. Levi was thrilled at the thought. He only needed one more water element affinity to verify whether this idea could be realized. He decided that in his future cultivation, he would first cultivate the Gale Meditation Art to level 6. At that time, when the water element affinity came out, he would cultivate the Deep Sea Meditation Art to level 6 and directly fuse it. Wind and water gave birth to ice, and water and fire gave birth to lightning. The elementalist school that mutated from earth and fire was known to Levi as the Bronze School, also known as the Metal School. This school was similar to the School of Alchemy, but not completely the same. The School of Alchemy focused on researching alchemy creations, while the Bronze School was an ancient traditional school whose goal was to master rare metal elements. Compared to the elementalist schools, such as earth, fire, wind, water, lightning, and ice, the Bronze School was relatively weak. Currently, it lacked a legendary wizard leader. However, this did not mean the Bronze School was weak. On the contrary, it was rather powerful in both attack and defense. It could be said to be both offensive and defensive. It involved condensing metal elements and sharp metal blades to form a terrifying sword blade storm. Or, one could superimpose the metal elements on the body to form a terrifying indestructible shield. There were also all-metal maniacs, who directly poured metal elements into their bodies and solidified spell runes all over their skin. They walked the path of alchemy monsters like the Tower Master. The Bronze School was undoubtedly powerful, but in the past 10,000 years, it had never produced a true genius. Since the death of the former legendary wizard, Platinum Wind Roger, who had been the chairman of the Panplane Wizard Council, this school had stepped into a deficient situation. Without a legendary wizard as its successor, its influence in the elemental faction kept decreasing, forming a vicious cycle of decline. Now, among the elementalist schools, the 4 traditional factions of earth, fire, wind, and water were respected, followed by thunder and ice. It seemed like they would catch up later. The bronze school, which had once been glorious, finally declined. Now, it had retreated to a second-tier position in the elementalist school, and could only be compared to juniors like the School of Alchemy. After seeing the special effect of the Underground Fire Dominator, Levi was a little tempted. This special effect, dubbed the Underground Fire Dominator, allowed him to cultivate spells related to fire elements simultaneously, as well as spells of special elements mutated from the combination of earth and fire. In addition, the power of spells related to both earth and fire saw a slight increase. He felt that at his second circle stage, he could give it a try before the earth, fire, wind, and water fused. In any case, he was the Underground Fire Dominator. He could learn whatever he wanted. Now that he had advanced to the second circle, his strength had increased again. Levi's desire for revenge became stronger and stronger. He picked up the potion he had refined during this period of time, and went to look for Huffman. As soon as he stepped out, he met Grimm standing in the corridor. Grimm stared at him, his eyes widening in disbelief. He could not help but exclaim, "Sir Levi, you have advanced to the second circle." Chapter 562. Levi's spiritual force fluctuation differed completely from his own. A few days ago, Levi had been a first circle rookie just like him. How had he advanced to the second circle in such a short time? "Yes, I just advanced," Levi smiled. Grimm stared, his eyes welling with envious tears. When they first met, Levi had been an ordinary first circle wizard. At that time, Grimm already held the title of senior first circle wizard and second circle pharmacist. Times had changed. Levi stood before him as a second circle wizard and a second circle pharmacist, while Grimm remained in the same place. Grimm reflected on his life, his frustration mounting. "I feel dragged down by my family. I must hurry to advance to the second circle. Otherwise, based solely on my status as a second circle pharmacist, others might offer polite respect on the surface, but they will look down on me behind my back. Strength is the real thing. Everything else is just the icing on the cake. Mr. Grimm, I wish you a speedy advancement to the second circle." Levi offered his sincere blessings. "Thank you. I must advance to the second circle before that fatty Tommen." Grimm bristled with determination. "Ha ha ha, I am sorry, Grimm. You are going to be disappointed. I will definitely advance to the second circle in 3 years." Tommen walked over, his belly leading the way, and his expression exuding confidence. "We shall see who reaches the second circle first." Grimm refused to admit defeat. Levi studied the confident Tommen. Tommen differed from him. He was a disciple of a third circle wizard family, and his father was a third circle wizard. His family had likely assisted him, as his rapid return from the military camp, and his confidence regarding his breakthrough suggested access to a second circle breakthrough potion. Levi sighed inwardly. Others had support in this world, while he relied only on his interface panel. After exchanging pleasantries for a while, Levi bade farewell and sought Huffman. Huffman had been counting his mountain of Aether Stones until he sensed Levi approaching, at which point he stowed them away and cleared his throat. "Lord Huffman, I would like to request an audience." "Come in." As Levi entered, the surge in his spiritual force became apparent, far stronger than before. Huffman smiled as he observed him. "Looks like you gained something from your demon hunting trip. I was lucky enough to break through to the second circle." "That is a good thing." Levi watched his bracelet buzz as 1,000 merit points transferred to his account. "Lord, what is this?" "A little reward. It serves as recognition for your past efforts and a congratulatory gift for your advancement. As long as you work hard with me, I cannot guarantee you will surpass everyone in Riptide City, but buying a mansion in the upper Riptide, where every inch of land holds value, is no problem." Huffman spoke without expression, drumming his fingers on the table from his high stool with the air of a boss. Levi considered the year-end bonus. He had never received such treatment in his previous life. His former boss had only painted visions of buying a house in the capital to keep him working. This cold wizard world seemed more humane. Spending time with Huffman had revealed the man's character. He was greedy, certainly, but not a bad person. Levi felt satisfied with such a boss, though he had little choice. In the Tower of Pharmacists, only the Green Forest Sage could authorize transfers. After handing in his mission potion, Levi discussed future plans. He quietly gathered information regarding the other supervisors. Leaving Middle Riptide, he traveled to the Upper Riptide. Huffman had indicated that most of the 5 supervisors owned luxurious mansions there, where they spent the majority of their time. Suspicion gnawed at Levi that someone among the other 4 supervisors wanted to harm him. Although he kept a low profile, his talent and work ethic had earned him a reputation in the Tower of Pharmacists. Grimm had told him that many pharmacists privately called him Minotaur Levi, because he worked with such relentless intensity, which had caused signs of internal politics. Grimm possessed connections in the military and understood the Tower of Pharmacists well. Levi learned that competition existed between supervisors. Huffman had secured first place in performance assessments for the past few years through sheer hard work. He had used his military rewards to secretly purchase a house in the upper Riptide. That explained the dwarf's recent absences from the Tower of Pharmacists. He had moved into a big house in the upper Riptide. Chapter 563. The realization hit him, and the 1,000 merit points in his account suddenly felt insufficient. This made Levi even more certain that he had accidentally been involved in the open and covert battle between the 5 supervisors. The person who attacked him must be one of the 4 supervisors. Without a doubt, the individual with the most motive to kill was the supervisor, who had held the top performance record until Huffman rose to power. They called him Healing Hands Rex. This supervisor was a 3rd Circle pharmacist. Rumors claimed he hailed from a 5th Circle wizard family in the Inner Sea region. A member of that same family served as the commander-in-chief in the upper Riptide. 3 such commanders existed in the entirety of Riptide City. One commander stood alone, while the other 2 served as deputies. Each was a 5th Circle wizard. These figures stood as absolute authorities, second only to the 2 city lords. If the big shot behind Rex had orchestrated the attack, Levi saw no hope for revenge. Advancement grew slower and more difficult with every step. Beyond the intermediate level, the difficulty of each advancement multiplied. The failure rate of a breakthrough increased significantly, and a failed attempt could even threaten his life. Even with the proficiency panel and his elemental affinity, he estimated that reaching the 5th Circle within 200 years would be a triumph. The average lifespan of a 5th Circle wizard reached nearly 1,000 years. By the time he broke through to the 5th Circle, those big shots might have already ascended to high levels. Despair washed over him. Rex likely held the most motive, as Huffman's rise to first place had threatened Rex's interests. Due to the rules of the Tower of Pharmacists, Rex could not bypass the Green Forest Sage to poach him. Based on the principle of destroying what he could not possess, he chose to kill him instead. Rex's interests represented the family's interests. The 5th Circle commander-in-chief of that family might have tacitly approved of the action. Killing Huffman, a supervisor of the Tower of Pharmacists, posed a difficulty, as it would alert the military, or even the city lord to investigate. A 3rd Circle pharmacist held as much importance as a 4th Circle wizard. Killing a competitor's top employee, however, proved much easier. Though Levi ranked as a 2nd Circle pharmacist, the power of those interest groups could easily eliminate him without alerting the authorities. Damn it. I, Minotaur Levi, will never admit defeat. Should honest people be bullied? Do not provoke those who sell medicine. Levi planned to test his theory with his spider sensing when the chance arose to approach Rex. If Rex harbored hostility, the spider sensing would reveal it at close range. That high and mighty executive likely enjoyed the comfort of his mansion at Upper Riptide, unaware of Levi's location. Levi dared not approach the Upper Riptide for fear of angering other powerhouses. He stopped thinking about these matters. He had already advanced to the 2nd Circle. He should have no need to leave the city for a long time. He doubted this mastermind would dare to attack him within Riptide City. Such an act would be too lawless. 2 high-level wizards guarded Riptide City throughout the year. If they desired, their spiritual perception could cover the streets and alleys of the entire city. No criminal activity could escape that couple's eyes. Of course, those 2 high-level wizards spent most of their time in secluded research, so they would not dedicate all their time to perception. However, the guarding wizards patrolled the city at high intensity all day to maintain order. Security should be sound. Still, he had to remain careful within the city. Rex and the others might possess other dirty tricks. Too many ways existed to eliminate him. After the initial failure, they would exercise even greater caution. A gloomy expression clouded Levi's face. He visited the Tower of Merit to check if the Greenfield Immortal House remained available. Generally, an expensive wizard tool from the School of Insects would not sell quickly. The School of Insects stood as the weakest school among all wizard schools. Few people practiced it in the entire wizard world. In the world of Xiangxia, it functioned as a side door. Levi left the Tower of Merit with satisfaction. The Greenfield Immortal House remained available. Levi initially wanted to trade for a 2nd Circle Bronze School active defensive spell, the Crimson Copper Armor. This would further strengthen his defense. In the end, the price of 5,000 merit points dissuaded him. He could afford it. He carried more than 10,000 merit points now, but the cost felt excessive. The Golden Snake Scales and King Kong Rock Body sufficed. He would exchange for the armor when he accumulated more merit points. He had better practice his 5 fireballs technique. Practicing that technique would cause too much commotion, and his staff dormitory could not accommodate it. Levi wanted to rent a separate residence near the Tower of Pharmacists in Middle Riptide, the kind with a special training room. He would move out of the Tower of Pharmacists in the future. Now that he had advanced to the 2nd Circle, he had some money. Renting a house in Middle Riptide was well within his means. Officials sold and managed all houses in Riptide City. However, after some wizards bought them, they rented them out through special third-party organizations, because they did not stay often or move to new homes. Chapter 564. Levi spent the entire afternoon shopping. He eventually found a courtyard about 5 miles from the Tower of Pharmacists. The location offered enough proximity to his workplace, and he sensed that an attack from Rex or his associates remained unlikely within this district. The courtyard contained a 3-story wizard tower. Levi waited alongside the real estate agent for the owner to arrive and finalize the agreement. Moments later, a 2nd Circle wizard in an army robe hurried toward them. "Sorry, I just finished my mission." "Ed, it is you," the wizard said, pausing as he looked at Levi. The wizard was Captain Sherman of the army, and Officer Levi had met once before. "Mr. Sherman, I did not expect you to be the owner of this house. This is really fate," Levi said with a smile. "You have also advanced to the second circle." "Congratulations," Sherman said. He sensed the shift in Levi's spiritual power fluctuations, which felt completely different than they had before. After they signed the contract, Sherman handed over the entry incantation and instructions for the arrays to Levi, then left in a hurry. Sherman was a senior second circle wizard, closing in on the third circle. He labored daily, completing missions to accumulate merit points and trade for the resources necessary to attempt his next breakthrough. Levi watched Sherman leave inside. In this city, everyone worked hard to survive. In essence, they remained no different from mortals. Once inside the wizard tower, Levi used his knowledge of arrays to sweep the structure, inside and out. He needed to ensure the previous owner had not left any traps or means to invade his privacy. Finding the tower clear, he remained inside and activated the first circle shielding array. He supplemented the defenses with arrays he had refined himself, sufficient to resist the detection of most wizards. If an intruder attempted to probe the tower, the fluctuations in the array would alert him. "I finally have a temporary home in Riptide City. I wonder how Blackfire Island is doing," Levi thought. The annual rent for a residence in Middle Riptide cost 100 Aether Stones. Although not cheap, the price beat the exorbitant costs of Upper Riptide. Upper Riptide boasted better security, richer elemental power, and advanced arrays, yet that held little appeal. Proximity to powerful figures often invited trouble. Thinking it over, Levi decided Middle Riptide suited him perfectly. After settling into his new home, Levi invited Grimm and Tommen to hold a party in the Wizard Tower. He hired entertainers to perform, wanting to celebrate his advancement to the second circle. Living like a robot every single day felt meaningless without an occasional break. After a rare period of relaxation, Levi returned to his routine of pharmacy and cultivation. He lacked the secret medicine for his breathing technique, so his progress slowed to a crawl. He decided to temporarily suspend the breathing technique and focus exclusively on his path as a wizard. The big fireball technique advanced to the 5 fireballs technique shortly thereafter. Beyond the King Kong rock body, Levi had mastered the second ring spell and officially attained the attack power of a second circle wizard. His first ring spells, such as green smoke escape and water prison, remained useful even at this higher stage. They were far from obsolete. Obtaining spells became significantly more difficult starting with the second ring. Unlike his first circle period, when he could exchange for spells at the Grey Tower, the options dwindled. A second circle wizard could theoretically master nearly 20 second ring spells, but in practice, many wizards only knew a handful. Learning them occupied a large portion of spiritual force memory, and the spells themselves remained elusive. Without access to a large wizard organization, smaller groups like the Grey Tower offered very few choices. There was no alternative. After mastering the 5 fireballs technique, Levi began cultivating another second ring spell he had anticipated for a long time. This spell, Red-Faced Sea Ghost Spider Defense, was specifically developed for the red-faced sea ghost spider to control the Zerg. Now that Levi held second circle status, the time had come to completely subdue the species. The red-faced sea ghost spider excelled at control and poison attacks. Coupled with his saint scorpions, the spiders could make a second circle wizard suffer. While all spells from the school of insects shared similarities, they required specific adjustments for different Zergs. For Levi, having pushed the sacred insect touch to its limit, mastering the second ring spell proved simple. Soon, he constructed the spell model for the second ring ability. Levi pulled a red-faced sea ghost spider from the bug house. Breeding these creatures proved slow. Without specialized care, his efforts had been mediocre, leading many spiders to devour one another. Over time, the population had not increased. In fact, only half remained. Approximately 500 individuals survived, though they were the strongest of the lot. Levi resolved to care for them properly from now on to prevent their extinction. A spiritual force thread connected to the spider. Levi felt a surge of excitement as the control took hold. The spider, the size of a human head, crawled across Levi's body, looking terrifying. Chapter 565. The first level of the red-faced sea ghost spider control could only manipulate a single creature. Therefore, to command more than 1,000 spiders, he had to dedicate himself to further study. During the following days, Levi devoted himself to refining the 3 new second circle spells he had mastered. These included the 5 fireballs technique, the King Kong rock body, and the red-faced sea ghost spider control. His current level of spiritual power limited his mental capacity. He lacked the memory reserves to learn additional second circle spells. It was the month of vitality, in the year 1043 of the Holy Brilliance calendar. This marked the 8th year of the Great Expedition. Word spread that Sky City had arrived at the nearest 5 federations. Under the command of a legendary wizard, the expeditionary army officially launched a vigorous war against the enemy. The wizard civilization commenced its first wave of confrontation against the evil forces loyal to the Lord of Chaos. On the side of the Endless Sea, the Star Tower finally summoned a 9th Circle Grand Wizard, who had previously overseen the council headquarters. This Grand Wizard headed toward the core of the Hundred-Eyed Demon territory. He intended to destroy the Hundred-Eyed Demon King completely. Although the entity would inevitably be reborn, eradicating it was far better than allowing it to remain as a scourge in the endless sea. The wizards of Riptide City reacted with excitement upon hearing the good news. This held particular significance for recruited wizards like Levi. If the Grand Wizard destroyed the Hundred-Eyed Demon King, the Hundred-Eyed Demon territory would disappear in time. Once the war ended, they could leave Riptide City and return to their homes. Ultimately, the battle seemed to shake the entire Hundred-Eyed Demon territory. Battle wizards at the front line reported that the aftermath of the combat reached the edges of the Hundred-Eyed Demon territory within a few days. The force shattered the defensive spells of First Circle wizards. It also triggered a terrifying tsunami that swallowed several islands. Everyone grasped the terrifying power of a Ninth Circle Grand Wizard. That might, comparable to a demigod, proved shocking. How much greater, then, was the power of the legendary wizards who stood above the Grand Wizards? However, the final outcome defied expectations. The Hundred-Eyed Demon King survived. Shortly before the war, the creature had obtained an advantage and advanced to become a new demon lord. It became the Lord of the Thousand-Eyed Demon King. It became the strongest eye demon to ever appear in the history of the Abyss. Ultimately, the Grand Wizard chose to use his Divine Soul artifact to severely injure the Thousand-Eyed Demon King, yet he failed to kill the creature. The severely injured Thousand-Eyed Demon King escaped into the ancient ruins that had once sealed it. The Grand Wizard pursued the demon. He soon discovered a reality that plunged the wizard world into despair. Deep within the ancient ruins sat an unfinished abyss well. The Thousand-Eyed Demon King utilized a secret technique to escape into this well. The Grand Wizard felt a tremor of fear, choosing not to venture deeper. An abyss well served as a passage connecting the abyss to other dimensions. For weaker dimensions, the opening of an abyss well signaled total destruction. This left the wizard civilization feeling helpless. Without warning, power from the abyss had already invaded the plane. Whether in the wizard world or the human world, all faced the threat of an abyssal invasion. The Grand Wizard took up a post guarding the abyss well. Simultaneously, he contacted the legendary wizards guarding the wizard world, awaiting their next move. The abyss well required destruction. The current wizard world lacked the strength to withstand an invasion from the abyss civilization. Only after settling internal strife and pacifying the 5 federations could the wizard civilization hope to confront the abyssal civilization. The situation grew increasingly chaotic. The giants of the wizard world found themselves in a dire predicament. Meanwhile, Levi, who stood at the bottom of the hierarchy, felt no fear. If the abyss truly invaded, hiding would prove futile. Levi could not resist such a comprehensive force. Since death seemed inevitable, he might as well relax and continue cultivating his experience. The abyss was not a minor issue like the Blood River or the Blue Frost. Those planes only dared to cause trouble in the human world. They bullied mortals and representatives of the gods trapped in the astral world, but they dared not approach the wizard world itself. The ancient and powerful abyssal civilization existed as a force that even the gods of the astral world feared. History showed that every war against the abyssal civilization became a painful experience the wizard civilization preferred to forget. It was a true, bloody battle. Conflicts could last for hundreds or even thousands of years. This was the so-called Millennium Battle. Legend spoke of 666 levels in the abyss, though no one knew if the number was absolute. The wizard world labeled the abyss as the 666th level because Sauron, the ancestor of wizards, had only fought to that depth during the Civil War. After battling the Demon Lord to a draw on the 666th level, he retreated to the wizard world. In truth, the abyss might be far more terrifying than the wizards had ever imagined. The outside world descended into a constant state of panic. Conversations regarding the end of the world, the collapse of civilization, and the extinction of wizards permeated every corner. Since the inception of the wizard world, the civilization had never faced such grave internal and external troubles. Levi understood why many wizards felt pessimistic. In comparison, Levi remained composed. He continued to cultivate step by step. Unless the world exploded, Levi would not take a break. Not long after, Levi had cultivated his red-faced sea ghost spider control to level 3. He could now command approximately 1,000 spiders. Chapter 566. To his surprise, the red-faced sea ghost spider control spell reached its limit at level 3. This meant the maximum capacity of this second ring spell allowed control over 1,000 red-faced sea ghost spiders. Levi encountered a level 3 maximum second ring spell for the first time. The spells within the school of insects seemed distinct, as they deviated from the traditional spells he knew. Levi checked his proficiency panel and discovered changes to the red-faced sea ghost spider control and sacred insect touch entries. The sacred insect touch stood at level 5, marked as maximum with fusion feasible. The red-faced sea ghost spider control stood at level 3, marked as maximum and ready for fusion. Curiosity sparked, and Levi clicked the fusion option to read the introduction. The text indicated that since the red-faced sea ghost spider control and the sacred insect touch spell constitution shared more than 60% similarity, the two spells could fuse directly. This differed from the fireball technique transforming into the big fireball technique. This relationship functioned as a breakthrough that bypassed existing limits. Levi realized that as his strength grew, the proficiency panel offered increasing flexibility. For a moment, he contemplated the nature of the panel itself. He wondered about the origin of such an inscrutable system. He eventually gave up the line of thought and tapped the command to fuse. Under Levi's gaze, the 2 insect control spells vanished from the panel after consuming a portion of his spiritual force. A new spell emerged in their place. Levi's status updated to Spider and Scorpion Song at level 5, 1 out of 30,000, with the special effect Spider Scorpion Heart. He examined the new ability. The system displayed the effect description, noting that his affinity with Spider-type and Scorpion-type transcendent creatures had increased. Levi's eyes widened. He could achieve such a thing. The interface panel acted as his savior. The modified Spider and Scorpion Song stood as a pure second ring spell of Levi's own creation. While he called it original, he had essentially stitched together the advantages of the sacred insect touch and the red-faced sea ghost spider control. He could now command both the saint scorpions and the red-faced sea ghost spiders. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The special effect proved particularly useful. It would help Levi cultivate this spell to its limit much faster. Moreover, should he encounter spider-type or scorpion-type zergs in the future, Levi might tame them through this spell and nurture even stronger creatures. He stared at the brand new spell model in his mind, wondering if the Pan-Plane Wizard Council would accept this spell for scholar certification. If he desired, he could engrave the structure of this spell model onto a memory slate for others to learn. He dismissed the idea for now. He was too weak. When he reached the intermediate level, he would consider becoming a scholar. He envisioned creating the ultimate school of insects spell, one capable of controlling all zergs once and for all. Countless spells existed in the world. How could a wizard call it copying? It was simply a reference. The birth of this original spell provided Levi with inspiration. It seemed the current proficiency panel allowed him to fuse spells and create new ones, provided they shared a certain degree of similarity. This functioned similarly to the fusion of breathing techniques within the night breathing technique. He decided to use cantrips from other schools to test this function again. In that case, much like the night breathing technique, Levi realized that if he continued to stack and accumulate, he might create his own second ring, or even third circle spells using cantrips and first ring spells. This way, he would avoid purchasing expensive spellbooks in the future. He could synthesize them himself. Cantrips and first ring spellbooks remained relatively cheap and easy to obtain. However, Levi lacked the time for such experimentation at the moment. After more than 2 years of service, he had accumulated 15,000 merit points. Currently, Levi worried most about the secret medicine for his night breathing technique. Although he had improved quickly on the path of the wizard, he had neglected several important breathing techniques for a long time. He could not delay any longer. The Tower of Merit contained some secret medicine ingredients, but they were too expensive, not cost-effective, and incomplete. The secret medicine for knights and the ingredients required by wizards did not overlap perfectly. The Tower of Merit existed for wizards, not knights. It was better to save these merit points to exchange for wizard tools and knowledge in the future. After 2 years of service, Levi could take a leave of absence. He wanted to return to Blackfire Island to visit the transcendent creatures and recover enough secret medicine. At the same time, he hoped to locate Ms. Marlene and the others to see if he could capture the sea dragon crocodile. Before setting off, he needed to make the journey safer. Levi decided to unpack the third circle wizard tool, the Great Black Sky Curtain. He needed to familiarize himself with it and make it his own. Many second circle wizards did not even possess a second circle wizard tool. Levi held a third circle wizard tool. Coupled with his path as a knight, he felt he stood among the top tier of those below the third circle. He had only just stepped into the second circle realm. If he managed to reach the senior level of the second circle, he wondered if he could cross a major realm and fight a third circle wizard. Chapter 567. The gap between a third circle wizard and a second circle wizard was even wider than the gulf between a second circle and a first circle wizard. Once the spiritual force liquefied, its density crushed the resistance of any second circle wizard. The destructive power of a third circle spell also far eclipsed that of any second circle equivalent. Furthermore, once the spiritual force achieved this liquefied state, wizards could solidify an innate spell. This allowed for an instinctive release that required no casting time or chanting. Because of this, many claimed that true mastery of the path began only above the third circle. Only then did the raw potential of a wizard fully manifest. Levi calculated his own standing. If his night path reached level 13, combined with his status as a senior second circle wizard, the Great Black Sky Curtain, the Blood Imprisonment All, and his other hidden trump cards, he could compete with a third circle wizard. Uncertainty clouded his mind though. He lacked a definitive measure of whether his physical realm could truly withstand the raw power of a third circle practitioner once he mastered level 13 of the breathing technique. The threshold between the second and third circle was immense. If the level 13 golden snake could hold its own against a third circle wizard, he would face no pressure when dealing with the average practitioner at that level. If not, the defensive prowess of the golden snake combined with his stacked forms would at least grant him invincibility. Speculation remained just that, however. He possessed enough sense to avoid a direct confrontation with a third circle wizard. The safest route remained advancing his own wizard level to the third circle, then using his knightly prowess to crush the enemy. He preferred overwhelming victory over an even fight. He enjoyed crushing his foes. He retrieved the Great Black Sky Curtain from his storage bag. The tool had gathered dust in his inventory for a long time. It functioned as an extremely practical third circle wizard tool. He had already appraised the item, while under the tutelage of Wizard Newt, and had since mastered the activation methods. After consuming various enhancers during this period, his spell power limit finally neared the requirements. To truly utilize a third circle wizard tool, he had to solidify a precious third circle spell. For the Great Black Sky Curtain, that spell was Iron Curtain Protection. The black ribbon formed an indestructible force field capable of withstanding a third circle spell. He spent the past few days acclimating to the item. Mastering such a high-quality tool proved no easy feat. 7 days passed. Inside the secret room, a black ribbon danced around Levi's body. It spun like an armillary sash, winding around his arms with rhythmic precision. It could grow massive or shrink to a tiny thread. It could strike, defend, fly through the sky, and dive into the sea. It was omnipotent. This wizard tool served him well. It functioned as a weaker, portable version of the legendary armillary sash. He still lacked the heaven and earth ring, and the wind-fire wheel to complete the look. He already possessed the fire-pointed spear in the form of his Poseidon trident. Once he coated it in Red Lotus Hellfire, it would mimic the legendary weapon perfectly. After these few days of practice, Levi mastered the control of the Great Black Sky Curtain. Without activating the third circle defensive spell, Iron Curtain Protection, the tool consumed a manageable amount of spell power. He could easily maintain it during a normal battle. However, triggering the Iron Curtain Protection required 500 points of spell power. His current reserves allowed him to manifest it only 3 times. Such was the terrifying toll of third circle magic. It demanded massive amounts of spiritual force and spell power. A wizard who reached 70 points of spiritual force and mastered 5 second ring spells earned the title of a senior second circle wizard. At that stage, a wizard's spiritual power peaked at 100 points, with an upper limit of 3,000 points for spell power. He stowed the wizard tool back into his storage bag and stood up. He still lacked a second circle active defensive spell to complete his defensive field. Once he selected an active defensive spell, he could not change it. This required careful deliberation. Only a graded defensive spell would suffice for his needs. After this period of dormancy, Levi's strength had surged. His knightly methods remained a powerful hidden asset, yet he relied primarily on his wizardry for combat. He had already informed Huffman of his leave, which the Tower Master approved. He had completed his pharmacy missions for the past 2 years with high standards, making a 3-month leave a simple request. The leave would cost him 300 merit points, a trivial amount given his current standing. Grimm frowned in confusion when he heard Levi planned to depart. "The world outside remains chaotic," Grimm said. "In truth, the safest place in the Endless Sea is a military fortress like Riptide City." Levi offered a grim smile. "Some tasks require my attention." He turned to Grimm. "Do you have any formulas for second circle meditation supplementary potions? If you do, I can purchase them. It would be for my personal use, as always." Grimm shrugged with a bitter smile. "This is a second circle meditation formula. You hold our family in too high regard. I have seen such formulas in the merit shop though. You must have accumulated a fortune given how hard you work." "It is all hard-earned money," Levi replied. "That formula costs at least 30,000 merit points. I will wait for Huffman to provide it." Levi instructed Grimm and Tommen to keep him informed of any updates, then bid farewell to Grimm. He departed. Tommen had remained in seclusion to concoct pharmacy, while attempting his breakthrough into becoming a second circle pharmacist. Levi had not seen him in a long time. Chapter 568. This fellow had agreed to use his family power to help Levi investigate the whereabouts of Teacher and the others. Regardless of whether he could succeed or not, it was always good to have more hope. Levi headed to the wizard airship dock alone. There was no hurry for the meditation supplementary potion. He would take it slow. Without the potion, his cultivation would not be slow. So far, the main pharmacy missions for Levi and the other wizards were red, blue, and green potions and some healing potions used in wartime. They had never made meditation supplementary potions. Huffman definitely held the formula for the second circle meditation supplementary potions. Levi had been waiting for a chance to freeload. For low-level wizards like Levi, who possessed elemental affinity talents, potions were just icing on the cake. They were not necessary. However, after the intermediate level, even the children of the elements needed a large number of potions as support. At that time, on one hand, it depended on talent, and on the other hand, it depended on resources. As the children of the elements, they did not need to worry about resources. All the major wizard organizations would fight for them. Although Levi's talent was enhanced by the special effect of the breathing technique, in the eyes of wizards, he was still a child of chaos. After reaching the third circle, he also had to make a choice. Should he continue to be a secret cultivator and rely on himself, or should he expose some of his talents and enter a large wizard organization to cultivate? Levi was now inclined to expose his pharmacy talent and use it to pry open the unattainable threshold. Then, he would lead the overall cultivation of his wizard. The current Riptide City was the most suitable place for Levi to rise. Grimm had mentioned that the Tower of Riptide, where the 2 city lords were located, would occasionally release some spots for secret cultivators or sorcerers who wanted to jump ship in Riptide City to enter. Joining a high-level wizard organization, like the Tower of Riptide, would allow them to enjoy some resources, and their status would be higher than others. Moreover, if he joined the Tower of Riptide, the interest group behind Rex would think twice before making a move on him. Levi considered the entry requirements. Firstly, there was no need to mention the children of the elements. With this talent, they could be specially recruited regardless of their cultivation. Secondly, dual elemental affinity required one to become a first circle wizard before the age of 30. Thirdly, those who became third circle wizards before the age of 100 had no restrictions on their talent. Finally, there were elders with pharmacy, weapon making, arrays, alchemy, scholars, and other skills. Of course, if one were a fourth circle wizard or a fifth circle wizard, one could naturally join them. The Tower of Riptide definitely welcomed the strong. However, the fourth circle and fifth circle were so far away that ordinary wizards did not even dare to think about it. To Levi, the first two were naturally out of the question, so there was no problem with the third and fourth. He was only 53 years old, but he was already a second circle wizard. It would not be a problem for him to step into the third circle before he was 100 years old. Furthermore, his night breathing technique might be able to continue producing more elemental affinity special effects. Perhaps one special effect might not be comparable to the children of the elements, but little things added up. He did not believe that with so many special effects and the interface itself, he could not crush the children of the elements. Therefore, the third circle before the age of 100 was a conservative estimate for Levi. If it were fast, it would not take so long. At the airship port, Levi looked at Riptide City behind him and stepped onto the airship. On the airship, there were also some wizards who took leave to go home like him. Exhaustion was written all over their faces. Some of them were even disabled because they did not have time to undergo treatment. In the end, they had to amputate their limbs and install alchemical prosthetics from the military. These were all combat wizards. As expected, after carrying out demon hunting missions for a long time, one shoe would get wet if they often walked by the river. This was why Levi wanted to stay in the Tower of Pharmacists. The battlefield was not a game. There were no so-called level restrictions. Even in the periphery, there might be terrifying level 3 monsters that would suddenly appear and bring about a destructive blow. In fact, if the Abyss Well were really opened, Levi would not be surprised if the high-level demon lord of the abyssal civilization suddenly appeared in Riptide City. In the corner sat the wind-chasing arrow Canker. He sat alone and stared at a portrait in a daze. Levi vaguely remembered that Canker seemed to have a lover. She had most likely died in the war. Canker only had one leg left, and his other leg had become an alchemical prosthetic. Currently, Riptide City lacked wizards who had mastered the spells of the life school of thought. There were too few healing wizards, and they were urgently applying to the headquarters. It was very difficult for ordinary healing potions to regrow broken limbs. Coupled with the corrosion of the demonic aura, Canker could only accept the alchemical prosthetics modification. Watching the scene, Levi felt a wave of emotion. Compared to Canker and the others, he should be lucky enough. Half a month later, the wizard airship successfully arrived at Base Island. After getting off the airship, Levi did not delay and quickly rushed to his Blackfire Island. From afar, Levi could see the outline of the Blackfire Island. With his perception, the array was intact and there were no signs of damage. Before they reached the island, Leviathan's cheerful whale song sounded. In an instant, it was as if a rallying order had been blown. On the shore, the red sand ape, poison firebone snake, crimson fire dragon lizard, and black flame demonic bird all came out to welcome Levi. Seeing this, Levi felt relieved. Thank God his house had not been robbed. Firstly, it might be because Blackfire Island was too remote. Secondly, his shadowless maze array had worked. It had been more than 2 years since they last met. These guys were all full of vigor and energy. They surrounded Levi and licked him. Chapter 569. After a final round of training, Levi's companions finally settled, their energy spent. Wait for me, Levi whispered, rubbing Leviathan's horn. When the big house is ready, you can move to a new home. Follow me, and we will see the wider world. The herbs on Blackfire Island were flourishing. Levi harvested a batch, moving with practiced efficiency. After allowing Ace to take a bath in the magma, Levi installed several new arrays he had studied in Riptide City. He stood amidst the familiar surroundings, feeling a flicker of reluctance. After the war ends, I might not have the chance to live on Blackfire Island anymore. I have lived here for so long, and the nostalgia is beginning to take hold. Levi mounted Leviathan and departed for the Grey Tower. The location remained occupied by the people from Whale Song Island. The war in Area 9 had dragged on for years, yet they had failed to take down Morpheus. The disappearance of teacher Mylin and the others was inextricably linked to Whale Song Island. Levi intended to settle that score, but he would wait until he advanced to the third circle. He prayed Morpheus would survive the brutal conflict. Levi wanted to personally take the old man's head and let the Saint Scorpions devour his soul, leaving him no chance to be reincarnated. After gathering intelligence on the situation in Area 9, Levi arrived at the dangerous sea area, where the sea dragon crocodile had been sighted. He had no way of knowing if the creature remained in the vicinity. If he could subdue it, the beast would serve as a valuable source of secret medicine and a powerful combat pet. On the bone-strewn island, Gustav finished basking in the sun and opened his dim yellow eyes. His vertical pupils held only indifference. He swayed his massive body and slipped into the sea. Gustav was hungry and ready to hunt. He wondered which sea beast would become his next meal. Moments after Gustav departed, a young silver-haired witch appeared from the sea and climbed onto the island. She possessed a graceful figure and radiated a youthful energy. She endured the stench of the decaying bones and eventually located a dark green herb with pale flowers hidden beneath the skeleton of an unknown sea beast. This is a corpse soul flower, the best of the third circle medicinal herbs. It is one of the ingredients for the soul nurturing potion. It can nourish the soul directly and heal minor soul injuries. That is excellent. I can exchange this for enough resources to cultivate for half a year from the lush forest witch. The witch appeared to be about 30 years old. To reach the realm of a first circle wizard at such a young age, she had to be extraordinary. She collected the corpse soul grass with care and placed it in a special container. Let me see if there are any more. That sea beast is too terrifying. It is not inferior to the second circle wizard lord of the Green Forest Alliance. She muttered to herself, her mental age clearly younger than her physical appearance. She moved with the innocence of a little girl. Upon closer inspection, the witch's ears appeared slightly sharper than those of an ordinary human, resembling those of an elf. As she breathed, gusts of cold air erupted, causing the surrounding temperature to plummet. She successfully found 2 stalks of corpse soul grass and departed the water, feeling satisfied. At that moment, a massive wave surged behind her. A tsunami swept forward, and at the crest of the wave, a sea dragon crocodile rode the water. She realized with a jolt that the sea dragon crocodile had spotted her. The silver-haired witch retreated rapidly. Green leaves danced around her, wrapping her form. With a breeze, she floated into the sky, carried away by the wind. Luckily, I have the wizard tool given to me by the lush forest witch. She exhaled in relief and looked down. The sea dragon crocodile did not pursue her. She realized the beast had not discovered her at all, but was instead attempting to flee. A wizard stood behind the creature, holding a black ribbon that was wrapped tightly around the tail of the sea dragon crocodile. Don't run. I will not harm you. As long as you obey me and follow me in the future, I guarantee that you will advance to the third circle. Levi shouted, his voice cutting through the water. Golden light flickered around his body, making him appear like a divine general from legend. His muscles rippled, and the scent of male hormones filled the air. Gustav wanted only to escape. The creature felt a surge of panic. What kind of monster was this? In terms of strength and defense, Gustav was a sea dragon crocodile, a mixed blood of the dragon clan. Yet the beast felt it had lost the upper hand. He did not look like a wizard at all. Gustav had fought wizards before, but this was different. One moment, the wizard was casting the fireball technique, and the next, seeing that the fire had no effect, he rolled up his robe sleeves on the spot to fight the sea beast hand to hand. The creature wondered if there was any justice in this world. Levi pulled on the great black sky curtain, tightening his grip on the tail of the sea dragon crocodile. This beast's defense is actually not much weaker than my golden snake scales. The dragon clan bloodline is quite thick. It seems the second circle is not its limit. It might even advance to the third circle. It belongs to me, Levi muttered to himself. He had finally encountered the sea dragon crocodile he had longed for, and he launched his assault without hesitation. Chapter 570. Given his current strength, taking down the opponent should not have been difficult. Unexpectedly, the sea dragon crocodile proved even more ferocious than the intelligence reports suggested. It possessed the strength of a second circle senior wizard. His 5 fireball technique left only minor scrapes upon the beast's hide. Although his 5 fireball technique had reached level 6 and possessed the support of the underground fire dominator, the power remained at a grade B level. Levi pierced the sea dragon crocodile's thick defenses immediately. Having just attained the rank of second circle wizard, this battle marked a difficult, unexpected challenge. He switched tactics instantly, utilizing his night abilities to wrap the great black sky curtain around the creature. He intended to exhaust the beast's stamina and capture it alive. The sea dragon crocodile had just reached adulthood and had not entered the true prime of its life. For a mixed blood dragon clan member, the concept of declining strength and old age did not exist. The dragon clan mirrored wizards in that regard. The longer they lived, the larger and stronger they became. Levi concluded that the beast's maximum potential was not the second circle. It would likely advance to the third circle, or even the fourth circle in the future. Although that process would take a long time, the prospect pleased him. If he could subdue this massive creature, he would secure a long-term supply of dragon clan blood with water element affinity. The silver-haired witch watched the violent scene below, her eyes wide. She blinked, processing the display. Was this a bloodline modification wizard? The technique felt entirely distinct from the practitioners under the lush forest witch. She felt a surge of concern for the violent sea dragon crocodile. As the king of the sea region, it had never suffered such humiliation. Levi summoned his golden scales, which wrapped tightly around his body, while hellfire burned across his frame. He pressed the exhausted sea dragon crocodile into the ground. The beast gasped, its reserves finally depleted. Its fatal, gaping maw remained wrapped securely by Levi's great black sky curtain. Levi had watched farms catch crocodiles using similar coverings to bind their jaws. Although the sea dragon crocodile possessed powerful spell-like abilities, it could not break through Levi's defense and struggled against the seal of the blood imprisonment all. With its primary weapon neutralized, the creature had run out of options. Pressed firmly by Levi, the beast ceased its struggling. Levi peered into the crocodile's eyes and saw a glimmer of intelligence shining within. Levi demanded, his voice a low growl of authority. Submit to me, or face death. Levi exuded a powerful aura, activating the golden snake special effect, Dragon's Intimidation. He intended to use his raw martial strength and the intimidation effect to subdue the beast, followed by dragon affinity and nature's heart to begin the taming process. He envisioned a day when the sea dragon crocodile would be as obedient as Leviathan. As a second circle transcendent creature and a member of the mixed blood dragon clan, the crocodile sensed the suppression of Levi's bloodline. It had reigned in the sea area for many years, yet it had never encountered such a pure and majestic dragon clan aura. That dragons might only manifested in subdragons and higher entities. Subdragons ranked as high-level transcendent creatures, stretching from the 6th circle to the 8th circle. Pure-blooded dragons existed at the 9th circle, the realm of legendary creatures. Gustav's bloodline was considered above average among mixed-blood dragons, but he had met his match in Levi. Levi had cultivated dragon clan breathing techniques, including the golden snake, red lotus, silver mountain dragon, jade dragon, and ash dragon. The level of his primordial ancestors far exceeded Gustav's. Even though the bloodline in Levi's body currently remained thin, the suppression of that origin level instilled genuine fear. The beast longed to submit. It struggled with all its might, but Levi remained motionless. Tyrant landed on the ground, pinning Gustav down. After another round of overwhelming force, Gustav lowered its noble head and stopped resisting. Levi did not release the creature yet. He drew blood from the beast and deposited it into the rolling crystal. The readout appeared. Sea overturning crocodile dragon bloodline 9%, heavenly armor mist dragon bloodline 7%, crocodile bloodline 98%. Levi nodded to himself. The density of the dragon clan bloodline was much higher than that of Leviathan and the others. They existed on a completely different level. Even the bloodline density of Hormon's dragon clan ancestry did not compare. The secret medicine created by the blood of this beast would certainly allow his golden snake breathing technique to cultivate faster. He pulled out a slate, the Dragon Clan General Education Slate. This book was published jointly by niche wizards from the Dragon School of Thought and the Life School of Thought, which Levi had exchanged for in the Tower of Merit. The entry for the sea overturning crocodile dragon described it as a mixed dragon with an upper race limit of the 5th circle. The heavenly armor mist dragon was also a mixed dragon with an upper race limit of the 5th circle. This sea dragon crocodile possessed a top-notch mixed blood dragon clan bloodline. The sea overturning crocodile dragon was a favorite of the sea, born with powerful water-type spell abilities, while the heavenly armor mist dragon favored the wind and excelled at defense. If this sea dragon crocodile had lived in the ancient times of his previous life, it would have been an evil flood dragon that stirred up trouble and summoned the wind and rain. Levi felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The sea dragon crocodile lay on the ground, utterly drained. Levi and the beast lingered on the island. Levi replenished his strength, consuming the food from a small storage bag, and licked his lips with his snake tongue when finished. Nearby, the great black sky curtain, tyrant, and skin kept a close watch on the subdued sea dragon crocodile. Chapter 571. Suddenly, the sea dragon crocodile let out a roar. A young, commanding voice echoed inside Levi's mind. Gustav will acknowledge you as his master and establish the dragon's covenant. The voice sounded so abruptly that Levi, who was halfway through a meal, jumped and nearly dropped his food. Memories surfaced. When Levi had read about the dragon clan, the text mentioned that mixed-blood dragon clans, with higher bloodline density could communicate in the ancient dragon language. Those beings often possessed true names. Looks like I can be considered half a mixed-blood dragon clan, Levi mused. That explained why he could understand the ancient tongue. Neither Leviathan nor the Crimson Fire Dragon Lizard possessed enough bloodline density to bridge the gap, and even Hormon fell short. Levi smiled as he addressed the beast. You are Gustav, correct? I agree to sign the dragon's covenant. We could have saved ourselves a lot of physical pain if we had done this earlier. The dragon's covenant represented an inherited memory, a unique ability possessed by high-level mixed-blood dragon clans like Gustav. In this covenant, low-level dragon clans submitted to high-level dragon clans and recognized them as their masters. They fought for them, and the subordinates were known as subordinate dragons. Similarly, the high-level dragon clan protected the low-level dragon clan as much as possible. They were called the master dragon. This relationship appeared common in the dragon clan world, much like the bond between the lord and subjects of the Jade Kingdom. Interesting. With Gustav successfully subdued, Levi turned his attention to the island. A witch had been scouting the area earlier, though the battle had demanded his full focus. Fortunately, the golden snake's message had captured her distinct scent. He would track her down eventually. A sudden, sharp realization struck him, as he sensed a faint trace of Marlene's aura lingering near where the witch had stood. Leviathan mustered enough courage to approach the bone-strewn island. It stopped before one of the massive whale skeletons, and began to whimper softly. Levi approached the site. Why? Is this your elder? Beneath the spot where Gustav had entrenched itself lay a skeleton far larger than the crocodile. It measured about 100 meters in length, slender and curved. It resembled the skeletal remains of a dragon king whale. Lord Dragon, this skeleton existed before I made this island my lair. Gustav's voice resonated in his mind. Levi felt his pulse quicken. He began to dig, clearing away the sand and rocks covering the massive bones. He wondered if this relic could help Leviathan evolve. Leviathan remained the first sea beast he had tamed, and his achievements rested upon its support. He wanted Leviathan to evolve. After a careful search, he found a broken horn on the skull of the huge skeleton. He sensed a mixed-blood dragon clan aura that felt strikingly similar to Leviathan's. They must be some kind of ancient relative of the beast. The broken horn still carried a lingering aura of the dragon clan, though time had eroded its utility as a material for secret medicine. It had long since dissipated, What caught Levi's attention was a mushroom-like plant growing on the cross-section of the broken horn. Sealed within layers of amber-like transparency, the growth retained its vitality. Parasitic blood fungi actually look like this. Levi recalled a text on unpopular potions that had helped him identify the specimen. Similar to cordyceps, the fungus could parasitize powerful creatures and absorb their bloodlines. This specimen appeared to have claimed the ancient giant. As the host perished, the magic of the environment had preserved it in a fossilized state. This is good stuff. It must contain extremely pure bloodline essence, and it most likely belongs to Leviathan's ancestor. I remember a potion formula in the Tower of Merit used by the School of Spiritualism to help spiritual beasts break through bloodline shackles. If I can refine this, Leviathan might break through those chains and evolve toward the second circle, or perhaps even closer to its ancestors. In that case, I will have an endless supply of secret medicine materials. Levi felt a surge of excitement. The trip had proven worth the effort. He cut off the broken horn immediately. The huge skeleton had possessed great strength and life, but the long river of time had eroded the bones, requiring little effort to break. He salvaged the blood fungus and secured it away. Levi departed the island with Leviathan and Gustav. Not long after, Levi appeared in a sea area in Area 9. He frowned, deep in thought. Her scent vanished here. Where did that girl go? A sudden theory crossed his mind. Could there be an entrance to a secret realm hidden in this stretch of sea? He verified the hypothesis by finding a location to cultivate while he waited. With Gustav, Tyrant, and Skin standing guard, Levi could rest easily. Finding Marlene remained his primary goal for this journey. Chapter 572. Now that he had finally found some clues, he naturally could not give up so easily. The other party was just a first circle wizard. It was impossible for him to disappear into thin air under his nose. 7 days later, Levi opened his eyes. The Inferno Dragon breathing technique had also reached its maximum of level 11. He regarded this state with indifference. His Inferno Dragon breathing technique stood at level 11, marked as maximum. Its special effects included the solid state Scale Ember and Ashen Entanglement. The Scale Ember allowed flames from the Ash Dragon to heal his own injuries, while simultaneously restraining the self-healing ability of his enemies. This special effect grew in potency as the breathing technique improved. This aligned with his expectations. He had long anticipated the nature of this ability. While the self-healing capacity of Scale Ember paled in comparison to the Blood Ember of the Undying Bird, its true strength lay in halting the regeneration of others. Against an unkillable adversary like the Blood Clan, Scale Ember would prove invaluable. Hogg, a mere Grand Knight, had once injured a primary Blood Clan member using this very ability. The second effect, Ashen Entanglement, proved far more intriguing. The power of ashes within his body formed an ashen force field around him, providing a tangible defense. Though the effect itself remained static, its potency scaled with the level of his breathing technique. Levi activated the Inferno Dragon breathing technique. The Ash Dragon seed within him erupted, sending endless ashes pouring forth from his limbs and bones. They swirled around him, dancing in a frantic, ceaseless rhythm. Levi signaled Tyrant, who swung a massive axe toward him. The blow, carrying force comparable to an ordinary second ring spell, struck the residual force field. The ashes enveloped the strike, yet the field shattered quickly. The defense held promise. It functioned roughly like a first circle defensive field, offering a stopgap until he solidified a true defensive technique. Once the Inferno Dragon breathing technique reached level 12, the ashen field would likely reach the strength of a second circle defense. The legendary organs associated with this technique deviated from the others. The unique feature manifested in Levi's left eye, which he dubbed the Ashen Eye. His pupils turned gray, draining all light from his vision. The world plunged into a dim, monochrome haze. Ashes fell from the sky like snowflakes, settling upon the sea. Endless gray dust coated the surface of the water. This was the vision of the Ash Dragon, a lifeless expanse. Colors vanished, replaced by varying shades of gray, save for specks of fiery red. Gustav and the others appeared as bonfires, burning with embers. Levi turned his gaze toward a school of fish passing by. They resembled sparks of light. As he focused, the sparks dimmed and faded into ash. To an outside observer like Skin, Levi merely glanced at the passing school. The fish died instantly, floating lifeless on the surface. Levi closed his eyes. Upon opening them, the vibrant, colorful world returned. A faint, glowing ember appeared in his hand, radiating a gentle vitality he had drawn from the fish. The ability was bizarre. He blew upon the dead fish floating on the surface. They crumbled into ash, scattering across the sea. The ordinary creatures simply could not withstand the gaze of the Ashen Eye. This strange eye-based bloodline technique deprived the weak of their life force, manifesting in his palm as ashen fire. While these embers seemed capable of healing injuries, Levi suspected their true utility remained undiscovered. The world of ashes felt real, not merely an illusion born of an eye technique. Perhaps, to the Ash Dragon, his colorful world was the illusion, while the Ash Realm was the absolute truth. After some thought, Levi located a secure spot and commanded Skin to keep watch over the sea where the silver-haired witch had vanished. He began the process of fusing and mutating the Inferno Dragon breathing technique and the Undying Bird breathing technique. The Vortex Beast breathing technique, the first he had ever obtained, served as the raw material. Shortly after, a brand new technique emerged. The Death Ember breathing technique reached level 11 with 1 point out of 300,000. Its special effects included solid-state ember feathers, resurrection, ashen entanglement, and ember call. The death ember seed suggested a dragon-like creature draped in black feathers. It possessed bird wings and talons, paired with a dragon head and tail. It exuded an ominous, strangely beautiful aura. Like the golden snake and the King Kong rock body, this creation sprang from Levi's own mastery. The ember feathers effect combined the strengths of the undying bird and the ash dragon, granting him potent self-healing while simultaneously stopping the regeneration of his enemies, a truly devious tactic. Levi turned his attention to the new mutation. Chapter 573. Levi studied the description for the ember call. He could use the embers of enemies to buy a powerful ash creature from the ash world to fight for him. The more embers he provided, the stronger the ash creature would be. However, the ash creature he could communicate with could not exceed his current strength limit. This special effect could not be upgraded. He realized that these embers represented the vitality of his enemies. He considered the ashen eye to determine how to extract this vitality to offer to the ash creature. He understood the function of the ashen fire instantly, though he lacked the time to experiment further. Skin interrupted his thoughts with a desperate shout from the distance. Skin flew rapidly across the sea surface, his voice rising in panic. "Master, save me." Levi had been so immersed in his training that he had completely forgotten his companion. Behind Skin, 2 second circle wizards with strange bodies, appearing to be bloodline modification wizards, cursed loudly. "You damned blood clan, stop right there," one of the wizards yelled. Skin ran, shouting back in anger. "I did not do anything bad. Why are you chasing me?" "Because you are a blood clan," the wizard retorted. Skin replied, his voice weak and defensive. "The lives of the blood clan are also lives." "Sophistry. See if I do not catch you and soak you in the potion," the wizard hissed. The attacks from the 2 second circle wizards rained down upon Skin. Levi realized Skin was about to be overwhelmed. He swung the great black sky curtain, entangling Skin and catching the incoming spells like dazzling fireworks. "What a powerful wizard tool. Who are you? Why are you in cahoots with the blood clan?" one wizard asked, eyeing Levi with caution. "What do you mean by cahoots?" "This is my pet," Levi sneered. "Why is your pet sneaking around the entrance of our organization's secret realm?" "I think you are a dark wizard," another wizard questioned. "Stop talking nonsense. It must be a dark wizard. We did not expect to be discovered after hiding so well. We have to kill him to prevent our traces from being leaked," the first wizard growled. Levi puzzled over the situation. How had he become a dark wizard? He displayed his membership card and spoke bluntly. "I am not a dark wizard. You two ugly things, I suspect your heads have been modified by bloodline experimentation. It is useless to say anything more. You can either come with us to see our lord, or have this memory erased." "It is up to you," one wizard replied, his tone softening slightly. Levi did not wish to fight. He signaled for a pause and sighed, hoping to communicate. He suspected he knew which organization operated this mystic realm. The silver-haired witch in these bloodline modification wizards suggested the Lush Forest Tower. The Lush Forest Witch was a third circle powerhouse of the life school of thought, known for her reliance on bloodline modification wizards. Levi bore no enmity toward her and preferred not to antagonize her. Moreover, he suspected teacher Mylin resided within the mystic realm, likely taken in by the Lush Forest Witch. "Then follow us into the secret realm," the 2 wizards said. They hesitated to attack, noting Levi's level 2 blood clan pet, third circle wizard tool, and the terrifying beast lurking beneath the distant sea. They dared not provoke such a formidable entity. "If I am not mistaken, you are from the Lush Forest Tower, are you not?" Levi asked. He did not move to enter the secret realm immediately. "I will not go in. Who knows if there are traps? If it is convenient, inform your Lord Lush Forest Witch that Marlene's apprentice, Levi from the Grey Tower, has come to visit." "You are Deputy Tower Master Marlene's apprentice?" one asked, shocked. "The Deputy Tower Master does have an apprentice named Levi, but he is a first circle wizard." The wizards used a special communication tool to report his presence, while they kept a close watch on Levi to prevent him from escaping. Moments later, several oars rushed toward the sea surface. Among them, Levi recognized the powerful third circle aura of Lola, the Lush Forest Witch who had registered his pharmacist certification. Marlene appeared, her face lined with wrinkles, her eyes bright and familiar. "Little Levi, long time no see." Marlene smiled happily. "Teacher, I am back." Winnie, standing beside Marlene, hesitated, struggling to reconcile this powerful figure with the apprentice she remembered. She sensed a vast spiritual force that rivaled Granny Marlene. Marco and Mr. Tim stood stunned, unable to reconcile the current Levi with the one they once knew. The Lush Forest Witch approached. "All right, you and your master have met. Marlene, you do not have to nag all day. Go in. It is not a good place to stay outside." She turned to Levi. "But what about the sea dragon crocodile?" "Lord Lush Forest, that is also my pet," Levi smiled. The 2 bloodline modification wizards stood back, terrified that the beast was his pet. They felt fortunate that they had resisted the urge to fight earlier. The silver-haired witch, Sheely, stared at Levi, having witnessed his power when he chased the sea dragon crocodile. She hid behind the Lush Forest Witch. Levi noticed her hesitation and smiled. "This is Sheely, my disciple," the Lush Forest Witch introduced. Levi pulled out the green gloves, a wizard tool he no longer used, and handed them to Sheely as a token of appreciation. She looked to her master for permission, then accepted them. "Thank you, Senior." Levi realized the Grey Tower had likely merged with the Lush Forest Tower. As long as Marlene and the others remained, the organization name did not matter. He would never forget the kindness shown to him when he first arrived in the wizard world. Chapter 574. Giant Tree Secret Realm served as the home for the lush forest tower. Much like the secret realm of the Coulomb family that Levi visited previously, this existed as a small dimension. Even in its reduced size, the space offered more than enough room to serve as a base for the lush forest tower. Compared to the Coulomb family realm, this place appeared grounded. Plains, mountains, and forests of giant trees stretched across the landscape in every direction. This territory did not belong to the lush forest tower. It served as the private domain of Area 8 Supervisor Riemann. Because the lush forest which stood as Riemann's partner, she moved the entire lush forest tower organization into this mystic realm. The lush forest which had learned of these circumstances from Riemann before the dark wizards on Whale Song Island ignited the war. Driven by a desire to expand her organization and maintain her bond with Marlene, she brought all the Grey Tower members, who were not protected by a third circle wizard, into the mystic realm ahead of time. Marlene joined the lush forest tower. Thanks to her temperament and her noble status as a second circle pharmacist, she ascended to the position of deputy tower master. The lush forest tower remained hidden among the towering trees. Marlene sipped her tea, her eyes focused on her former student. Levi, do you want to join the lush forest tower? She asked. Levi shook his head. Teacher, I cannot join at this moment. I serve in the military, and joining the organization now would bring no benefits to your group. Relief washed over Levi as he watched Marlene and the others, content in their safety. He could now remain in Riptide City without concern for them. Though the Grey Tower existed only in the past, his former companions and his teacher remained anchored in his heart. We will not force you, Marlene sighed, setting her cup aside. Back then, we evacuated in a hurry. We assumed you would not return from the human world for a long time. Later, we heard that the teleportation portal in the human world had closed. We hoped you would escape the calamity, yet here you are. Staying in the human world offers no long-term solution. We must return and face the reality of our situation, Levi replied. Congratulations on becoming a second circle wizard. As Herman mentioned, I do not know what kind of fortune you have encountered, but your future will certainly not be defined by the talent of the children of chaos. Marlene sighed, reflecting on their shared burden. They were both children of chaos. She had only stepped into the second circle after a century, while Levi had achieved the rank in his 50s. I work as a pharmacist in Riptide City, Levi said with a helpless smile. I had to consume a great number of potions just to reach the second circle after the age of 50. Good luck. Consider Deep Blue Sage Luther, a legendary wizard of the Ocean School of Thought. He was also a child of chaos, yet he attained the legendary wizard realm. You are still young. You can continue to advance to the third circle, or even the fourth circle in the future, Marlene encouraged. She paused, her voice turning thoughtful. Talent is not the only condition that determines the achievement of a wizard. Talent serves only as a minimum threshold. Hard work, determination, opportunity, and luck all affect a wizard's upper limit. Furthermore, beyond earth, fire, wind, and water, other unknown special talents exist. These variables remain uncontrollable. Yet, compared to those complex factors, earth, fire, wind, and water elemental talents remain the easiest to measure and hold the most importance. Thus, as time passed, these elements became the fixed standard for measuring talent in the wizard world. After catching up with Marlene and the others, Levi prepared to depart. He possessed too many tasks to complete and could not live a life of paradise within this mystic realm. Moreover, the realm offered no absolute safety. So long as he maintained contact with the outside world, exposure remained a matter of time. Still, the lush forest witch and Riemann, the powerful fourth circle supervisor, held authority here. For the foreseeable future, the safety of this secret realm remained guaranteed. Levi felt relieved that Marlene and the others found sanctuary here. Before leaving, Levi made a point to visit the lush forest witch to express his gratitude. Regardless of the circumstances, this woman had saved Marlene and the others, acting as a benefactor to Levi himself. The beautiful green elf looked at Levi, her eyes curious. Are you truly not planning to stay here? She asked. Levi nodded. Thank you for your kindness, senior. Then I must trouble you to sign a confidentiality agreement. Although you are Marlene's disciple, I must consider the safety of the entire lush forest tower, the lush forest witch replied. Of course. I do not want Ms. Marlene's peaceful life to be broken. Levi checked the non-disclosure agreement and signed it once he found no issues. He turned to look at his Grey Tower companions, who were waving at him. With a final nod, he stepped out of the secret realm alone. Once outside, he found Gustav and Leviathan sleeping at the bottom of the nearby sea. Let us go to the Yellow Earth continent. There seems to be a three-horned dragon king in the ancient forest there. Also, I do not know if that giant ape remains in the area. Additionally, Levi wanted to visit his old friends, Emperor Mew and Dinos, in Lion King City. This time, Levi rode Gustav directly into the sea. With the sea overlord acting as his mount, ordinary sea beasts dared not approach him at all. 7 days later, Levi arrived at the Yellow Earth continent and settled Leviathan and Gustav in a safe location. He searched the ancient forest for a long time, but the three-horned dragon king remained elusive. Furthermore, in the center of the ancient forest, he detected the faint aura of a third circle transcendent creature. Chapter 575. Levi suspected the three-horned dragon king occupied the territory of the third circle transcendent creature. He dared not provoke a third circle entity, so he turned away from the ancient forest, defeated. He headed toward Lion King City, keeping an eye out for the giant ape. The yellow earth continent stretched endlessly, making a thorough search an impossible task. He gathered clues in the towns along his route, hoping for news of his missing pet. He learned that several years earlier, the flame prince of the Alhid family, Wizard Lehman, had captured a second circle creature. It was a silver frost ice ape, and he now used the beast as a mount. Fury burned in Levi's chest. That man had stolen his pet, and he would make him pay for it. Levi recalled the second circle dark wizard, who had chased him and met his end at his hands. The man had worn the insignia of the Alhid family. It seemed the entire clan had secretly aligned itself with the dark wizards. He wasted no time. He mounted Gustav and rode toward Lion King City. Rumors claimed the Golden Lion Jostar family and the Wham family had formed an alliance to resist the dark wizard forces commanded by the Alhid clan. The entire Yellow Earth continent had descended into chaos. Upon reaching the sea near Lion King City, the heavy atmosphere struck him immediately. The distant roar of cannon fire and the sharp explosions of spells mingled with chaotic shouts. War had consumed Lion King City. Levi tightened his guard. He ordered Gustav to hold position in the distance while he cast a concealment spell and hid inside the mouth of the Leviathan. The massive beast blended in with other sea creatures, creeping toward the conflict. He needed to assess the situation and find out how Emperor Mew and Dinos fared. Alarm arrays and defensive shields shimmered along the walls of Lion King City. High above the Jostar family castle in the heart of the city, a battle flag embroidered with a golden lion snapped in the wind. Across the water, a fleet of wizard ships lined up, their alchemy cannons aimed at the city. The black sun flag flew from their masts. Cannon fire choked the air, and spells streaked across the sky, marking the fierce naval battle unfolding on the surface. One side consisted of the Golden Lion Jostar family guarding their home, while the other comprised the Flame King Alhid family, now sworn to the Black Sunday. Two third-circle wizards clashed in the sky above. One was the old Golden Lion, Leon Jostar. The middle-aged noble moved within an earthy yellow defensive field that deflected most incoming spells. He flicked his hand, and massive earth spikes erupted from the ground, lancing toward his opponent. Opposite him stood a young man with eyes like burning coals. Flame Prince Lehman, the strongest warrior of the Alhid family, waved a hand, and terrifying flames incinerated the earth spikes into ash. Lehman mocked him with a smug, arrogant grin, telling the old Golden Lion that his strength had stagnated and asking how he hoped to win. Old Golden Lion demanded to know if Lehman feared retribution from the Star Tower for his alliance with the Black Sunday. Lehman sneered, dismissing the Star Tower as a dying threat. He declared that their boring era had ended, and the age of freedom and greatness had begun. Survival of the fittest dictated the new world, and he warned the old relic before him that he was destined for extinction. Old Golden Lion cursed his delusions of freedom. He asked if Lehman truly believed Black Sun Adam would grant freedom to small pawns after the war. He pointed out that history moved in cycles, and Adam was a man cruel enough to murder his own father for an inheritance, making him an insane master to serve. The Flame Prince cut him off, calling him stubborn before ordering his death. Flames erupted from Lehman, soaring high into the sky. Within the inferno, a demonic shadow blotted out the sun, its wings dripping with lava. Lehman boasted that he would demonstrate the power of the abyss. His base strength matched Old Golden Lion, but the Black Sun had granted him something greater. He had awakened the abyssal bloodline of the molten mountain demon bat. As the bloodline power surged, the temperature of the flames climbed, turning the fire into a violent torrent. Golden Lion's defensive field fractured, teetering on the brink of collapse. Elsewhere on the battlefield, another third-circle powerhouse of the Golden Lion clan clashed with the subordinates of the Flame Prince. This war had broken out with sudden, violent force. Every member of the Golden Lion Jostar family had joined the fray. Even Dinos Jostar, the son of Leon, fought in the thick of the battle. Near Dinos, a brawny man covered in golden fur battered a senior first-circle wizard with invincible palms. A golden centipede-like monster manifested behind him, lashing out at his foes. It was the legendary Knight Emperor Mew, who served as the teacher to Dinos. They fought with everything they possessed, knowing Lion King City lay behind them. It was the home where their families had lived for generations. The Golden Lion family would never allow the enemy to breach those walls. Lehman's attacks intensified, the terrifying demonic power pushing Leon to his absolute limit. Golden Lion felt a surge of panic, realizing the bloodline of the demon made Lehman a foe he could not defeat alone. Just as Lehman prepared to deliver the final strike, a violent wind whipped through the world. Chapter 576. A violent windstorm engulfed Lehman, swirling with the heat of his demonic flames. Old Golden Lion, I am sorry I am a little late. A bald wizard in a windstorm robe drifted through the air. He held a war drum, and with every strike, the gale intensified. This was the patriarch of the Wham family, the strongest third-circle powerhouse in his clan. He had brought the ancestral third-circle wizard tool, the gale drum, to aid the defense. The arrival of the clan leader brought relief to the old Golden Lion. Joining forces with the Wham patriarch offered a genuine chance to defeat Lehman. Amidst the violent winds, Lehman transformed into a ferocious flame demon. The demon bloodline enhanced his strength, but it also stripped away his restraint. He became bloodthirsty. He tore through the wind and fought two opponents without fear. Levi observed the battle between the three third-circle wizards from afar. He felt the terrifying power and measured it against his own strength. He concluded that even with all his trump cards, he could withstand only a few moves from a third-circle wizard before facing death. Third circle wizards possessed innate spells and a third circle defensive field. If a knight like Levi attempted to close the distance, they would repel him with ease. The suppression of third circle spells meant his current defense would crumble quickly. He refused to participate in a battle of this caliber. This was not a matter of lacking heart, but a necessity of prioritizing his own life. His gaze locked onto the white ape on the battlefield. Its appearance matched the creature he had encountered in the mystic realm. Lehman had clearly subdued it. The blood of the giant ape could accelerate the cultivation of the King Kong breathing technique, and Levi had always viewed the creature as his prize. Seeing it serve as Lehman's mount sparked a wave of irritation. He weighed the options. Lehman had likely used a spirit binding ring to subjugate the beast. Breaking that contract required Lehman to release the creature or face death. Fighting a third circle wizard remained too reckless. Dino's father and another powerhouse were pinning Lehman down, but the situation remained volatile. He toyed with the idea of relying on his Iron Curtain protection to survive a single blow, but abandoned the notion. Life was too precious. He pushed aside the temptation born of greed. The third circle wizard remained occupied, however. That opened a window of opportunity to strike at the fringe of the battlefield. He focused his vision, his gaze sharpened like a predatory bird patrolling from the sky. He spotted his prey. A first circle dark wizard was butchering apprentice wizards in the city. Ha ha ha, all of you, die. The dark wizard bullied the weaker opponents, arrogant and loud. We will go all out for the Golden Lion Jostar family. The apprentices refused to yield. A futile attempt. The dark wizard summoned a giant fireball, but before the spell could finish, a defensive field cracked, and he collapsed under the pressure. Levi descended from the sky, ignoring the bewildered apprentice wizards. He let his vast spiritual force wash over them. They recognized a second circle expert. He snatched the storage bag from the skeleton of the dark wizard and vanished. The battlefield chaos masked his movements. He released the saint scorpions and red-faced sea ghost spiders from the bug house. These nurtured creatures thrived in such disarray. Go, kill to your heart's content. Retrieve the bags of holding for me. He addressed the spiders, each the size of a human head. The red-faced sea ghost spider moved with the speed of a red flash, collecting spoils with its webs. Thousands of poisonous bugs swarmed across the field. Screams erupted from the dark wizards as the official and apprentice wizards alike fell. Levi curled his lip. The old and new grudges against the Alhid family would be settled here. The spiders controlled the enemy, injecting toxins, while the saint scorpions moved in to devour the fallen. When enemy fire spells scorched the spiders, the saint scorpions shielded them with their hardened shells. Levi had mastered the synergy of these two species long ago. Chapter 577. Saint scorpion defenses were impenetrable. They were unkillable cockroaches, capable of gnawing through defensive fields. Meanwhile, the red-faced sea ghost spiders moved with terrifying speed. They spat webs to bind foes and injected potent venom. Levi had spent months training them to coordinate, and the battlefield became their proving ground. The swarm moved as a unit, weaving together to strike, then scattering to avoid return fire. They moved like a disciplined army of ants. A first circle wizard stood no chance against such a coordinated assault. The sudden Zerg army caught the eye of Alt, a second circle wizard from the Alhid family. He watched the swarm of bloodthirsty creatures tear through his ranks. Apprentice wizards fell in droves. Alt's anger surged. Why would the Golden Lion Jostar family harbor a wizard from the school of insects? The swarm showed terrifying methodology. They ignored second circle wizards to focus on slaughtering first circle wizards and apprentices. It was efficient. Cruel. Alt noticed the red spiders, dragging storage bags away, with their legs paddling furiously across the surface. This was no natural infestation. A wizard was controlling them. Alt began to chant, weaving a second circle fire spell. A firebird took shape in the air, its wings flapping as it dove toward the bugs. Before the firebird could impact, the great black sky curtain tore through the air. The heavy wizard tool slapped the firebird out of the sky. The curtain did not slow. It coiled around the unprepared Alt, dragging him into the dark depths below the waves. A third circle wizard tool. Alt gasped for air as he vanished. A burly figure waited in the water. Levi glowed with a golden light. He had let his insects handle the small fry, while he hunted the larger prey. This was a chance to make a fortune. Alt fought the restraints, swimming desperately toward the surface. He had no desire to fight a wizard who wielded a third circle tool and came so clearly prepared. Levi surged forward. The great black sky curtain struck again, followed by the Blood Clan touch. Skin and Tyrant closed the distance. Alt realized the depth of his despair. Slaughter bloomed beneath the waves. Before long, Alt died a horrible death. His corpse was devoured, and his storage bag floated free for Levi to collect. Levi's eyes glimmered as he scavenged the battlefield periphery. He picked off the weak dark wizards one by one. He draped himself in stolen storage items, looking more like a beggar than a powerful wizard. He dared not venture to the center, fearing the eyes of a third circle wizard. High above, the tides of battle shifted. The Flame Prince struggled against the combined might of his two opponents. The old Golden Lion brandished the Lion King's sword, an ancestral third circle wizard tool. Lehman regained his composure, calculating the cost. He felt satisfied with his performance, holding his own against two powerhouses, but the tide was turning. He would play with these families later. Today served as a mere test of strength. When his power grew, or the Black Sun steeple sent reinforcements, he would crush them. He forced his opponents back with a spell and turned to escape. The Flame King wizard ships followed suit. Old Golden Lion did not pursue. He lacked the energy, and he knew better than to corner a desperate beast. Lehman stood at the prow of his ship, his expression dark. He noticed the count of his forces had dwindled. Where is ALT? A second circle wizard stepped forward, trembling. Lord, Alt died in battle. How many did we lose? Preliminary statistics indicate 2 second circle wizards, 12 first circle wizards, and more than 100 apprentices perished. Lehman flew into a rage. That is impossible. We had the advantage. Lord, a wizard witnessed a powerhouse from the school of insects. He commanded thousands of zergs in the chaos. He might be an ally of the Golden Lion family. Damn them. A bunch of trash. I can fight 2 people alone, and yet you losers cannot even hold your ground against these weaklings. Lehman struck the railing, venting his fury on the sea. Investigate. Experts from the school of insects are rare in the endless sea. A wizard from that school does not appear without a reason. Coulomb returned to the battlefield. The Golden Lion family began the grim task of cleaning up. Levi had packed his spoils and hurried to meet them. He found Dinos and Emperor Mew, both exhausted and battered. Emperor Mew, what is happening here? The big man's eyes widened at the sight of Levi. He stood covered in wounds, panting heavily. We were attacked by the Flame King family, but we forced them to retreat. Chapter 578. Dinos lowered his weapon and wiped the soot from his brow, relief washing over his face as he stepped toward the visitor. Sir Levi, you are back. It has been a long time. How is the situation in Riptide City? Levi leaned against a nearby tree, watching the aftermath of the battle. I am doing okay over there. I took a leave of absence and came back to check on things. Emperor Mew and Dinos had certainly improved, though compared to Levi, their progress felt negligible. Years of separation had left them still at the level of high-level apprentice wizards. The war between the dark and righteous factions had shattered his plans to reach the realm of life, but Levi had already unlocked the secrets to bypassing those shackles. He would not need to force them into such dangerous paths. The lush forest which resided in the secret realm of the giant tree, serving as a third circle powerhouse of the life school of thought. If Emperor Mew still desired to join that path, Levi could offer an introduction. With the golden spine bone and his 2 legendary breathing techniques, Emperor Mew possessed the strength of a senior first circle wizard. Dinos stood just 1 step away from the legendary realm, matching the proficiency Emperor Mew had displayed back in the human world. Levi helped clear the battlefield debris before the Golden Lion Jostar family ushered him inside their home as a guest. He had arrived on the Yellow Earth continent hunting the 3-horned Dragon King and the Silver Frost Ice Ape. With both targets now unreachable, a wave of disappointment settled in his chest. He spent his time with the Jostar family gathering intelligence on the Flame King clan, laying the groundwork for his eventual revenge. Whale Song Island and the Flame King clan would answer for their crimes once he advanced to the 3rd circle. He purchased materials at a discount in Lion King City, then departed for Area 9. Upon placing Gustav and Leviathan on Blackfire Island, he entrusted the beast with guarding their home. With his arrays active, the chance of theft remained slim. He prepared his secret medicine and rushed to Base Island, securing passage on a wizard airship bound for Riptide City. The trip home had proven fruitful. Huffman called Levi to his private quarters the moment he arrived. The man looked haggard, admitting his performance had slipped during the 2 months Levi had been away. The absence of an efficient, tireless employee had proven unbearable. Huffman pushed a new formula across the desk. It was a blood-healing potion, a second circle concoction designed for rapid injury recovery. Levi mastered the process quickly, diving into a cycle of large-scale refinement. The potion served a vital purpose, allowing low-level combat wizards at the front lines to shake off non-fatal injuries. Time blurred in Riptide City. Levi balanced his work at the pharmacy with his cultivation. He checked the Tower of Merit periodically to see if the Greenfield Immortal House had found a buyer. He finished tallying the spoils of war from his recent hunt. A second circle wizard tool sat among the items, recovered from the dark wizard he had slain. 5 first circle wizard tools, various spellbooks, cultivation materials, and a mountain of Aether Stones rounded out the haul. He sorted the items, keeping the useful pieces and disposing of the dross in the markets of Riptide City. 30,000 Aether Stones poured into his coffers. His total savings climbed past 70,000. It was a sum most second circle wizards could only dream of possessing. Levi decided the mini Meow Meow house did not seem so expensive anymore. Murder and arson provide the fastest route to wealth. He sighed at the grim reality. Such opportunities appeared rarely, and he knew that chasing every battle for profit would eventually lead to his downfall. The calendar turned to the first month of Holy Brilliance year 1044. The 9th year of the Great Expedition. The battle group commanded by Deep Blue Sage Luther arrived at the Myriad Machine Plain. Levi offered a silent prayer for the Tower Master, hoping for a victorious return. Nearly 10 years had passed since the Great Expedition began in Sky City, yet the war showed no signs of conclusion. The internal conflict within the wizard world appeared equally grim. Flames of war consumed many realms of the unbelievers without cessation. In the 6th warzone of the Inner Sea region, specifically the 100-eyed demon territory, a 9th circle grand wizard guarded the abyss well, awaiting the legendary wizard to finish the destruction. The 1,000-eyed demon king had vanished, causing the demonic aura to thin across the territory. Demon hunting efforts proceeded with disciplined order. The destruction of the abyss well would eventually leave the monsters without the support of the abyss lord, making their extinction inevitable. Levi tracked his proficiency gains daily, observing the steady change in his cultivation. The secret medicine crafted from the blood of Gustav accelerated his night training. The golden snake breathing technique surged forward, nearing level 13 within 2 or 3 years. His other breathing techniques showed progress as well. The ones he had acquired in the human world reached at least level 9, with the Jade Dragon breathing technique standing only a short distance from its level 11 maximum. He pushed his Grey Destruction Cross slash to level 7, unlocking the final special effect, the Grey Destruction Power. This achievement marked the absolute peak of his sword skill following the Golden Cross slash. He felt a sting of disappointment, however, as the Grey Destruction and the Gold elements refused to fuse. Chapter 579. Regarding wizards, the spiritual power of Levi had reached 56 points. Over the past period, he had obtained the formula for the second circle meditation supplementary potion from Huffman, as he wished, and officially began the refinement process. Now, among the pharmacists under Huffman, there were very few second circle pharmacists qualified to refine this potion. Usually, it was personally refined by third circle pharmacists like Huffman. Because the materials for the meditation supplementary potion were relatively precious, the military could only entrust these items to the most confident wizards. Otherwise, the failure rate would be too high, and the military would suffer the financial loss. With the military providing a steady supply of materials, the pharmacy experience of Levi increased rapidly. Before long, he reached level 10 pharmacy. The pharmacy level of Levi had officially reached that of a second circle senior pharmacist, surpassing Grimm. The success rate of the meditation supplementary potion climbed above 80%. This meant that, beyond the potions he submitted to the military, Levi could retain 1 or 2 for himself. This was completely sufficient for his daily cultivation. With a stable channel for meditation supplementary potions, the cultivation speed of Levi remained guaranteed. He had only advanced to the second circle a few years ago, but his spiritual force had already increased by 5 points. This speed was respectable. He was on track to become a second circle senior wizard before he turned 60. Then, before the age of 70, he would reach the limit of a second circle senior wizard and prepare to advance to the third circle. This progress relied entirely on the support of the elemental affinity special effect brought about by the night breathing technique. The theoretical idea of knights and wizards helping each other had been successfully put into practice, and reality proved it was a practical path. Now, the two paths of night cultivation and wizard cultivation progressed in an orderly manner. The proficiency of the second ring spells he had mastered previously increased slowly. This was painstaking work, so Levi remained patient. At the same time, Levi began to hunt for second circle defensive spells suitable to serve as his defensive field. He now possessed 60,000 merit points, so he could easily afford to buy a top-notch second circle defensive spell. After mastering the second circle defensive field, Levi planned to start his own experiments on spell synthesis. If the path of spell synthesis proved viable, he would avoid wasting money on new spells in the future. He would simply take low-level spells and synthesize them. In the past, Levi never left the city. He stayed at home all day to concoct potions. Among the 3 swordsmen, Tommen had also successfully advanced to become a second circle pharmacist and a second circle wizard. It was a double blessing. This meant Huffman had gained another capable general. The performance of Huffman improved year by year. The huge reward that originally belonged to him now drifted beyond his reach, making a supervisor in the Upper Riptide extremely anxious. In a luxurious mansion in Upper Riptide, a handsome and tall third circle wizard in a white robe paced his house. As he listened to the report from his subordinate, his expression darkened. This was Healing Hands Rex, one of the 5 supervisors of the Tower of Pharmacists. Huffman, that little dwarf, entered the Tower of Pharmacists as an unaffiliated cultivator, but he managed to ride on top of me, Rex muttered, his voice tight with frustration. Now, many people in my family gossip behind my back. They claim I have wasted the cultivation resources of my family, and cannot even compare to an unaffiliated cultivator. The wizard family of Rex was the 5th circle wizard family in the Inner Sea region known as the Thunder Dragon family. This was a wizard family quite rare in the Endless Sea. They specialized in the lightning school of thought. The Thunder Dragon family commanded a huge business. To develop the family status and connections in Riptide City, the family paid a considerable price to let their 5th circle expert, Thunder Spearsorit, defeat many competitors and enter Riptide City as the deputy commander. Then he arranged for Rex to serve as the supervisor of the Tower of Pharmacists. Relying on the power and status of Supervisor Rex and the Deputy Commander-in-Chief, the Thunder Dragon family made a great deal of money and established deep roots in the Inner Ring Sea. But over the years, with the rise of Huffman, the position of Rex as the top supervisor of the Tower of Pharmacists faced a serious threat. His family grew dissatisfied with his performance, placing immense pressure on Rex. My lord, there is no need to be angry. The rise of Huffman was purely a matter of luck. He accepted several good pharmacists over the years. Grimm and Levi alone increased the mission completion target of Huffman by 8%. Especially that Minotaur, Levi, his assistant continued. He possesses great talent in pharmacy, and his efficiency is unmatched. He has become the treasure of Huffman. It appears he intends for Levi to be his successor. Of course, I know that, Rex snapped. The problem is how to solve it. I sent old Emo to deal with him, but the man never returned. Old Emo died by his hand. Levi hides his strength. He is definitely not as innocent and honest as he looks. My lord, in my opinion, since Levi never leaves the city, we should get rid of him without anyone knowing. Perhaps we could ask Lord Thunderspear to intervene and remove a mere second circle pharmacist. It would be a simple task, the assistant suggested. Do I have to trouble Thunderspear for such a trivial matter? Rex frowned. Do you think I am not embarrassing enough already? This is for the benefit of the Thunder Dragon family. Thunderspear should not refuse, should he? No, the second in command of Riptide City is about to be transferred out of the position of Commander-in-Chief. We must choose the official positions from the 2 deputy commanders. If we let Thunderspear take action at this time, and we do not handle it properly, exposing it to our competitors, the efforts of our family will be wasted. This method is not appropriate. We must think of a solution ourselves. By the way, I remember old Emo mentioning a teacher called Nameless Thousand-Faced, Rex said, his eyes narrowing in thought. He was the boss of an assassin organization, and claimed that he had enough money to kill even third circle wizards. He should be quite strong. Take the token of old Emo and ask him for help. I do not believe he cannot deal with a pharmacist. Boss, that Nameless Thousand-Faced is very expensive. It is fine. Go and invite him. It is just money. I have plenty of it. If possible, I would like to hire him as my personal assassin, and reach a long-term cooperation to clear some obstacles for me. All right, boss, I will give it a try. That Nameless Thousand-Faced has a strange personality. I am not sure if I can invite him. Just go and do it. If you cannot do it, think of another way. Rex gradually calmed down as he watched his subordinates leave. When Thunderspear secured the election, other than the couple who were busy cultivating in seclusion to break through to the 7th Circle, the Thunder Dragon family would fully control Riptide City. Chapter 580. The Holy Brilliance calendar year was 1044, in the month of Grass. At the port of Riptide City, demon hunting wizards prepared their gear and followed the wizard airship toward the demon domain to eliminate threats. A wizard airship from the inner sea region descended toward the port. A wizard wearing black leather armor and carrying a black longsword on his back walked down the ramp. Riptide City. I have not been here in a long time. The middle-aged wizard stood among the crowd. He possessed an ordinary face that discouraged attention, the kind of person who would fade into the background of any gathering. The target was a 2nd circle wizard. Intelligence suggested he also originated from the human world. He was only 54 years old. He reached the 2nd circle at such a young age. He must be outstanding. The middle-aged wizard muttered to himself. He felt a flicker of anticipation. The target was also a legendary knight. A knight. What an ancient memory. He was the Nameless Thousand-Faced, old most teacher and leader in the human world. He was the founder of the Bird of Death's Voice, and the most mysterious of the 7 legendary knights, the Thousand-Faced Knight, Nameless. The wine in the Shining Tavern bore his name, Nameless Rum. He had lived longer than any other among the 7 knights. Even the Blood Knight Brad fell short of his longevity. It was not because of his cultivation, but because he was a hybrid, born from the union of dark elves and humans. Dark elves belonged to a race that had lived underground on the Pandora plane for a long time. Their shadow-steeped existence made them masters of stealth and hunting. They were natural assassins. The Thousand-Faced Knight was the only descendant of the dark elf bloodline who survived the plane convergence. His father was a dark elf, and his mother was a human Grand Knight. It was extremely rare for elves to produce offspring with humans. He inherited the strengths of both parents and became a legendary knight. Later, he established the Bird of Death's Voice and earned the coin of great nobles in the mortal world, turning the world upside down. He crossed paths with many legendary knights in the human world. After sparring with them, he remained undefeated. To the Thousand-Faced Knight, who possessed such a long lifespan, this offered little sense of accomplishment. He arrived in the wizard world and relied on his dark elf talent to become a wizard of the School of Shadows. Old Emo had accompanied him. He established a small assassination organization and struggled to survive in the wizard world by accepting dangerous missions. Old Emo was once a member of his organization, but he died in an assassination mission a few years ago. The Thousand-Faced Knight had considered stopping. When he arrived in the wizard world, he realized the place teemed with talent. His current strength sufficed in the outer ring, but in the inner circle area, he barely scraped by. Carrying out an assassination mission here involved great risk. A moment of carelessness meant failure, just like old Mo. However, this client offered too much money. In the city, within the mansion in the upper Riptide, the Thousand-Faced Knight met his client, Healing Hands Rex. Rex gestured toward a seat with a smile. Please have a seat. May I know your name, sir? Just call me Thousand-Faced. The Thousand-Faced Knight remained calm. How confident are you about this operation, Sir Thousand-Face? 70%. Rex frowned. So low? If I said I was 100% sure, would you believe me? I do not believe it. Rex felt choked. He thought the Thousand-Faced Knight behaved quite strangely. Is that not for the best? No one can guarantee a 100% success rate in an assassination, especially in Riptide City. I will do my best. As long as the other party gives me a chance, I will do my best to kill him. After signing the agreement with Rex, the Thousand-Faced Knight tucked away the generous deposit and left without expression. After the Thousand-Faced Knight departed, Rex snorted. Why are you putting on airs when you are just a stinky killer from the human world? For a wizard born in the wizard world like Rex, seeing those who entered from the human world felt like watching a small-town contestant enter a grand tournament. Such a person might possess ability and perseverance. In the human world, they were favored by the heavens and respected by all. However, in the wizard world, were resources and background to find success. He was nothing more than a fishmonger. Lord, that is just his personality. The subordinate beside him spoke helplessly. However, the thousand-faced knight is quite reliable. He does not accept missions that exceed his ability, or missions that he does not feel confident in. As long as he accepts them, he basically has a 100% success rate. I hope so. After spending so much effort and taking so much money from me, he cannot even do such a small thing. I do not think he needs to continue being an assassin. Rex sneered. Middle Riptide, number 81. This was a mansion located near the home of Levi. On this day, a new tenant moved into number 81. The middle-aged tenant looked toward the wizard tower next door, which remained closed. Next, we will be neighbors. The thousand-faced knight muttered the words to himself. Chapter 581. He naturally did not dare to make a move here. This place sat too close to the Tower of Pharmacists. A fifth circle expert and two fourth circle experts resided within the tower. He decided to wait for the time being. He would get to know Levi first, find an opportunity to lure him out of the city, and end him. Then, he would take the commission and leave Riptide City. In terms of patience, the thousand-faced knight believed few people in Riptide City could compare to him. He held the advantage of a relatively long lifespan, while those low-ranked magi with short lives had to race against time. Next door in Levi's mansion, Levi opened his eyes as he sat in cultivation. He glanced down at the hairs standing on his arms. He scowled, wondering who wished to harm him again. During this period, he sensed a faint hostility watching him. Now, that hostility felt increasingly obvious. According to Levi's previous experience, this situation usually meant the person holding hostility stood very close to him. He opened the window and scanned the surroundings of his mansion. He entered the intuition state in a small area. He tried his best to avoid provoking the big shots in the city while searching for suspicious figures sneaking around. Ultimately, Levi turned his attention to number 81 next door. Because the distance was so close, Levi felt certain the hostility originated from there. Who lived in number 81? He wondered, alarmed. He was truly unlucky. He worked hard selling medicine. He did not steal or rob. He labored diligently for his boss. In the end, the damn mastermind did not mess with his boss, but rather with him. Anger boiled within him. Did they think they could bully workers as they pleased? Was beating up workers not a violation of humanity? Was there no regard for human rights? Levi forced himself to calm down. Fortunately, he possessed spider sensing. Otherwise, he might not even know such a powerful enemy hid next door. There was no hurry, he decided. Since the other party had not made a move, it meant they dared not strike within the city, or rather, they dared not make a move near the Tower of Pharmacists. He realized he had been right to rent the house here back then. Because an array next door isolated or on perception, Levi could not determine the other party's strength. He could only deduce from the spider sensing that the other party stood at least at the level of a second circle senior, or perhaps even a third circle. For the rest of the day, Levi led a normal life, seemingly oblivious to the fact that someone was trying to harm him. When he left the house, Levi discovered a middle-aged wizard watering the herbs planted on the balcony on the second floor of the wizard tower next door. As if sensing Levi's gaze, the middle-aged wizard revealed a kind smile. Levi returned the smile and went to the Tower of Pharmacists. Watching Levi depart, the thousand-faced knight chuckled to himself. The kind and diligent Sir Levi still did not know a ferocious beast lived next door to him. However, his performance confirmed he possessed the foundation of a knight. The information was correct, the thousand-faced knight analyzed calmly. Judging from the information, other than being in the limelight, because of the legendary knight, when he first entered the wizard world, Levi remained mostly unknown. After coming to Riptide City to serve, he spent all day at home brewing potions and earning merit points. Levi was indeed a very hard-working person. Even though the thousand-faced knight was Levi's enemy, he had to admit that Levi worked too hard. There was no lack of hard-working people in the wizard world, but it was rare for someone to reach Levi's level. There were no social activities or entertainment activities. He did not even have a partner. Was such a person not tired of living, just like the alchemical creatures? What a pity, he thought. If he were not an enemy, he would be interested in getting to know someone like him. The thousand-faced knight muttered to himself as he leisurely cleaned his house and watered the flowers, looking like a middle-aged man full of life. At the Tower of Pharmacists, Levi handed in the mission. Huffman looked at Levi and asked if there was anything else. Lord Huffman, we cannot do anything about incidents within Riptide City, right? Levi asked. Huffman looked up with a grave expression and asked what was wrong. Nothing, Levi said jokingly. He just felt that someone had been following him recently, as if someone were trying to harm him. He was now Huffman's #1 employee. Huffman treated him very well, so Levi often chatted with Huffman now. He would ask some questions directly. As far as Huffman was concerned, he held no evil intentions other than greed. The problem was greed, for who would not be greedy? In comparison, Levi was more greedy, but he lacked the ability. Since Huffman was relatively reliable, Levi would be a fool not to use him. Therefore, he changed his words, hoping to let Huffman know about his situation indirectly and see if he could come up with any solutions. Who followed you? Huffman asked coldly. Levi admitted he was not sure yet, and he was not even sure if someone were truly following him, but he just felt a little uneasy. It must be Rex, Huffman said sternly. Chapter 582. Lord Rex. Why would he do that? Levi pressed, his brow furrowed. Because he did the same to me. Huffman gazed into the distance, his short body radiating a fierce aura. He resembled a small demon rising from the abyss as he spoke of the past. Levi felt a pang of sympathy. Huffman back then existed in the same precarious state as Levi did now. Individuals lacking a background faced constant schemes and retaliation from Rex whenever their interests collided. Huffman endured. He labored just as Levi did, eventually climbing to the rank of a third circle pharmacist and securing his current status. Do you want me to tell the Tower Master about this? Huffman asked, his eyes narrowing. Forget it. Let us not alarm the Tower Master. Besides, I lack evidence. This remains a wild guess, and the truth might prove different from our assumptions. Thank you for your kindness, Lord Huffman. Levi shook his head. Huffman nodded. Indeed. He hesitated for a moment before retrieving a scroll from his storage bag. This is a third circle spell scroll. It is very precious. I originally made it for my future son, but considering I lack a wife, I will let you use it first. You have worked diligently for so many years, so you deserve this third circle spell scroll. Levi stared at the item, his expression shifting to genuine gratitude. Thank you, Lord Huffman. I will work harder on pharmacy. He took the scroll respectfully and made his promise. When he returned home, Levi inspected the scroll. The find brought him immense delight. It was a pleasant surprise. The third circle spell scroll possessed immense value. At the Tower of Merit, it would cost tens of thousands of merit points. Most importantly, spell scrolls always faced short supply at the merit shop. They disappeared from the shelves the moment they arrived. This represented a weapon any wizard could use to fight above their level. It carried no side effects. For wealthy low-level wizards who frequently performed dangerous missions, this served as a life-saving weapon. Levi admitted the truth. Huffman displayed uncharacteristic generosity today. The man lacked the ruthlessness of a true capitalist. Huffman clearly felt panic. He worried someone would truly kill Levi. Even though he knew Rex engaged in dirty tactics, Huffman possessed no countermeasures. Right now, he could barely protect himself. He stood far from the strength required to fight Rex, or the Thunder Dragon family backing him. Even if he filed a complaint, no one would believe him or Levi without evidence. The superior tasked with seeking justice might even be one of Rex's men. Complaining would amount to courting death. Such was the stark reality. Levi felt satisfied that Huffman had gone this far. Such a man made for a qualified boss. The spell scroll Huffman gave Levi contained an attack spell. The third circle spell, Ice Finger. It condensed a terrifying ice attack. Under the Ice Finger, second circle wizards stood a slim chance of survival. Third circle wizards, if caught unprepared, might sustain serious injuries. This was the most powerful spell available to Huffman, a third circle wizard. With this third circle spell scroll, the uneasiness in Levi's heart diminished. However, it remained insufficient. He did not know when the enemy would strike. He needed to increase his strength as much as possible before that moment arrived. First, master the second circle defensive field. Second, cultivate the golden snake breathing technique to level 13 as soon as possible. Third, cultivate the black devil blade to level 6. Levi identified these three methods as the fastest route to increased strength. He did not need to dwell on the defensive field. An additional layer of defense would keep Levi safer. The stacked armor style never failed. As for the golden snake and the black devil blade, they approached their next advancement. These two skills would greatly increase his combat prowess and might even allow him to fight against a third circle wizard. Early in the morning, Levi hurried to the Tower of Merit. He spent 8,000 merit points to exchange for a top-notch second circle defensive spell. The second circle spell, Earth Spirit Shield, belonged to the Earth School of Thought. Its defense was strong and held a grade A rating. When Levi cultivated his underground fire dominator to the limit, his actual defense level should reach grade A+, or even grade S. Once it hit the grade S standard, it meant this second circle spell approached the level of a third circle defensive spell. After obtaining the scroll, Levi began to construct a spell defense model and cultivated it step by step. 3 months evaporated in a blink. Levi realized the neighbor harboring hostility toward him had not attacked. Occasionally, when they brushed past each other, the man even offered an amicable greeting. If not for his spider sensing ability, Levi might have truly believed they were good neighbors. Levi decided to play along. He would stall as long as possible. He pretended to know nothing and continued to socialize with his friendly neighbor. In the dark, he frantically cultivated spells and breathing techniques. Through conversation, he learned his neighbor went by the name of Will and worked as a second circle wizard. Of course, this was definitely a fake name. Levi did not know the man's true identity. Unless he possessed the ability to lock onto a true identity through a membership number, the truth remained hidden. Chapter 583. The spell model completed its formation today. Levi successfully mastered his fourth second circle spell. He solidified the model into his second circle defensive field, granting himself an additional layer of protection. The Earth Spirit Shield, Golden Snake Scales, King Kong Rock Body, and Ashen Entanglement formed the layers of this defensive system. The Jade Dragon breathing technique reached the maximum of level 11. As expected, after level 11, the resulting supernatural organs focused on poison. A new sac grew within his body, nestled near the blood sac. A pool of dark green poison filled this sac. These poisonous ingredients derived mainly from the saint scorpions and the red-faced sea ghost spider. They gathered and intensified until they formed Levi's unique venom. He purchased a living sea beast to test his new ability. The first circle sea beast failed to withstand the venom. The creature succumbed to the poison within a few minutes. Even a second circle cultivator would fail to find immunity, suffering the effects of the toxin. Without mastery of antidote spells, potions, or a sufficiently hardened physique, a wizard faced a high chance of poisoning. Levi stared at his hands, his gaze cold. It is still not enough. I have to collect more poisons and refine myself into an ultimate poison. His vampire touch now served as his organ for injecting venom. He relied on the long-range attacks of that spell to deliver toxins into his enemies like a poisonous snake. Levi focused his efforts, breaking the limit of the Jade Dragon breathing technique. He sought to cultivate the Jade Dragon breathing technique and the Blood Beast breathing technique to the same level simultaneously, triggering a mutation. Time remained the only factor. While Levi focused on cultivation, the thousand-faced knight showed no sense of urgency. Rex grew displeased by this lack of pace. He summoned the assassin and demanded to know why the man had not taken action yet. The thousand-faced knight shook his head. The time is not right. I am getting along with Levi now. When we are close enough and I have gained his trust, I will lure him to a suitable place and kill him. Rex barked an order for the assassin to be serious. The thousand-faced knight sneered, asking if Rex doubted his professional ability. He explained that to assassinate a fourth circle wizard from a high-level organization, he had worked as his assistant for 15 years. In the end, he tricked the mark into an ancient ruin and used the array traps to assassinate him without effort. His true strength matched only an ordinary third circle wizard, yet he used patience and wisdom to kill a fourth circle wizard. Few killers could claim such a feat. A fourth circle wizard dominated an entire area in the Endless Sea. Rex struggled for words. He placed his remaining hopes on the thousand-faced knight. The assassin possessed patience in abundance, treating undercover work as normal. Levi could not possibly become a third circle wizard in 10 years. The thousand-faced knight intended to lure him out within that decade. As for the method, he had endless options. Heavenly treasures, ancient ruins, secret realm exploration. These temptations remained irresistible to wizards. Levi could not help but be tempted. Rex ultimately released him. Something unexpected felt imminent if the situation continued this way. He decided to pay the price to have his family send a wizard death warrior. These sacrificial soldiers were nurtured by the wizard organization with secret techniques since childhood. They died without hesitation for the sake of the organization, possessing absolute loyalty. Nurturing a death warrior required a high price. Rex remained uncertain if he could transfer them given his tenuous status in the family. He decided to try. Most importantly, he needed to rely on these achievements to become a deputy tower master in the future. The military only recognized results. After returning home, the thousand-faced knight continued his plan to get along with Levi. Their relationship grew stronger every day, and Levi lowered his guard. Every day, Levi opened the window and greeted the thousand-faced knight. Levi clearly trusted his good neighbor. The thousand-faced knight decided to seize the opportunity to invite Levi out of the city. He concocted a story about finding an injured level 3 demon in the wild, specifically a horned demon. If Levi cooperated to hunt the beast, they could sell the precious horn and split the profit equally. At Levi's mansion, the thousand-faced knight knocked on the door. He called out to Levi, needing to discuss something with him. Levi smiled, inviting Sir Will inside to talk. Chapter 584. Levi felt no panic. His home sat so close to the Tower of Pharmacists. If the other party suddenly attacked, he possessed enough ability to stall for a period. That brief window would suffice to alert the experts in the tower. The commotion of battle could not be hidden from the experts in the city. When that happened, someone would naturally interfere. Inside the mansion, Levi served tea to Will. The visitor took a slow sip, then leaned forward. Sir Levi, I will not keep you in suspense. Have you heard of horned demons? Levi felt his pulse quicken, though his face remained controlled. Oh, I have heard of them. I am a pharmacist. The powder ground from a horned demon horn can be used to refine medicine. Will nodded. Indeed, horned demon horns are very precious. To be honest, when I was carrying out a demon hunting mission in the wild recently, I found an injured level 3 horned demon. Levi stared, his eyes widening in feigned shock. It is level 3? Will nodded. That is right. The horn of a level 3 horned demon is worth at least 20,000 Aether Stones. If it is refined into a potion, its value multiplies by several times. Will watched Levi, gauging his interest. He felt he had finally taken down the target after less than half a year of undercover work. It is difficult for me to deal with that cunning horned demon alone, Will continued. If you can help me, after this matter is done, we will split the spoils equally. I can also see that your true strength is not weak. Levi wore a look of dilemma. He smiled bitterly and sighed. I really cannot leave recently. The potion missions during this period of time are too much. It is a pity that I cannot go with you. Will maintained his expression. In that case, you can go about your business first. I will follow that horned demon. If you are free, you can look for me. How about that? Levi nodded. That is great. Thank you. I really need money now. Will stood. Since that is the case, I will not disturb you anymore. Go ahead and do your work. Come to my place when you are free. Take care, Levi said. I will not see you out. After the visitor left, Levi closed the door, and his expression gradually turned cold. Trying to lure me out before harming me, he thought. To think he could conceive of such an old-fashioned move. I might as well beat him at his own game and stall for a while. When I am strong enough, I will play with you and catch the mastermind. He had a plan. With his current strength, he did not stand a chance against Will. After a year or two of development, when the Golden Snake and Black Devil Blade broke through, the threat would vanish. Considering that even stronger enemies might lie in ambush outside the city, Levi decided to stay alive as long as possible, and raise his strength to the limit, before making plans. Holy Brilliance Calendar Year 1044, Month of Winter. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Will kept in touch. He even remarked about how he loved to make friends with people like Levi when traveling. Levi played along with Will while secretly cultivating with frantic intensity. Finally, the Black Devil Blade reached level 6. Behind Levi, a behemoth nearly 9 meters tall sat cross-legged in the wizard tower. It was covered in golden scales with a blood-colored ribbon wrapped around its back. Even though it sat, the entity had brushed the ceiling of the wizard tower. If not for the array that isolated the aura, the appearance of such a terrifying evil spirit would have attracted immediate attention. After reaching level 6, the 9 Swords Azura evil spirit grew even larger. It stood a full 9 meters tall. This reflected a massive increase in Levi's physical fitness and strength in all aspects. Levi felt an urge to compete with a third circle expert. The arrogance brought by such strength felt intoxicating. The colors on the 9 Swords Azura body became even richer. The golden scales manifested the power of the golden snake, while the blood-colored ribbon represented the power of the blood beast. Red flames burned around the golden scales, a manifestation of the red lotus power. The bloodline power born from any breathing technique that advanced to level 12 appeared on the 9 Swords Azura, showing different characteristics. Levi had a thought. The 9 crimson flame longswords left the Azura hand and circled inside the wizard tower. They spun and danced before finally flying back into the hand of the Azura. Levi felt a surge of excitement. Was this the legendary sword control technique? This 9 Swords Azura is incompatible with the style of this wizard world, he sighed. It seemed that the Azura was running in the direction of the immortal path. Levi sensed that with his current mental strength, these 9 swords could only fly a few miles at most. If they traveled further, they might not return. No matter what, this marked the first step on the path of sword control. Chapter 585. Levi studied the ability of the 9 Swords Azura, pondering for a moment before he spoke. It is no longer appropriate to call the current 9 Swords Azura evil spirit an evil spirit. To be more precise, it should be called the bloodline Dharma body. He considered the definition. A bloodline Dharma body required his spiritual force and bloodline power to gather a supreme Dharma idol that transcended his body and mind. Levi examined the concept that corresponded to the bloodline Dharma body, which was the bloodline true form. The true form of the bloodline acted as the true body manifested by his various inhuman characteristics. The bloodline Dharma body functioned as an illusory body condensed from the power of bloodline and spiritual force. The Black Devil Blade possessed a lofty intention. Even a legendary knight could not create such a heaven-defying technique. He wondered about the identity of the creator. It was not the Black Knight, and it was most likely not the thousand-faced knight, Nameless. Nameless might hold a higher rank than the other 6 knights, but he could not create such a profound technique. The creator of this Black Devil Blade harbored too much ambition. That individual intended to create a new bloodline Dharmakaya apart from knights and wizards. Perhaps even the creator never thought that someone would really cultivate this technique to this level. Power surged within his body. With the Black Devil Blade at level 6, all that remained was the level 13 Golden Snake. Moreover, Levi possessed 80,000 merit points. He drew closer to the goal of 100,000 merit points. Soon, he could buy a house for Leviathan and the others. This progressed faster than he expected. Every time he refined a second circle potion, the merit points he received rivaled those from killing a level 1 demon beast. The earning speed of a second circle pharmacist remained extraordinary. Knowledge and technology served as the primary productivity. Nothing compared to the comfort of making potions. Levi operated as a second circle senior pharmacist. If he wanted to advance to a third circle pharmacist, he had to possess the strength of a third circle wizard first. Therefore, his pharmacy could not make another breakthrough in the short term. Third circle pharmacy required too much spiritual force. It was not something a second circle wizard could forcefully refine. Levi walked out of the door and encountered his neighbor, Wizard Will, returning from his demon hunt. Sir Levi, are you free recently? The thousand-faced knight asked. To play this role well, he had joined the demon hunter army. Renting a house in Riptide City cost a fortune, and he needed to earn more money. Soon, Sir Will. After we finish our work, we will go and take a look together. However, I hope that you will not go back on your word after everything is done. After all, I am weak, Levi said with a smile. Don't worry, I will have always been fair. Look, as a third circle wizard, when have I ever put on airs in front of you? Will replied with a laugh. Indeed, it is rare to see a wizard like you. I still have something on, so I will take my leave first, Levi said, waving goodbye to Will. Will watched Levi leave with a smile. Finally, his face returned to normal. Could this guy have discovered something? Will muttered to himself. Impossible. With my acting skills, even a fourth circle wizard could be deceived by me. How could he see through it? He questioned. Will shook his head. He remained confident in his acting skills. Sometimes, while he acted, Will became completely immersed and gradually forgot his identity as an assassin. He had played too many roles in his assassination career. Thousands of people had 1,000 faces. This case proved no different. Inside the Tower of Pharmacists, Levi stood in the room of Huffman. Has anyone been following you recently? Huffman asked. Not recently. I wonder if the mastermind has given up. After all, he does not dare to be rash in the city, Levi answered. Huffman sneered. Do not slack off. From what I know of Rex, he will not give up. He is too full of himself. If he lacked the right to bypass the Tower Master and poach people from my department, he might have poached you right in front of me. Alas, an undeserved disaster, Levi lamented. Do not worry, you can focus on pharmacy. I will try my best to protect you. There are still laws in Riptide City, Huffman comforted. Levi expressed his loyalty once more and departed. Huffman reviewed the results report happily, calculating how many more Aether Stones he could earn. Recently, Grimm was also preparing to break through to become a second circle wizard. He applied for leave from Huffman and devoted himself to the big matter of breaking through. In comparison, Levi's breakthrough occurred more casually. As long as he had the breakthrough potion, with his talent and proficiency panel, breaking through from the first circle to the second circle posed no difficulty. However, breaking through from a second circle to a third circle proved difficult. With Levi's current understanding, unless it involved the children of the elements and the best breakthrough potion, the success rate could barely reach 80%. Even dual elemental affinity and potions only provided a 1/3 success rate. There was no need to mention the other wizards. It was already good enough to have 1/10 success. Levi did not have much confidence in breaking through to the third circle. Fortunately, he remained far from that stage. Therefore, he did not rush. Perhaps he could even give birth to some awesome special effects. Time flowed like an arrow, and the sun and moon shifted like a shuttle. Half a year passed without notice. Levi received a letter from the Yellow Earth continent. The letter came from Dinos. Dinos mentioned in the letter that he successfully advanced to a legendary knight, and now called himself the Golden Lion Knight. This made old Golden Lion, who was anxious about the war, overjoyed. Emperor Mew also felt happy for his disciple. Chapter 586. Lion King City basked in a festive mood. Because of the previous war, the Alhid family suffered serious losses. The Wham family and the Golden Lion family found a rare opportunity to catch their breath. They currently debated taking the initiative to attack and catch the Alhid family off guard. They strove to destroy the Alhid family in one fell swoop. Levi wrote a reply. He hoped the Golden Lion Jostar family would win this battle. At the same time, he officially included Dinos Jostar in the Twilight Knights. Currently, the Twilight Knights followed the leadership of Supreme Knight Levi, Vice Commander Blood Knight, Black Knight, Emperor Mew, and Golden Lion Knight. The 5 legendary knights stood as a force capable of stirring the world before the Dark Wave. Though this power resembled a firefly in the wizard world, Levi believed in this strength as the shackles of legendary status broke. One day, he would find himself surrounded by knights with determined faces, confidence, and stability comparable to wizards. He intended to make the reputation of the Dusk Holy Temple and the Twilight Knights resound throughout the multidimensional plane. A deep regret remained. The civil war that swept through the wizard world severed the connection between the entire human world and the wizard world. Levi had not received a letter from the human world for a long time. The development of the Dusk Holy Temple remained uncertain. Among the forces in the human world, only the Church, the Blood Clan, and Bluefrost could pose a threat to the Dusk Holy Temple. Lan Shuang resided in the Northern Territory, extremely far from Dusk Island. The conflict should not spread to the sea. Within the Blood Clan, the Demonic Feast Alliance posed a threat. Levi had destroyed the living strength of the Osenba family, though the other clan might remain a hidden danger. Additionally, the Saint of the Lord of the Stars, a mysterious and powerful young lady, lingered in his mind. Levi sighed. He could not worry too much. The Dusk Holy Temple could not always grow under his shelter. It needed to experience hardships alone. As for the Grey Tower, Marlene and the others required no concern from Levi. Right now, the person needing the most worry was himself. A famous figure in Riptide City targeted him. The matter felt unjust, yet reality often mirrored such unfairness. Levi accepted the bad luck. He used the time before the other party made a move to increase his strength. Holy Brilliance Calendar 1045, Month of Wheatfield. The flames of war in the Endless Sea continued to burn. More wizards were displaced, becoming nomadic wizards or wandering wizards. Those wizards who used to stand high and mighty became like mortals. Their bodies drifted like duckweed on the waves. The suffering of the mortals living in the wizard world went without mention. The rise and fall of the wizard world never involved these mortals. They existed as victims, as vassals and tools for production. In the Aether Sea war zone, both sides invested more troops. Intermediate wizards were common. High-level primordial soul wizards fought from time to time. In Impel City and other deep-sea prisons, countless criminals took advantage of the chaos to escape. Some might have been law-abiding citizens who suffered wrongful imprisonment, but most were genuine black wizard thugs who burned, killed, and plundered. These locusts infiltrated the entire Endless Sea. A disaster plagued other wizards who wanted to cultivate peacefully. This year marked the 10th year of the Great Expedition. The 5 legendary wizards of Sky City had entered the war zones of the 5 federations. Old and new wizards who had waited a long time entered the war immediately. The Great Expedition entered a period of total war. Wizards fighting alone in foreign lands deserved respect. If they died on the battlefield, they would remain buried in another dimension forever. This era needed heroes. It needed a legendary figure like Sauron, the ancestor of wizards, who could suppress the world, convince countless wizards, and unite the wizard world. Many wizards sighed. If only Sauron were here. The war showed no signs of stopping. At the end of the month of Wheatfield, in Riptide City, the thousand-faced knight, disguised as Wizard Will, had made a name for himself among the demon-hunting wizards. After receiving merit points by the military many times, Wizard will became fully devoted to his role. This year, thanks to the hard work of Levi and Grimm, Huffman had spare cash. He invested in a large-scale material store in the inner circle of the sea and became the largest shareholder. The shrewd man used his internal connections to anticipate what potions would be sold in Riptide City. He stocked up on materials at a low price. When the market improved, he sold them to the military of Riptide City at a high price. Compared to the business-minded Huffman, Levi only saved his money and watched the cash increase. Unlike Huffman, who loved to earn money, Levi focused on cultivation. He required enough money to cultivate. The exact amount earned did not matter. He could not bring it with him. What if a dark wizard snatched it away one day? He refused to work hard for the rest of his life only to become someone else's wedding dress. Chapter 587. Under such a life creed, 55-year-old Levi had finally cultivated the golden snake breathing technique to the late stage of level 12. He approached level 13. The scales on Levi's skin began to itch, forcing him to scratch them. His hands shed skin as they grew dry. A truth dawned on him. He was about to shed his skin. The truth of the golden snake breathing technique after reaching level 13 matched his earlier predictions. A crack appeared along the middle of his body, separating the scales. Standing before the mirror, he gently tore at a scale. The sound of tearing stockings filled the room. The layer of scales covering Levi's surface parted. He looked down at the human skin and scales resting in his hand. He looked in the mirror, observing his pink skin and the layer of slightly soft scales beneath. He mumbled to himself about shedding his skin. Levi watched the process in awe. The sensation of shedding skin was peculiar. Being human, he found he could answer that question well. The new scales remained fragile, requiring time to recover. An instinct warned him of the impending period of weakness following the shedding. He waited for these scales to harden before testing the power of this level 13 golden snake. Levi focused his mind on his proficiency panel. His golden snake breathing technique had reached level 13. With one experience point toward the next 500,000. The special effects included transformation scales at level 1, dragon's intimidation, and golden snake playing with water. Levi felt a surge of surprise that the level 13 golden snake continued to cultivate. It seemed cultivating to level 13 perfection posed no problem, though he remained uncertain about breaking through the limit. The power of the golden snake bloodline in his body had undergone its first transformation. He had shed the weak newborn scales. From then on, he began a long journey of transformation. After experiencing repeated transformations, his scales would become harder and stronger. He would finally gain a foothold in a dangerous environment. After every transformation, a period of weakness would follow. During this weakness, the smart golden snake would lie dormant in the cave to avoid the hunt of its natural enemies. One metamorphosis was equivalent to one level. He would end his metamorphosis only when he grew into a true golden snake. He could not test the power of his golden snake scales now. He wondered if his defense could match a third circle defensive spell. He felt weak now. The soft scales offered no defense, allowing even an attack from a second circle wizard to break through. He reinforced the array formation in his house, ensuring the enemy had no chance to take advantage of his weakened state. He decided to apply for leave from Huffman, planning to remain inside until his scales hardened. Beyond the transformation scales, the golden snake produced a third special effect at level 13. This was golden snake playing with water. The text described how the golden snake loved water and served as the master of all water and king of the sea. The bloodline power in his body granted him the golden snake water element affinity talent. The speed at which he cultivated water element related spells and meditation arts would increase. The power of spells and spell-like abilities related to the water element would also rise. This special effect could not be upgraded, but it would increase in efficacy as the breathing technique advanced. The inevitable result arrived as he expected. He no longer needed to search for Van Helsing or the Duncan family inheritance. The breathing technique sufficed. As a wizard from the Ocean School of Thought, Grey Tower had been in the territory of the Ocean School of Thought for decades. Levi could legitimately call himself a qualified genius wizard of the Ocean School of Thought. He began the deep-sea meditation art, and the cultivation speed surged far beyond his previous efforts. He had finally gathered the 4 elemental affinities of earth, fire, wind, and water. He waited for the deep-sea meditation art and the Gale meditation art to advance to level 6 to see what he could finally fuse. Excitement coursed through him. He was no longer an ordinary son of chaos. He was a rare 4-element talent. As the effects of the breathing technique increased, the talent became better and better. He would truly become the child of the elements. Apart from these 2 special effects that changed, the supernatural organ, the golden snake's message, had also changed, though only slightly. It increased the range of his aura perception and the speed at which he processed information. The other supernatural organ came from the golden horn of the golden horn beast. The feeling of stagnation and blockage vanished, confirming his suspicion. The golden horn contained a ray-type spell-like ability. When he focused his mind on the golden horn, the power of the golden snake in his body drained instantly. The golden horn flickered with light, emitting a terrifying aura of destruction. Levi held back, choosing not to unleash it. Chapter 588. Levi did not unleash this terrifying attack. Using this horn now risked piercing the wizard tower, which invited unnecessary trouble. He named his golden horn the Annihilation Horn. While untested, the energy within matched the destructive potential of a third circle spell. It possessed the ability to injure, or even kill third circle wizards. Success required hitting the target. Levi possessed only enough golden snake power to unleash this attack once. A missed strike would drain his golden snake power for a time, leaving his scales vulnerable. This functioned as an absolute killing move. It remained dormant until the moment of execution, when it would strike true. Achieving level 13 of the golden snake breathing technique granted Levi a surge of confidence. With the golden snake scales fully hardened, his strength approached the third circle level. He stood ready to fight. That enemy wizard would struggle to threaten his life. Still, he refused to let his guard down. Caution remained paramount. Levi turned his thoughts to the golden snake breathing technique. Reaching level 13 signified a new stage. A new realm name was necessary. This stage marked a blood metamorphosis from youngling to adult. Perhaps blood molting. No, that sounded poor. Blood metamorphosis felt a bit rash. He searched for a more grounded name. He settled on Blood Knight. The bloodline retraced its origin, finally advancing toward its source. The new realm had its name. Within the golden snake breathing technique, the first level of the transformation scales represented the first transformation of the blood source realm. Subsequent levels would follow, with the second level of transformation scales signifying the second transformation of the blood source realm, continuing until the next major realm emerged. He chose to hide for a while longer. Once the transformation finished, he would test the defense of his snake scales. He would delay as long as possible. There was no hurry to attack. He would wait until his adversary grew impatient. In the following days, he secured 2 months of leave from Huffman. This time allowed his scales to harden, while he improved his strength in the path of wizardry. A month later, the scales hardened completely. Simultaneously, his power rune reached level 3. Levi observed his proficiency panel. Strength rune language rune, level 3, 1/10,000. Special effect, Horned Bull Constellation Power, level 3. Horned Bull Constellation Power level 3. The rune language communicated with the Horned Bull Constellation. The power of stars increased his strength. Current strength rune language increased by 20%. After reaching level 3, Levi upgraded the power runes solidified on Tyrant's body, which increased the construct's strength significantly. Lacking other combat targets, he continued to use Tyrant for testing. Tyrant possessed a level 3 strength rune. A full power attack could breach the defense of most second circle wizards. The huge axe slashed at Levi's shining dark golden scales. The impact rang out. The axe in Tyrant's hand trembled, cracking under the force. Levi flew backward, striking the wall of the training room. Fine cracks appeared on his scales, but they remained intact. The cracks faded in an instant. The attack remained insufficient to test his true limit. Levi made his decision. He slashed at his own arm with Frostmourne, channeling the Grey Destruction power. This stood as the only way to measure his resilience. A sharp crack sounded. It marked the first time the Grey Destruction power encountered an enemy. His powerful scales resisted the Grey Destruction power tenaciously. The scales cracked layer by layer, yet renewed themselves. While a single layer of scales could not withstand the force, Levi's golden snake power instantly reinforced the second layer as the first shattered. Consequently, Levi's full-powered Grey Destruction cross/slash failed to shatter his scales. Breaking his own defense proved impossible. His current attack power approached that of a third circle wizard. His scales possessed the defensive capability of a third circle spell, roughly equal to a grade C defense. He observed the power runes on Tyrant's body. He could solidify the strength rune within himself. The strength rune floated up from Tyrant and entered Levi's body. Power runes representing the Horned Bull Constellation power flickered on Levi's arms. Strength swelled within him. The rune language could solidify on the body, mirroring his passive defensive spells. As a level 12 Red Lotus practitioner, the strength rune enhancement boosted his normal state significantly. Combined with the Red Lotus, Giant Whale, Knight, King Kong, and 9 Swords enhancements, his strength reached a terrifying level. Shattering an ordinary third circle defensive field appeared well within his reach. The wound on his arm healed rapidly, returning to perfect condition. He dripped his blood into the rolling crystal. Chapter 589. The system screen pulsed, displaying the updated bloodline readings. The unknown dragon clan bloodline stood at 10%, while the human bloodline remained at 99%. Levi studied the display. The golden snake bloodline had reached 10%. Apparently, level 13 started at that threshold. He frowned at the secondary percentage. Why had his human bloodline decreased so significantly? He shook his head, pushing the thought aside. He did not care. 99% left plenty of room for further descent. For the moment, he remained human. Levi felt invigorated, his body now impervious to extreme heat. He stepped out of the house, breathing in the fresh air and feeling the bustle of the city. The house next door remained silent. Wizard Will had not returned, likely occupied by a demon hunting operation. Levi sighed, noting the gap in his earnings. He had taken a month off and earned too few merit points. He needed to make up for the shortfall in his next shift. He made his way to Huffman to accept the next pharmacy mission. Upon arriving, he learned that Grimm had finally advanced to the second circle. Levi offered a firm handshake. "Congratulations, Grimm." Grimm laughed, the sound echoing in the chamber. "Finally, I am at the second circle. No more being at the bottom of the pile." Levi, Grimm, and the others gathered at Levi's house to celebrate. Grimm insisted on treating them to a meal and hired several dancers to entertain the group. One performer was a woman from the Fur clan with rabbit ears. Levi watched the dancer with curiosity. He inquired about her background and learned that this dancer was a guest from another multidimensional plane. Wizards had brought her back as a slave, and she had eventually ended up in Riptide City. He discovered that the slave market in the underground black market of Lower Riptide contained many such fur clan slaves. These beings differed from elves. They existed as a short-lived species with only basic, minor abilities. Their wizard talent remained average. However, the fur clans possessed strong physiques and excelled in powerful body techniques and combat skills. They were born experts in close combat, with a talent for physical maneuvering that exceeded that of ordinary people. The information tempted Levi. He considered buying a few subjects for experiments. If he succeeded, he could potentially create legendary knights in batches. Levi had cultivated in isolation for decades, and the solitude weighed on him. He recognized the inefficiency of working alone. Too many tasks demanded his personal attention, draining time he could spend on cultivation. He wanted to start nurturing his own faction within the wizard world and build a main hall for the Dusk Holy Temple here. The temple in the human world would simply become a branch. He could acquire these fur clan slaves by signing contracts. After Grimm and his friends departed, the rabbit-eared dancer from the fur clan left as well. She worked in a tavern in Lower Riptide, where her daily routine involved performing and selling her body. Greed flourished among the wizards. They did not stop at the fur clan. They even laid their hands on the thick, burly women of the sea clan covered in scales. Levi located the slave black market and took advantage of the relatively safe period, while Wizard Will hunted demons. He descended into Lower Riptide. The lower level of the city felt chaotic. Although Riptide City employed a sheriff to maintain order, the official focused primarily on Upper Riptide, where the wealthy and noble figures resided. Middle Riptide offered a better environment, housing many second circle and even third circle wizards. Lower Riptide functioned as a dumping ground for first circle wizards, apprentice wizards without backgrounds or strength, and a mix of mortals. Levi arrived at the slave black market. Rumors claimed that a fourth circle big shot from Upper Riptide owned this establishment, which explained why no authority figure managed the site. In theory, the slave trade remained illegal due to its uncivilized nature, which damaged the image of wizard civilization in the multidimensional plane. In practice, the underground slave trade flourished throughout the wizard world. Inside the black market, slaves of all shapes and sizes lived in small iron cells. Most consisted of humans, though a few foreign races appeared in the lineup. A first circle wizard ran over, eager to serve. "Greetings, Lord. I am the owner of this establishment, the wizard Sada. What type of slave do you desire? Feel free to tell me." Second circle wizards were not rare in Riptide City. Sada had encountered many. A third circle wizard even operated within their black market, though that individual rarely showed a face. Still, Sada maintained his professionalism and remained enthusiastic even when facing a first circle wizard. Levi kept his voice neutral. "I am looking for slaves from the fur clan." Sada smiled, his eyes glinting. "The fur clan. I understand. Lord, please follow me." He led Levi to the basement level. Levi stepped into the lower chamber. Rows of transparent rooms lined the walls, each containing fur clan slaves. Beautiful, naked, curvaceous girls with cat or rabbit ears caught the eye, commanding the highest prices. Levi kept his gaze steady. He swept past the beautiful women and focused on the brawny men of the fur clan, huddled in the corner. He had come here to find a knight. Chapter 590. How is it, Lord? Is there anything satisfactory? The wizard asked with a smile. Are these all the fur clans? Levi asked. Yes, Lord. These fur clans are of high quality. Look at that rabbit-eared female rabbit. Her figure, her waist, her long legs, that. The wizard gestured vaguely at the display. I do not need good-looking fur clans. I need the kind that can guard the house and be my helper, Levi interrupted Sada. I see. That is the Tiger Skin clan, Fur Lion clan, and Black Panther clans. Sada pointed at the brawny men in the corner. The tallest tiger skin brawny man stood 4 meters tall and muscular. He stared at Levi with a numb expression. According to Sada, this tiger skin brawny man was the strongest fur clan in this slave black market. He was once the chief of a tiger skin tribe, and his strength compared to a first circle wizard. In other words, although this tiger skin clan expert cultivated no night breathing technique, he was born with strength comparable to a legendary knight. This was the advantage of their powerful physiques. From current research by wizards from the Life School of Thought, the ancestors of the fur clan consisted of various fur beasts. For some reason yet to be discovered, these beasts evolved toward humanoid creatures. In the end, they evolved into a rich variety of fur clans. No powerful beings existed in the fur clan. Before wizards colonized their homeland, they existed as vassals of another powerful civilization, performing manual labor. The females of the rabbit-eared, cat-eared, and fox-tailed clans were cute and beautiful. Those meeting the aesthetic standards of ordinary humanoid creatures became maids, prostitutes, and so on. This race lived in misery. Fortunately, fur clans proved easier to tame, so they survived without being destroyed. Do they speak the common language? Levi asked. Yes. Other than the Tiger Skin clan tribal chief, all these fur clans were born in the wizard world. Do not worry about this, Lord, Sada promised. Levi followed his intuition and chose 3 of the strongest fur clan experts, 1 from each of the 3 clans. The Tiger Skin clan excelled in strength, the Black Panther clan in speed, and the Fur Lion clan remained relatively average. Apart from the Tiger Skin clan, the Black Panthers and the Fur Lions matched top Grand Knights in strength. No strong masters existed in this race. It was already fortunate to have one comparable to a legendary knight. These 3 slaves cost Levi 1,000 Aether Stones in total. Only the Tigerskin clan chief, comparable to a first circle wizard, commanded a higher price. The other 2 were worth very little. Buying these foreign race slaves was merely for novelty. Otherwise, a slave lacking the strength of a legendary knight would be worth only a few Aether Stones. After the procedures finished and Levi handed over the money, 3 burly men in black robes followed him. These people would serve as Levi's personal guards. Many low-level wizards lacked skill in close combat. Nurturing personal guards was common practice. Before leaving, Levi allowed his gaze to sweep across the female fur clans. A snow-white, tall, fit, and well-proportioned white wolf clan girl caught Levi's attention. At first he missed it. Now, sensing it carefully, he found that this ordinary-looking white wolf girl possessed significant vitality. She carried the strength of a top-notch grand knight. The white wolf race strength was average, and the females were even weaker. It was rare for this white wolf girl to possess such strength. Ha! Lord has taken a fancy to this little wolf girl. If you want this, it will cost you 300 Aether Stones, Sada smiled. Levi nodded. Sada accepted the money and led the white wolf girl out. The white wolf girl did not say a word and stood silently behind Levi. These fur clan slaves were all tamed and obedient. They signed unequal contracts and became Levi's domestic slaves. He did not have to worry about them attacking their master. Let us go. If there are good things in the future, I mean good things, remember to keep them for me. I am from the Tower of Pharmacists. Levi waved and left the slave black market. All right, Sir Levi, Sada agreed quickly. If not for Levi, these male fur clans with average strength and ugly appearances would have sat there indefinitely. Keeping them in the black market every day wasted money. Having a big client like Levi made him happy. After returning home, Levi sat on the ground. In front of him, the 4 fur clans stood in silence, waiting for Levi's punishment. Do you have names? Levi asked. The tiger-skinned brawny man spoke. Master, my name is Tiga. Levi looked at the Mishi clan and Black Panther clan in the middle. The 2 of them shook their heads. I do not have a name. Master, I do not have a name either. Master, my name is Algerta. The last white wolf girl raised her hand and said. Sensing Levi's gaze, the white wolf girl lowered her head, not daring to look directly at Levi. Then you are Simba, right? You are Veda, all right. Levi named the 2 poor wretches in the middle, who lacked a name. All right, it is up to you, Master. Simba and Veda answered. Finally, Levi turned his gaze to Algerta. Why are you much stronger than ordinary white wolves? Levi asked. Chapter 591. Algerta lowered her head, her wolf ears drooping as she fidgeted with her fingers. She murmured that she did not know the reason, only that her strength had remained with her since childhood. Levi softened his expression. He assured her that he was merely a gentle pharmacist, not some wicked villain looking to torment her. He told her that he only sought help for his daily tasks. As long as they remained obedient, followed orders, and avoided trouble, they would find life here far more comfortable than the misery of the black market. The 4 fur clan members nodded frantically in unison, relief washing over their features. Levi gestured toward the spiraling stairs. He told them there was little to do today, and instructed them to familiarize themselves with the tower. He would remain on the 3rd floor, Algerta on the 2nd, and the 3 men would occupy the 1st. Once he settled them in, Levi collected blood samples from each of them before retreating to his bedroom. He produced the rolling crystal ball, eager to examine the bloodline composition of his new acquisitions. He began with the tigerkin, Tiga. The crystal glowed, revealing 27% unknown beast bloodline, 70% unknown humanoid bloodline, and 56% human bloodline. Levi observed the results. It appeared as he expected. The closest genetic link for the fur clan remained human or humanoid. The crystal ball indicated that even Lady Rolling had conducted minimal research on the fur clan. The results labeled every bloodline as unknown. Perhaps wizards deemed such a species unworthy of study. The fur clan possessed little utility beyond their natural physical prowess and combat techniques. Their physical potential remained exceptionally low, failing to measure up to the complexity of spells. The remaining slaves, Simba and Veda, possessed bloodlines similar to Tiga, containing traces of unknown beast lineage. Levi turned his attention to Algerta last. The display shifted, showing a familiar line of text. 10% Silver Frost Wolf bloodline. Levi froze. The Silver Frost Wolf. This was the primordial ancestor of the Frost Wolf breathing technique. He sat on the edge of his bed, deep in thought. The Frost Wolf breathing technique was of poor quality, perhaps 3rd-rate at best. Consequently, the inherent level of the Silver Frost Wolf likely remained quite low. Even if the wolf itself appeared, it would only be a mid-tier transcendent creature. This explained why, despite Algerta possessing 10% of this bloodline, she only displayed the strength of a top-tier Grand Knight. This paled in comparison to his own Golden Snake bloodline. Although his density sat at 10% as well, he operated as a Blood Knight, several tiers above a Grand Knight. This difference stemmed from the origin level of the breathing technique. Levi realized that if he had pursued the Frost Wolf path, he would have hit a ceiling. A bloodline user could never surpass the primordial ancestor at the end of that path. That was the fundamental limitation. His black snake breathing technique had been different. It broke its limits repeatedly, fusing with the mutated Golden Horn technique to create the Golden Snake. This new path shattered the limitations of the primordial ancestor. By continuously mutating, he could escape the framework they set. He would create his own path, evolving into an ultimate creature that surpassed them all. The next morning, Levi stirred from his meditation, his ears catching the sound of footsteps on the floor below. He descended to find Algerta tidying up discarded debris. Levi asked her what she was doing. Algerta gripped the broom, her voice small. She explained she was simply cleaning the house, assuming it was her duty. Levi laughed, though he felt a touch of pity. He told her there was no need. The wizard tower utilized a magic circle that reorganized itself automatically. Algerta looked distressed. She worried that without work, she would prove useless and end up back in the black market, exposed to the leering eyes of wretches all day. It was rare to find a master who showed no interest in her body. She understood she could not escape the fate of a slave, so she wanted to live as well as possible. Levi walked over to his storage chest and pulled out 2 scrolls. He handed her the inheritance for the Grey Destruction Cross/ and the Golden Cross/. He told her that he did not need a maid, but he did need protection. He asked if she would try her hand at these sword skills, given the Fur Clan's reputation for physical talent. Algerta stared at the scrolls, her eyes wide. She blinked, her wolf ears standing tall, and her furry tail wagged back and forth. She looked entirely incredulous. She asked if she truly possessed the right to learn the sword. Levi smiled. He reminded her how she expected to protect him without such skills. Algerta looked down at her hands. She explained that her previous master never allowed her to touch weapons. She took the longsword from Levi and performed a few fluid strikes on the spot, her movements betraying a hidden natural grace. Levi watched her, his eyes brightening. It seemed that the talent of the Fur Clan was indeed not bad. Chapter 592. In theory, every member of the Fur Clan possessed the natural genius required to cultivate the path of knights. Unfortunately, the Fur Clan lacked the night-breathing technique. Aside from a few individuals like Algerta, their bodies held no other bloodlines. Bloodlines proved to be a surmountable obstacle, however. Levi planned to return home after some time. He intended to travel to the lush forest witches to purchase complete inheritances from the life school of thought. He sought to research the technique of bloodline transplantation, a field already relatively developed within the life school of thought. The prerequisite for those wizards of bloodline modification was to imbue the body of the recipient with the bloodline of the organ donor. This process ensured compatibility between the transplanted organs and the body. For these wizards, the ability to fuse multiple bloodlines without conflict served as their true talent. A machinery heart remained an indecisive factor. The 100-beast berserk witch of boiling beast blood stood as a rare genius within the system of bloodline modification. His body fused with the bloodlines of hundreds of extraordinary creatures, transforming him into a transcendent being, and he remained alive and well. Levi personally taught Algerta several sword skills. Under his guidance, she picked up the techniques with remarkable speed. Within half a day, she mastered the basics of ripple force. I picked up a treasure. Levi smiled, pleasantly surprised by her progress. By the way, have you heard of the Silver Frost Wolf? Levi asked as he took out the inheritance diagram for the Frost Wolf breathing technique. Algerta stared at the majestic silver wolf depicted on the diagram. It emitted a powerful aura. She went rigid with shock, then collapsed to the ground with a dull thud. God of White Wolf. She whispered the name in awe. Levi studied the White Wolf girl, pondering her reaction. He asked if this was her White Wolf god. Yes, master. How do you possess the divine portrait of our White Wolf god? This is a sacred object existing only in our legends. According to the old legends, if the divine portrait appears, the god of White Wolf will return to the world after a long disappearance. He will lead the White Wolf clan out of the sea of suffering. Algerta spoke, her expression filled with excitement. Levi waved his hand, dismissing Algerta to practice her swordsmanship alone. He stood in silence, deep in thought. Interesting. The totem gods of tribes from other planes actually became the ancestral breathing technique inheritance diagram for a barren family in the human world. Whether people called it an inheritance diagram or a divine portrait mattered little. More importantly, the totem of the Fur Clan and the symbol of the Frost Wolf family appeared to be one and the same. Levi felt the first glimmer of understanding regarding the truth behind the origins of the knights. Since the Frost Wolf family could cultivate the Frost Wolf breathing technique, they possessed the Silver Frost Wolf bloodline within their bodies, which was the bloodline of the White Wolf god. Even though these bloodlines grew extremely thin after the passage of time, as long as the concentration remained above 0, one could cultivate the breathing technique. The speed of cultivation merely differed. Previously, Levi believed knights were the product of bloodline experiments conducted by wizards. However, after arriving in the wizard world, he discovered that while wizards mastered the technique of bloodline transplantation, they also utilized bloodline modification wizards. Yet, these techniques differed from the bloodline of the knights. The first knights appeared long ago. At the dawn of wizard civilization, knights already walked the human world. At present, Levi held 2 theories regarding the birth of the knights. The first possibility suggested that the knights were the creations of the 7 gods. This appeared in the various creation legends left behind by the 7 gods. For example, in the 7 Knights of the Sky, the knights were created from the remains of the saints. These legends contained truth and falsehoods. They could not be believed entirely, but they served as a reference. It was possible that the gods sought out powerful beings from the multidimensional planes and passed their bloodlines to human ancestors in ancient times. The earliest knights were born to manage the human world and maintain the order of the church. The second possibility dated back to a time so ancient that the wizard civilization had not yet been born. Many planes in this universe experienced an unprecedented plane convergence. Countless planes overlapped, causing many powerful creatures from the multidimensional planes to leave their bloodlines within the human body for various reasons. Some of the wisest humans expended great effort to develop this bloodline, creating the so-called knight's breathing technique. They relied on the bloodline to learn the breathing technique, and then used the breathing technique to purify the bloodline, forming a virtuous cycle. These remained merely guesses for Levi. If he wanted to know the true origins of the knights, he needed to explore them step by step. He gathered his thoughts and summoned the other three brothers. Levi held 2 scrolls toward them. I have 2 human sword skills here. One is the golden cross slash, and the other is the grey destruction cross slash. Take them and cultivate them. If you can master them within half a month, I will reward you. They bowed, thanking him in unison. Levi had prepared 4 mithril longswords for the 4 members of the Fur clan, providing each with a weapon suitable for their use. He assigned them to manage miscellaneous tasks in the wizard tower. After completing their work, they practiced their swords. Levi devoted himself to making medicine and cultivating. The lion, tiger, and leopard brothers began to learn the 2 sword skills one after another over the following week. This realization dealt a significant blow to Levi. He considered himself a genius in the way of the sword. Years ago, it took him 3 days to master the golden cross slash alone. Yet, these 3 seemingly ordinary Fur clan brothers mastered 2 legendary sword skills within a week. Chapter 593. It was a pity that in this era, physical techniques were declining and spells were flourishing. Be it the knights or the Fur clan, they had no chance to stand at the center of the stage. After directing his new guards, Levi left them to their own devices. His merit points crept closer to 100,000. He needed to accelerate his efforts to reach that total. He intended to purchase the Greenfield Immortal House before demand drove the price up. Once he secured the house, Levi planned to return home, bringing those transcendent creatures to Riptide City. Having them close would provide mutual support and make his practice of the night breathing technique far more convenient. Most importantly, his supply of secret medicine had vanished, halting his progress in the night breathing technique. He could not repeatedly take leave to return to Area 9. Such trips wasted his time and risked annoying Huffman. Unless an emergency arose, he would not return to Area 9 for a long time. Meanwhile, inside mansion number 81 next door, the thousand-faced knight returned from his demon hunting mission and fell into deep thought. Damn it, he cursed silently. If he did not kill Levi now, the man would become the leader of the demon hunters. That result offered some benefits, as the thousand-faced knight had already exchanged his earned merit points for a precious third circle spell. The greater problem remained. He was an assassin. He had walked that path his entire life, and abandoning the profession felt nearly impossible. Dark elves were born to hunt in the shadows. The thousand-faced knight sensed that Levi had discovered something. He could not delay any longer. Rex, located in Upper Riptide, continued to urge him toward action. If the thousand-faced knight did not strike soon, Huffman would amass a massive fortune. Every day Levi lived, Huffman grew richer. The thousand-faced knight resolved to approach Levi soon. Should Levi continue to decline the invitation to hunt demons, the assassin would initiate his riskier second plan. He would strike inside the city. Provided Levi strayed from the protective reach of the Tower of Pharmacists, the assassin would kill him without hesitation, then flee. This plan carried risks, which left the thousand-faced knight reluctant at first. He preferred a well-planned, foolproof hunt. Time passed. It was the month of beginning. In the year 1046 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, Levi returned to his residence from Huffman's laboratory, humming to himself. His merit points had officially surpassed the 100,000 mark. I can exchange for the Greenfield Immortal House now, he whispered. Levi rose to his feet and headed toward the Tower of Merit. A knock echoed at his door, and Algerta stepped forward to open it. Wizard Will stood on the other side. He glanced at the white wolf girl and blinked. He had not expected Levi to harbor such tastes. Sir Levi, as far as I know, that horned demon suffered injuries from a demon hunting wizard some time ago, Will said. It is the perfect time for us to work together and eliminate the creature. That is great, Sir Will. We will leave tomorrow, Levi replied. This time, he did not refuse. Currently, Levi's spiritual force stood at 60 points, and his spell power had climbed to 1,800. He sat only 10 points away from becoming a second circle senior wizard. His 5 fireballs technique had reached the limit of level 7. His King Kong rock body and Earth Spirit Shield had also maxed out. His power felt unprecedented. Combined with his level 13 golden snake, the strength granted by the first transformation of the Blood Knight realm should suffice to handle the enemy who had targeted him. Living under the constant scrutiny of an enemy kept him uneasy. Since the situation had come to this, he would seize the opportunity to eliminate the hidden danger and test his strength as a Blood Knight. The thousand-faced knight, who had originally planned to kill Levi within the city, felt a surge of secret delight. You are no match for me in terms of patience, kid. This city is not bad, but it imposes too many restrictions. It does not suit me. After I kill you, I can leave here without regrets. Wizard Will turned and walked away. Levi watched the man walk away. He smiled, though his heart burned with killing intent. Levi immediately set off for the Tower of Merit. The Greenfield Immortal House remained on the exchange list. This wizard tool served only to store items and offered no boost to one's combat strength. Aside from Levi, no one else would squander so many merit points to acquire it. Even ordinary second circle or third circle wizards would take a long time to accumulate 100,000 merit points. Other wizards prioritized spells or cultivation resources. Levi looked at the merit points he had painstakingly saved for years, watching the total vanish in a single transaction. He felt no heartache. Instead, he felt a surge of accomplishment, as if he had finally bought a home with all his savings. People who grow flowers are born to work for the house, Levi sighed. He returned to the wizard tower clutching the Greenfield Immortal House. The Greenfield Immortal House appeared as an emerald green, storage bag-style spatial tool. Levi chanted an incantation. The opening of the bug house expanded until it resembled a spatial rift. Through the crack, Levi glimpsed the interior. It matched the description perfectly. It is all right. It is good that there is no public stall. It is as flat as the description claimed. It is fair. The Greenfield Immortal House was not large. It contained a forest, a small lake, and a grassland. To a certain extent, he could plant herbs inside. However, the elemental power felt thin and ill-suited for growth. Levi grabbed a random animal and tossed it inside. The creature remained alive and kicking. After confirming that the space posed no threat, Levi called Skin and the others out of the small bug house. Chapter 594. Come, it is time for a new home. Levi opened the gate to the space. The Saint Scorpions and the red-faced sea ghost spiders entered their new sanctuary. The Saint Scorpions settled into the forest, while the red-faced sea ghost spiders, preferring the damp, gathered by the lake. You guys stay at home and cultivate well. I will be out for a few days and will be back soon. Tiga, look after the house. Levi issued his orders. Yes, master. As the strongest member of the group, Tiga possessed the most authority. He handled tasks with a calm, steady hand, which put Levi at ease. Levi requested one final month of leave from Huffman. He intended to head out with Wizard Will to hunt demons. After dealing with Will, he would make a trip back to Area 9. The demonic aura outside the Hundred-Eyed Demon territory had thinned since his last visit. The Hundred-Eyed Demon King had entered the Abyss Well, which the Grand Wizard guarded. Legendary wizards prepared a spell to destroy the well. Levi stepped off the airship, his senses tuned to the environment. He kept his guard up as Wizard Will approached with a smile. Will's hostility grew beneath the surface. Will enthusiastically described the things to note when hunting horned demons. He spoke of a wounded horned demon he had supposedly tracked. After the two of them left the stronghold, Will stopped in the center of the outer area of the Hundred-Eyed Demon territory. What is wrong? Are the horned demons here? Levi asked. Will shook his head and smiled. There were some, however. I already killed them. A pitch-black horn appeared in his hand, emitting traces of demonic aura. The aura indicated this horned demon was a level 3 demon, a creature comparable to a third circle wizard in life. The horn of a level 3 horned demon was an extremely precious resource. Once purified, it served to refine potions above the third circle. The horn itself acted as a potent component for a third circle wizard tool. It held endless uses. Although many demons populated the Hundred-Eyed Demon territory, few were true abyss demons. If they were common, the eye demons and the horned demons would not be so rare. What do you mean? Sir Will, what do you mean? Didn't you say that we would hunt together? Since you have already killed it, why did you bother calling me out? Levi acted out his confusion. Spider sensing flared with sudden, sharp danger. A black shadow appeared behind Levi. The figure held a short dagger, driving it through the air toward Levi's back. Die. The thousand-faced knight sneered. He had utilized his second ring spell, Shadow Clone, to hide in Levi's shadow. This was the most difficult second ring spell of the Shadow School of Thought. Upon mastering it, one could manifest a powerful shadow clone. The clone could hide unknowingly in the shadow of an enemy, waiting for the moment to launch an attack. Levi had no awareness of when his shadow had been compromised. Shadow School of Thought spells were tricky and unpredictable. Moreover, the thousand-faced knight was a descendant of the Dark Elves, so his understanding of shadow magic differed from the average practitioner. The power of this spell in his hands was astonishing. He had ambushed a target under the third circle. If Levi did not die, he would suffer a heavy injury. Crack. The sound of snapping metal rang out. The thousand-faced knight stared. Levi remained safe and sound. The shadow clone's dagger had stabbed into Levi's back, as if striking pure luminant gold armor tempered for thousands of years. The indestructible dagger pierced through the defensive field of Levi's second circle Earth Spirit Shield, but it failed to break a single layer of Levi's scales. The dagger shattered from the backlash. Levi's golden hand closed around the arm of the shadow clone. He pulled it from the shadow behind him. Red Lotus Hellfire burned the shadow clone into nothingness. The thousand-faced knight watched his construct vanish. He frowned in surprise. You are not a second circle wizard. Levi answered with the Berserk 5 Fireballs technique. With the special effects of the Underground Fire Dominator and his heightened fire element affinity, the 5 fireballs swept out with terrifying power. Boom. Flames soared into the sky. The 3-circle defensive field around the thousand-faced knight flickered and blocked the attack. Interesting. You discovered my identity long ago, which explains your caution. Sir Levi, you have hidden yourself well. The thousand-faced knight remained composed. Although his attack had missed, the situation remained under his control. His 3-circle defensive field and innate spells rendered him invincible. Levi's seemingly terrifying second ring spell could not even shatter his defensive field. This was the difference between an intermediate wizard and a low-level wizard, akin to the gap between an adult and a child. Levi was special for defending against the second circle shadow clone, but victory against a third circle wizard remained impossible. The assassin prepared to spend more time hunting his prey. Shadow burst. The thousand-faced knight activated an innate spell. Black blades shot out. Countless sharp blades tore through the air like raindrops hitting banana leaves. The thousand-faced knight relied on his speed advantage to continuously attack Levi with innate spells. Levi's defensive field reached full activation. Ash wrapped around him and golden scales hardened over his skin. He stood like a golden god of war. Chapter 595. Some of the black blades struck the scales and skittered away, while others punched deep, bloody holes into Levi's body. His flesh knitted together instantly, the wounds closing before the blood could even pool. The thousand-faced knight stared, his eyes widening. What a powerful physique. This was not as simple as a legendary knight, a body refinement bloodline modification wizard. It does not look like one. The thousand-faced knight had never encountered an enemy like Levi. Levi summoned the great black sky curtain, wrapping it around himself to block the remaining barrage of black blades. The curtain provided a momentary respite. A third circle innate spell proved too powerful to ignore. The black blades seemed endless, and even with his current level 13 golden snake scales, Levi could not defend against all of them. Bloody holes pockmarked his body, but the death amber breathing technique fueled his recovery. He healed instantly. Any other second circle wizard would have died moments ago. The thousand-faced knight stood his ground, his composure unshaken. Very good. I am getting more and more interested in you. It seems that you have broken through the shackles of legend. If you can give me the method to break through the legend shackles, I can give you a quick death. Oh right, I forgot to introduce myself. I am nameless. My title in the human world is the thousand-faced knight. Levi offered no reply. He waited for the next strike and swung the great black sky curtain toward his opponent like a whip. The thousand-faced knight dodged, his brow furrowed in uncertainty. How was this man a second circle wizard? He possessed one trump card after another. It was all Rex's fault. The thousand-faced knight cursed silently. He would demand more payment from Rex when he returned. As the thousand-faced knight evaded the curtain, his form blurred and vanished. Shadow walk. He slipped into the shadows, disappearing from view. Levi did not panic. He ceased his assault and stilled his breathing. He entered a state of pure intuition, closing his eyes to focus. His enemy had hidden in the shadows, but Levi knew he could not truly vanish. Levi's 5 senses strained against the air. A sharp blade, condensed from shadow magic, manifested in the void to Levi's right. Levi anticipated the strike and pivoted to dodge. The thousand-faced knight's voice echoed from the empty air. Your perception is not bad. The assassin retreated into the shadows once more. He reappeared directly above Levi. Levi ripped the ice finger scroll open without hesitation. As the shadow blade descended, the third circle ice magic drilled upward into the darkness. A hiss erupted from the air. The thousand-faced knight roared in pain. He had not expected Levi to possess a third circle spell scroll. The ice finger spell knocked him from his shadow walk state. He stumbled into view, clutching a bloody hole in his chest. Frost encased the wound. The ice prevented his healing potion from taking effect. The ice finger struck true. The spell possessed not only power, but the ability to freeze wounds, halting the self-healing abilities of those with strong physiques. It mimicked the properties of Levi's death ember breathing technique. The thousand-faced knight's face turned pale. He forced himself to remain calm. It was impossible for Levi to have another third circle scroll. If he possessed that many, he would have used them all at once to blast his enemy to pieces. Levi was fighting with his life on the line, because he had no other options. The thousand-faced knight decided that Levi's next attack would fail to breach his third circle defensive field. Die. The thousand-faced knight lunged forward. Levi knew the window to turn the tide had opened. Tyrant, Skin, and the living dead materialized around the battlefield. They were weak, but they formed a circle around the knight, creating just enough disruption. Levi's blood beast erupted, and his speed soared. Blood wings unfurled from his back, and he unleashed the Grey Destruction Cross Slash. A storm of sword energy tore through the air. Black gas swirled behind the thousand-faced knight, coalescing into an evil spirit. A giant, 3-headed snake coiled behind him, its sinister eyes fixed on Levi. The body of the beast stretched as long as Horman, shielding the knight from the storm of sword aura. 3-headed demonic snake, demonic god of blood fear. The magic snake whipped and danced. The thousand-faced knight activated his defensive field, riding the serpent into the fray. You are very strong, but it is a pity that the battle ends here. I will let you witness my most powerful killing move, one that I rarely use. The snake charged, carrying the full weight of the knight's magic. Demonic god of blood fear, a technique created by a fallen genius of the dark elves. The knight activated the bloodline power within his body, guided by his spiritual energy, to condense the bloodline demon god. He had practiced this technique since youth, refining it into the Black Devil Blade. He had passed a weakened version to subordinates and traded it to the Black Knight. Through the pale shadow, Levi had obtained that simplified version. What the thousand-faced knight did not know was that Levi had practiced the technique until he far surpassed the original creator. The black gas swirling around the snake was actually the embryonic form of true bloodline power. What a coincidence. I know this technique of yours too. Levi chuckled. He drew a deep breath. Bloodline power surged from his spine. Bloodline Dharma body. 9 swords azura. Golden light erupted, piercing the sky as red silk whipped in the wind. 3 heads and 6 arms materialized, wielding 9 swords. The bloodline Dharma body descended. The thousand-faced knight looked at Levi, his eyes widening. He saw a form purer and stronger than his own. How is that possible? What I sent out was only a castrated version of the Black Devil Blade. Apart from the fallen genius of the Dark Elves, no one should possess the ability to deduce such a complex secret technique of merging soul and body. Sea-swallowing whale, giant whale descending, red lotus hellfire, dragon body. Strength runes flickered across Levi's monstrous form. The 9 swords azura behind him slashed downward with the 9 golden swords. The 3-headed demon snake twisted, sucked into a vortex, and disintegrated. The attack slammed into the thousand-faced knight's third circle defensive field. Crack, crack. The field distorted and warped under the assault. The violent energy tore through the remaining defensive spells. Levi pressed the attack, ignoring the spells striking his own body. His golden scales shattered, and his flesh became a bloody ruin. He lunged forward and tackled the thousand-faced knight. The golden horn aligned with the head protected by the third circle force field. Annihilation beam. A golden flash streaked across the battlefield. Levi held the headless body of the thousand-faced knight in his arms. He stood still, overcome by mixed feelings. This was the first legendary knight he had ever killed. He hoped it would be the last. Chapter 596. Levi did not want to kill a legendary knight if he could avoid it. Legendary knights remained extremely rare in this era. They scattered themselves across the wizard world, or the human world. He had always believed that a weak group like legendary knights should stick together for warmth. However, the thousand-faced knight had to die. The man possessed a strange personality and defied friendship. Moreover, he was a powerful assassin with a clear intent to harm Levi. Keeping such a man near would only invite disaster. Death was the only prudent option. Levi found a quiet place to rest. His injuries began to knit together. After replenishing his potions and food, his stamina returned. The power of the Annihilation Horn remains terrifying. It shattered the third circle defensive field in an instant. Levi replayed the memory of the final strike. The Annihilation Beam had destroyed the thousand-faced knight's head completely. With his current defense, he could barely withstand the attacks of a third circle wizard. At the very least, his powerful physique would prevent him from being killed instantly. However, his spells lacked the necessary punch. He had no choice in the matter. He was only an ordinary second circle wizard, and the gap between him and a third circle wizard remained too great. His speed also lagged behind a third circle wizard. He needed to cultivate the blood beast breathing technique to level 13 as soon as possible. Levi summarized the gains from this battle. He now possessed the power to contend with a third circle wizard. Of course, while the thousand-faced knight was a dangerous assassin, his strength in a head-on battle only hovered at the level of a beginner third circle wizard. Huffman was still far superior to him. Levi turned his attention to the spoils of war. The horned demon horn alone justified the risk. He pried open the storage bag. A sea of Aether Stones glimmered in the dim light. Levi drew a sharp breath. There were so many. He tallied the hoard. 80,000 Aether Stones. A man this wealthy chose the life of an assassin. Third circle wizards possessed strange motivations. Levi had worked hard on various side jobs, killing enemies and snatching treasures. Even with his frugality, he had only saved up 70,000 Aether Stones. This thousand-faced knight had carried 80,000 Aether Stones on his person. Levi's own reserves swelled to 150,000. He was wealthy. He was truly wealthy. Beyond the Aether Stones, the thousand-faced knight had stored many valuable items. A horned demon horn held immense value, especially for a pharmacist like Levi. Then there were the spellbooks and spell crystal balls. Spellbooks contained low-level spell inheritance, usually recording cantrips, first-ring spells, and second-ring spell models. Once a wizard reached the third circle, the spell models became too complicated and multidimensional for simple spell books to record. A single third circle spell crystal ball cost 30,000 merit points at the Tower of Merit. The price was exorbitant. Levi pulled 4 crystal balls from the satchel. The thousand-faced knight had mastered only 4 third circle spells. He remained far from becoming a third circle senior wizard. These 4 third circle spells were Shadow Explosion, Shadow Walk, Shadow Stream Shield, and Shadow Demon Descent. Levi had witnessed the thousand-faced knight use Shadow Explosion and Shadow Walk. The Black Shadow Explosion had functioned as an innate spell, offering fierce, lingering attacks that had caused Levi significant trouble. Shadow Walk allowed the user to escape into the shadows, a divine skill for assassination and stealth. Shadow Stream Shield provided average defense. Shadow Stream spells lacked strong defensive capabilities, as the school specialized in stealth and instant kills. The thousand-faced knight had been forced to use this as his defensive field. Levi operated differently. He combined the strengths of many schools to create the strongest offensive and defensive combination spell. The last spell was Shadow Demon Descent, which summoned a shadow demon comparable to a third circle wizard to attack the enemy. The thousand-faced knight had just exchanged this spell from the Tower of Merit, but he had yet to construct the spell model. Beyond the third circle spells, the bag contained many second-ring spells. Levi found no value in learning them. He possessed no talent for the shadow faction, and had no intention of cultivating these spells. He did not want to be an assassin, nor did he enjoy the arts of stealth. To him, victory should be absolute. If he could not win, he would hide and avoid trouble, rather than risk assassination. He might consider learning Shadow Walk after fusing the 4 meditation arts of earth, fire, wind, and water. It could serve as a useful survival skill. The rest consisted of casting materials and the shadow meditation art. A third circle wizard tool shaped like a short dagger lay at the bottom of the bag. This thing is only for the weak, Levi muttered. The third circle wizard tool dagger lay damaged, seemingly broken long ago. The thousand-faced knight had evidently refused to use it. He had not bought a new third circle wizard tool either, preferring to hoard 80,000 Aether Stones. Levi could not fathom the man's reasoning. Now that he was dead, these Aether Stones benefited Levi instead. Levi came to a realization. With this influx of wealth, he needed to accelerate his growth and increase his combat strength in the future. Chapter 597. Saving Aether Stones for the mini Meow Meow house had once been a priority, as he could not bear to spend them. Now, with the Greenfield Immortal House in his possession, that residence served his needs for the foreseeable future. The mini Meow Meow house became dispensable. Although the Greenfield Immortal House felt a little crowded, it remained habitable. He would let these transcendent creatures squeeze in to make do. In a previous existence, a rental room and a living space of a few dozen square meters had brought him satisfaction. These creatures possessed far more luxury in the Greenfield Immortal House than he had ever known. Why would they require the mini Meow Meow house? The damaged third circle wizard tool had lost its appraisal value. Levi planned to find a black market and secretly dispose of it in exchange for coin. A thick parchment book lay among the junk in the storage bag. The paper had yellowed with age. The thousand-faced knight's murder diary. Who in their right mind writes a diary, especially a murder diary? His mind remained dark and perverted. If only he could have been bright and cheerful, perhaps kindness might have steered him toward a better end. He flipped open the pages. The entries detailed the trivial memories of the thousand-faced knight. Curiosity about the legendary knight pushed him to finish the diary. Putting aside the useless content, useful information surfaced. First, the thousand-faced knight was actually a half-elf, specifically the rarest dark elf among the elven kin. This revelation surprised him. No wonder the Black Knight had claimed the thousand-faced knight was no simple opponent. Moreover, the thousand-faced knight seemed to weave through the history of the kingdom, leaving behind nameless legends. This proved to be another longevity species, one that did not regard time as precious, much like the Blood Knight. Unfortunately, longevity without powerful protection was a curse. Not only did he fail to cherish his lifespan, but he also entered the high-risk business of assassination. Upon meeting Levi, he had failed miserably. Had Levi possessed the lifespan of a longevity species, he would have hidden in a remote corner until the end of time, cultivating until he became the strongest in the world. Being a high-risk professional assassin was simply stupid. The second piece of useful information concerned the Black Devil Blade secret technique. This secret technique originated from an expert of the Dark Elf clan, a true genius. Unfortunately, in the war between the Wizard civilization and the Pandora civilization, this genius had died at the hands of the wizards. Dark elves were few in number. Their individual strength surpassed that of the green and blue elves. One reason for this disparity was that many dark elves had mastered the Black Devil Blade secret technique. The true name of this secret technique was Blood Fear Demon God. The goal was to unify spirit and body, stimulate bloodline power, and condense spiritual force into the bloodline Dharma body. The appearance of this Blood Fear Demon God fandom varied. In the hearts of 1,000 people, there existed 1,000 Blood Fear Demon gods. The diary of the thousand-faced knight contained no detailed record of the secret technique of the Blood Fear Demon God. Presumably, it functioned similarly to a bloodline memory inheritance. That mattered little. Levi possessed the proficiency panel and could continuously deduce the technique on his own. In addition, the Dark Elf race generally believed in the unknown god, the Shadow Lord. This desire to spread that faith served as one of the original intentions for the thousand-faced knight to create the Bird of Death's voice. Through the Bird of Death's voice, he indirectly achieved the goal of spreading the faith of the Shadow Lord. This organization possessed true persistence. During his time in the human world, they had secretly killed him 3 times. He had not expected the trend to continue in the wizard world. Even the founder of the organization had come to assassinate him. Now, everything made sense. A heavy sigh escaped his chest. The next day, Levi boarded the wizard airship for the journey home. The airship carried fewer wizards home this year. 3 months ago, news had reached him that the wind-chasing arrow Canker had died in a demon-hunting mission. A sigh escaped Levi. He had met the man only once and lacked any real familiarity. However, as fellow villagers traveling to Riptide City together, one moment he was a living person, and the next, a dead soul of the underworld. It felt like a tragedy. Memories surfaced. During the last trip home, Canker had stared intently at a photograph of his wife. Life and death remained unpredictable, and so did the path of the wizard. The horror and cruelty of war hung heavy in the air. To avoid being affected by any calamity, only one path existed. He must become supreme and powerful. This trip back to his hometown went smoothly. No dark wizards attempted to rob him. The combined forces of Riptide City were not something ordinary wizard organizations could challenge. Typical dark wizard organizations lacked the courage to attack a military wizard airship. Before long, Levi arrived at Base Island. He rushed to Blackfire Island without stopping. At the same time, on Blackfire Island, A second circle wizard led a first circle wizard toward the shore. Lord, this is the place I discovered by accident. It seems to be the ruins of a modern wizard. It should be the cave abode of a fallen wizard, Wizard Joann said. He was a first circle wizard from the ocean faction. His secondary profession was special. He was a ruin hunter wizard. Ruin hunters were wizards who specialized in searching for ruins and treasures in the wizard world. These ruins could be ancient, modern, or simply uninhabited wizard cave abodes, or even tombs. Joann had mastered a secret technique that could determine if ruins existed in a location by perceiving the fluctuations and chaos of magnetism and elemental power in the area. It functioned similarly to the dragon-seeking acupuncture technique of a tomb raider. Chapter 598. A ruin hunter wizard with poor social awareness functioned much like a tomb raider within the wizard world. Joann wandered past the island Levi called Blackfire Island. He employed various concealment spells and his knowledge of arrays to creep toward the shore. He scrutinized the land and realized faint traces of magical arrays crisscrossed the area. A hidden world existed beneath those barriers. After waiting for a time, he felt certain he had stumbled upon an abandoned wizard cave abode. He sensed the potent aura of various transcendent creatures within, yet the distinct signature of a wizard remained absent. Those creatures possessed formidable strength. His current abilities as a first circle wizard left him ill-equipped to confront them. He retreated to seek assistance. He summoned his superior, a second circle wizard known as Heart-Burning Fire Coulomb. With a wizard of the second circle, breaking the array and defeating the creature inside should prove simple. Coulomb had only recently advanced to the second circle. He held the title of number 1 in Area 9 and currently rode a wave of high spirits. Several years prior, his teacher, Phelps, had achieved the impossible. Phelps advanced to the third circle, a feat as rare as a phoenix feather in Area 9. He established his own sect, declared himself king, and adopted the title of Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard. His teacher remained an anomaly among the nomadic wizards of Area 9. At 250 years old, Phelps possessed the talent of the Children of Chaos. He achieved the second circle at an age where most believed advancement impossible. This achievement broke the records of Area 9 for the past 1,000 years. People considered him the oldest individual to achieve such a milestone. Breaking through late in life usually indicated average talent. Most observers believed Phelps would never ascend to the third circle in his lifetime. Coulomb shared this assessment. 50 years ago, however, his teacher collaborated with Joann to uncover ancient ruins. The elder wizard refused to accept defeat and ventured into those ruins in search of a path to the third circle. He vanished without a trace for half a century. Coulomb had long since assumed his cheap teacher perished within those depths. Unexpectedly, the man returned a few years ago. Having spent those 50 years in isolation, he had leaped from a second circle ordinary wizard to the third circle realm. Everyone knew that with Phelps's talent, reaching the second circle at 250 was his ceiling. Advancing to the third circle seemed entirely impossible for someone with a lifespan limited to 300 years. Coulomb never learned what trials his teacher faced within those ruins. Regardless, the man had broken through. Over the last 2 years in Area 9, the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard had stolen the spotlight. Even Morpheus of Whale Song Island hesitated to provoke him. The Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard rallied scattered wandering wizards displaced by the war. In 2 short years, his organization grew rapidly under the name Tower of Dreams. Area 9 now rested upon a 3-way structure consisting of Whale Song Island, the Tower of Dreams, and the Tower of Ocean Currents. Whale Song Island represented the Dark Wizard Camp, while the Tower of Ocean Currents stood for the Righteous Wizards. They fought fiercely, leaving the Tower of Dreams to occupy a neutral position. As a member of a third circle wizard organization, even Coulomb's breathing grew heavy. He fixed his gaze on the island ahead. I will challenge the array myself, Coulomb declared. Boss Coulomb, what shall I do? Joann asked. You are in charge of waving the flag and shouting orders, Coulomb replied with the air of a powerful, confident man. Very well, boss, please be careful. A second circle transcendent creature likely dwells inside, Joann warned. Coulomb stood straight, his hands tucked behind his back, imitating an otherworldly expert. He began to chant and cast his spell. He raised his palm high, manifesting 5 massive fireballs that radiated terrifying heat. There is nothing the 5 fireball technique cannot destroy. If something remains, I shall use it again, Coulomb announced, wearing the knowing smile of a master. Is this the true power of a second ring spell? Joann wondered, his heart heavy with longing. He possessed the talent to search for ruins, but lacked the strength to explore them. He always relied on the powerful, acting as a mere tool, to earn a sip of the soup after the experts finished their plunder. The 5 fireball technique struck the defensive array Levi had established. Ripples distorted the air. Levi's array only functioned as a first circle defense. It could hardly withstand a second ring spell like the 5 fireball technique. The array fluctuated violently within moments. Coulomb cast another 5 fireball technique. The outer layer of the defensive array shattered completely. This revealed the fog array hidden beneath. This maze array stood as the strongest first circle protection Levi had crafted. It scrambled directions and blocked perception. This array covered a vast area. Unless one possessed the strength of a third circle wizard, breaking it by force remained impossible. They needed to locate the array core to destroy it. Chapter 599. Coulomb dismissed the display with a snort, calling them petty tricks. He raised a holy grail that appeared to be made of gold. The object emitted a gentle light that protected him. This was a second circle wizard tool, a Golden Holy Grail. It was the second circle wizard tool he had purchased from the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard, a purchase that had nearly emptied his wealth. Still, it served its purpose, creating a powerful second circle defensive field. Legend claimed the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard had also obtained this item from ancient ruins. Beyond the wizard tool, the second circle defensive field flared to life. Coulomb stepped into the maze array, prepared to force his way through. An array of this level posed no challenge to him. Upon entering, Coulomb realized he had stepped into one of the most dangerous forbidden areas in Area 9. A behemoth lay lazily in a corner of the maze, eyes fixed on the intruder who had just barged in. Gustav rested there, positioned by Levi at the eye of the array, where he could monitor every sector of the maze. Coulomb, lost within the twisting paths, failed to see the beast. Gustav stood slowly. During his time on Blackfire Island, the beast had already swallowed countless uninvited guests who had wandered in unintentionally. Coulomb was not the first, and he likely would not be the last. With Gustav guarding the perimeter, Blackfire Island had become one of the most terrifying locations in Area 9. Outside Blackfire Island, Joann waited for Coulomb. He possessed enough knowledge of arrays to understand the setup. Although the individual levels of these arrays were not high, the owner had cleverly combined first circle and even zero circle arrays together. Bewildering, defensive, and lethal arrays were layered in a perfectly coordinated sequence. Even a first circle array arranged in this manner was enough to make ordinary second circle wizards suffer. Joann had originally intended to help his employer, but since Coulomb insisted on tackling the challenge alone, he waited patiently for the inevitable success. 15 minutes ticked by, then 30. Still, no news emerged from the maze. Just as Joann prepared to investigate the situation, a disheveled figure flew out of the maze. The defensive field on Coulomb dimmed, and a crack marred the surface of the Golden Holy Grail wizard tool. Coulomb fled frantically, hurling insults at the air. He cursed the old man who sold him an inferior, second circle defensive wizard tool, claiming it was nearly bitten to pieces by a giant crocodile. Blood covered his wounds, and a leg bone snapped with an audible pop. He consumed some healing medicine, stopping the flow of blood, but he knew that without the spells of the life school of thought to heal him in time, he would likely remain a cripple. Joann witnessed the disaster and began to retreat. He asked what had gone wrong. Coulomb spat in anger, blaming his subordinate for the outcome. He growled that the second circle creature inside was far too powerful to be a match for him. He demanded to know why Joann had not warned him sooner. Joann spoke with an aggrieved tone, reminding his boss that he had tried to offer a warning. Coulomb cut him off, promising to settle the score upon their return. Gustav followed close behind. The sea dragon crocodile, a creature that could overturn rivers and seas, moved with aggression. Only a second circle senior wizard could stand against such a sea beast. Coulomb lacked the strength to fight it. As they sprinted away, they realized the creature had ceased its pursuit, watching them with eyes that dismissed them as pitiful worms. Concern for their lives shifted as they noticed a figure in the sky ahead. A second circle wizard in robes hovered, watching them with a calm expression. Levi raised a hand and ordered them to stop, leaving no room for argument. Coulomb, fueled by panic and the desire to escape, ignored the stranger and threw a 5-fireball technique at him. He had no time to argue. He only wanted to flee and report the location of this island to the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizards so the stronghold could be razed to the ground. The 5 fireballs smashed into the second circle defensive field of the stranger. The field trembled for a moment but refused to shatter. Coulomb's spell execution lacked precision, resulting in average power. Levi's second circle Earth Spirit Shield was already at its maximum capacity. Supported by the underground Fire Dominator, it held a formidable second circle defense. Normally, only a rare few second or third circle spells could breach that barrier. Coulomb recognized the raw power of the second circle wizard standing before him. They were both ordinary second circle wizards, but the spells of his opponent possessed far greater intensity. Moreover, the mental strength of the stranger exceeded his own by a wide margin. He had not quite reached the level of a second circle senior wizard, but he was close. A great black sky curtain unfurled from the back of the stranger, transforming into a black demon dragon that danced wildly. It wrapped around the weakened Coulomb and dragged him toward his captor. Joann, poised to flee, froze at the authoritative command to stay. Joann swallowed hard and stood obediently where he was, waiting for his punishment. Levi stood immovable as a mountain, having subdued the boss with ease. Joann concluded that only the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard could accomplish such a feat in the maze tower. This stranger was an old monster cultivating in seclusion within the sea. He could not be defeated. He knew he had hit a brick wall, and he feared he would suffer for the rest of his life. Coulomb struggled against the magical binds, his voice trembling as he demanded to know the identity of his captor. He declared himself the heart-burning fire wizard and invoked the name of his teacher, the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard. He shouted, asking if second circle wizards these days had no respect for those serving under a third circle master. Chapter 600. Coulomb felt a surge of panic, yet the thought of his teacher backing him up made him bold. He wondered if this stranger understood the true might of a third circle wizard. The great black sky curtain wrapped around him tightly. Coulomb felt his breath hitch in his chest. Levi's powerful aura pressed down upon him, creating the sensation of falling into a living hell. Levi sneered as he loomed over his captive. "Why did you trespass on my island? You know the consequences of entering a wizard's territory, right? I can kill you at will without facing legal consequences." Behind him, Gustav emerged from the crest of the waves. Levi glided through the air and landed gently on the creature's head. The sight forced a sudden realization upon Coulomb. He had provoked someone far beyond his station. This must be a genius second circle wizard from a high-level organization out on a training journey. Only someone of that caliber could subdue such a terrifying sea beast. He abandoned his bravado and scrambled to beg for mercy. "Sir, I am sorry. I thought this was ownerless land. I was greedy for a moment, but I did not take anything from your island. I can compensate you for the array I destroyed. As a lord, you do not hold grudges against the weak. Please, let me go." Levi found the shift amusing. Coulomb had acted with such defiance only a second ago, yet now he groveled. His expression shifted with remarkable speed. "Who did you say your teacher is? What is an Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard?" Levi narrowed his eyes. He had spent his time focused on his breakthrough and his pharmacy studies. He had not been home in several years, and had lost touch with the shifting political landscape of Area 9. Why did this Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard suddenly appear? Who possessed the arrogance to claim such a domineering title? Coulomb scrambled to explain. "My teacher, the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard, is a third circle wizard. He is one of the 3 strongest people in Area 9 now. He stands on par with Morpheus of Whale Song Island and Lady Whitewater of the Tower of Ocean Currents." Levi arched an eyebrow. "Who is Lady Whitewater?" "She is a third circle wizard from the Tower of Ocean Currents. I heard she returned from studying in the Inner Sea region." Levi released a long sigh. He had been away for only a few years, yet Area 9 had undergone earth-shattering changes. In the past, aside from the black-eyed crow and the elusive Modi, only Morpheus stood as a third circle powerhouse. Now, 3 of them vied for control. The chaotic world birthed more monsters and powerhouses every day. Levi forced the 2 wizards to sign an unequal contract, binding their lives to his will. The terms forbade them from revealing anything about him to others. For a wizard significantly weaker than himself, this contract served as an effective leash. While such control remained imperfect and the subjects might still attempt an attack, Levi held enough power to crush them. He did not fret over the risks. Had he faced an expert like the Thousand-Faced Knight, he would have never dared such a gambit. Levi released his hold on the men. "The 2 of you trespassed on my island. I am kind-hearted, so I will spare you. I am leaving this place soon. You may do as you wish in the future. However, you must return to this island often to serve as its caretakers. If anyone dares to trespass, kill them." He intended to depart with his transcendent creatures, but many herbs remained on the island that he could not transport. Leaving these 2 men as unpaid guards solved that problem. Coulomb hesitated, then bowed his head. "Lord, may I cultivate on this island?" He belonged to the burning faction, and the environment of Levi's Black Fire Island offered optimal conditions for his progress. Levi gestured dismissively. "Up to you." Levi returned to the cave abode. A quick scan confirmed that his transcendent creatures remained alive and well. "I can take them all this time," he thought to himself. He emptied the storage bags of the 2 men and rummaged through the contents. 10,000 Aether Stones in total. It seemed they were as poor as they were presumptuous. Coulomb had exhausted his reserves exchanging Aether Stones for the Golden Holy Grail from the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard, leaving him with little else. The spell runes and craftsmanship on the Golden Holy Grail hinted at an ancient origin, far removed from modern wizardry. The object hummed with the aura of time. "This is an item of an ancient wizard." Coulomb claimed the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard had vanished into an ancient ruin 50 years ago, only to return after 5 decades. In that time, the man had transformed from an ordinary second circle wizard into a third circle powerhouse. Such advancement speed fell second only to the children of the elements. It seems this Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard encountered a stroke of great fortune within those ruins. Levi shook his head and suppressed the flicker of greed. He possessed the proficiency panel. He had no need to risk his life exploring dangerous ancient ruins. He only needed to cultivate obediently in Riptide City. The Golden Holy Grail remained damaged and worthless to him. He stowed it away to deal with later. Finally, Levi discovered a booklet tucked away in Joann's storage bag. He pulled it out, noting the title, Ruin Hunter Jones Treasure Hunting Log. Curiosity prompted him to open it. Interesting. There is a ruin hunter occupation. Compared to the traditional 3 arts of wizardry, appraisers and ruin hunters were rare and unorthodox. This wizard, Jones, functioned as a scholar of ancient history. He dedicated his life to excavating and searching for the ruins of wizards buried throughout the world. Keep it. It might be useful in the future. Levi possessed a map of the ruins within the pages. Lost Pan's Labyrinth. He planned to revisit the location when he returned. Yet, even with his current strength, spider sensing continued to signal high danger alerts. To be continued. Hope you liked today's video. Join the community by subscribing and dropping a like. I'll be back with another update as soon as possible. See you then.